Chapter 5002. Yan Qing stood guard outside Lu Ming's residence, waiting for Lu Ming to leave so that he could find an opportunity to attack. This wait lasted for half a year. Lu Ming had not taken a single step out of his room during this half a year. He had been in secluded cultivation to comprehend Genesis techniques. While comprehending Genesis techniques, he also waited for news from Mulin's. Secluded cultivation for half a year was all too common, but waiting outside for half a year was not pleasant at all. Damn it, how long do I have to wait? If he goes into secluded cultivation for tens of thousands of years or even longer, do I have to wait here? Yan Qing roared in his heart. It was all too common for divine masters to go into secluded cultivation for tens of thousands of years or even hundreds of thousands of years. This was especially true for peak divine masters. It was normal for them to go into secluded cultivation for longer periods of time in order to attack the origin source. No, I can't just wait. I need to change my strategy. Yan Qing muttered as his mind rapidly turned. After a while, his eyes brightened as he made a decision. He stepped forward and arrived outside Lu Ming's courtyard as his voice rang out. I am Yan Qing. I have come to pay my respects. In the courtyard, Lu Ming opened his eyes when he heard the voice. Yan Qing? I've never heard of him. I don't think it's anything good for him to suddenly come looking for me. Lu Ming's heart trembled. However, he was bold and fearless as he loudly said, Please come in. With a wave of his hand, the door to the courtyard swung open. Yan Qing walked in and saw Lu Ming standing in the middle of the courtyard. Brother Lu. Yan Qing sized up Lu Ming for a moment before cupping his fists together. Brother Yan, we have never met before. May I know why you've come looking for me? Lu Ming asked. I've heard that Brother Lu's battle power is extremely high, and I'm itching to spar with Brother Lu. I hope Brother Lu can give me some pointers. Yan Qing cupped his fists together as he looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. His battle intent was overwhelming, as if he had to fight no matter what. As expected, it's nothing good. Lu Ming thought to himself. Since Brother Yan is in the mood, let's have a spar. Lu Ming immediately agreed. He knew that Yan Qing definitely had a motive for coming here. He would definitely not let the matter rest. Even if he refused, Yan Qing would probably find another reason to attack. Thus, he might as well directly agree and suppress the other party. Seeing Lu Ming agree, Yan Qing was overjoyed and said, Brother Lu, a simple spar is too boring. How about we add some stakes? Here it comes. Lu Ming knew that Yan Qing was about to reveal his true purpose. However, this was exactly what Lu Ming wanted. In his opinion, the other party was here to give him something. What prize? Lu Ming asked cooperatively. I heard that Brother Lu has a treasure that can help you walk 1,000,000 meters under the sacred luminance scroll. Let's use this treasure as the wager. If Brother Lu loses, you have to lend this treasure to me for 100 years. What do you think? Yan Qing said. He didn't say that if Lu Ming lost, the treasure would belong to him. Instead, he said that he would borrow it for 100 years. He was afraid that if he directly said that it belonged to him, Lu Ming wouldn't dare to take the gamble. When the treasure was in his hands, it would be up to him whether he would return it or not. Treasure? So you think I can walk 1,000,000 meters under the sacred luminance scroll because of a treasure? Lu Ming was a little amused. Lu Weiyang, it seems that you want to kill me with a borrowed knife. Lu Ming immediately realized that this matter most likely had something to do with Lu Weiyang. Lu Weiyang thought that Lu Ming relied on some kind of treasure to walk 1,000,000 meters under the sacred luminance scroll. However, his own strength was far inferior to Lu Ming's, so he wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. He leaked the news to Yan Qing and wanted to use Yan Qing to deal with him. It made perfect sense. Okay, I agree. But if you lose, what will you use as the wager? Lu Ming said. I will use this source-level magic weapon as the wager. If I lose, this source-level magic weapon will be yours. As he spoke, a battle sword appeared in Yan Qing's hand. The battle sword was extremely sharp. It was indeed a source-level magic weapon. Okay, it's a deal. Lu Ming said. Although this battle sword was not a top-level source-level magic weapon and was just an ordinary source-level magic weapon, an ordinary source-level magic weapon was still very precious. In Heaven Destroyer, more than half of the origin energy did not have a source-level magic weapon. The more source-level magic weapons, the better. Since the other party wanted to give him a source-level magic weapon, there was no reason to refuse. He agreed so readily? Seeing that Lu Ming agreed so readily, Yan Qing felt a little uncertain in his heart. Could it be that Lu Ming's combat strength was extremely powerful, so he was so confident? It shouldn't be. I'm a two-time source-breaking expert. In the universe, how many people can break through twice? He probably doesn't know my combat strength, so he's so confident. Yan Cheng's mind raced as he tried to persuade himself. Brother Lu, please? Suppressing the uneasiness in his heart, Yan Cheng exuded a powerful aura. A vast aura was emitted from Yan Cheng's body. This aura made Lu Ming feel a little pressured. It did not come from the other party's combat strength, but from the other party's bloodline. Yan Cheng's human bloodline was extremely powerful and pure. It was like an ordinary divine dragon facing a 9-clawed dragon. Just the aura of the 9-clawed dragon alone was enough to make an ordinary divine dragon not dare to attack and bow down obediently. Yan Cheng knew that Lu Ming had an inferior bloodline, so when he attacked, he surged his blood essence and emitted a powerful aura. Under the aura of the bloodline, he could only use 60% of his strength. Unfortunately, he had underestimated Lu Ming. Lu Ming used a little taboo energy, and the aura disappeared without a trace. Then Lu Ming directly attacked. With the taboo energy, he condensed a long spear and smashed it towards the other party. The spear light buzzed and carried a terrifying power. And the power was very condensed and did not dissipate. The terrifying power was completely concentrated in one place. Yan Cheng's face changed drastically. As soon as Lu Ming attacked, he could feel the terrifying power contained in the spear light. Without hesitation, he exploded with all his strength and used his strongest move to attack Lu Ming's spear light. In the next moment, the two attacks collided. There was no violent explosion, nor was there any wanton force. Because Lu Ming's spear light had instantly defeated Yan Cheng's attack, and the terrifying power fell on Yan Cheng's body. Yan Cheng's body trembled violently, and he retreated a dozen steps before he could stabilize himself. However, he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. I've lost. Yan Cheng's face was pale. He was defeated in just one move. He was defeated by Lu Ming as easily as breaking dead weeds and smashing rotten wood. Lu Ming's combat strength was clearly far above his. It was a complete suppression. Could it be that this person has the combat strength of a thrice extreme break? How can an inferior bloodline have such a strong combat strength? Yan Cheng was horrified. To be able to defeat him with such a crushing momentum without causing the slightest commotion, it was absolutely impossible for someone who had broken through the extreme break twice. Only a thrice extreme break could do it. In fact, he did not know that Lu Ming had not used his full strength at all and had shown mercy. Chapter 5003. If Lu Ming had used his full strength, Yan Cheng would not have just been injured. Instead, he would have likely been killed. Lu Ming had only used a portion of his strength, but it was already enough to make Yan Cheng so terrified. Do you still want to continue? Lu Ming did not continue as he icily asked. Lu Weiyang has misled me. Yan Cheng roared in his heart, his expression extremely ugly. In the end, he squeezed out a smile that was even uglier than crying. Brother Lu is truly a rare genius. Yan Cheng wholeheartedly accepts his defeat. What else could he do but admit defeat? After exchanging blows with Lu Ming earlier, he understood that the gap between him and Lu Ming was too great. If he continued, he would only be looking for a beating. How could he possibly dare to continue? Oh, if that's the case, then that source-grade weapon is mine. Lu Ming's eyes shined brightly as he looked at Yan Cheng, his powerful aura completely locking onto Yan Cheng. Yan Cheng really did not want to hand it over, but from Lu Ming's attitude, it would not be so easy for him to walk out of this courtyard if he did not hand it over. His expression grew increasingly ugly as he struggled in his heart. In the end, he decided to admit defeat and took out the source-level divine weapon and handed it to Lu Ming. Many thanks, many thanks. Lu Ming grinned as he received it, but Yan Cheng's heart was dripping blood. Then I shall not disturb you any further. Goodbye. Yan Cheng cupped his fists together and quickly left. He hated Lu Weiyang to the bone. If not for Lu Weiyang, would he have lost an origin-grade weapon? After Yan Cheng left, Lu Ming continued his secluded cultivation to comprehend his genesis techniques. Lu Weiyang's residence. Yan Cheng has already entered Lu Ming's courtyard. Looks like there will be a result soon. Lu Weiyang was all smiles. He could already see Lu Ming being killed. Even if he was not killed, he would be beaten to a pulp. In the vicinity of Lu Ming's residence, he naturally sent people to secretly monitor it. Not long ago, they sent back news that Yan Cheng had entered Lu Ming's residence. He was now waiting for good news. As he spoke, he received a message from the voice transmission Jade Talisman. So fast. Lu Weiyang knew at a glance that it was sent by the people who were monitoring Lu Ming's residence. He was slightly surprised when he saw the content of the message. What did he say? The shrewd young man asked. According to the news, Yan Cheng has already left Lu Ming's residence and returned to his own residence. Lu Weiyang said. So fast? It seems that Lu Ming only has the power of a first-stage extreme breaker. He's not Yan Cheng's opponent at all, so he was suppressed so quickly. It seems Yan Cheng has already succeeded. The shrewd young man analyzed. Let's go. We'll look for Yan Cheng and find out more about the situation. If possible, we'll be able to get some benefits, Lu Weiyang said. If Yan Cheng really managed to get his hands on Lu Ming's treasure, they wanted it too. Perhaps they could borrow it from Yan Cheng for a period of time. Thinking of this, their hearts were burning with eagerness. They rushed to Yan Cheng's residence impatiently. When Yan Cheng returned to his residence, he swallowed a few divine pills, sat cross-legged, and healed his injuries. Not long after he healed, he heard a voice coming from outside. "Brother Yan, are you here? Lu Weiyang wants to see you." Yan Cheng abruptly opened his eyes, flames of fury burning within them. He hadn't gone to find trouble with Lu Weiyang yet, but Lu Weiyang came to find him. How dare he? If it weren't for Lu Weiyang's grandfather, he would have killed his way to Lu Weiyang's place. However, there were only a few hundred years before the origin tribulation. At that time, Lu Weiyang's grandfather would wake up. He knew very well that Lu Weiyang's grandfather was very powerful. Even in the origin, he was considered a powerful expert. Yan Cheng didn't have any backing, so he didn't dare to offend Lu Weiyang too much. Taking a deep breath, Yan Cheng suppressed the anger in his heart. With a wave of his hand, the gate of the courtyard opened. He said coldly, "Come in." Lu Weiyang and the others strode in and saw Yan Cheng. "Congratulations, Brother Yan. Congratulations, Brother Yan. You've obtained a supreme treasure. There's hope for you to break through 3 times in the future. I'm really envious." Lu Weiyang smiled and cupped his fists to congratulate him as soon as he arrived, but his voice became softer and softer as he spoke, because he saw Yan Cheng's face getting uglier and uglier. At this moment, the anger in Yan Cheng's heart had completely exploded. He could no longer suppress it. "Lu Weiyang, are you here to laugh at me?" Yan Cheng said coldly. "Laugh at you? Brother Yan, why do you say that?" Lu Weiyang said. He already had a bad feeling in his heart. "Get lost." Yan Cheng could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. With a roar, a violent aura rushed out, forcing Lu Weiyang and the others to stagger back. "Yan Cheng, what are you doing?" Lu Weiyang shouted. "Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll throw you out." Yan Cheng roared. If it weren't for his fear of Lu Weiyang's grandfather, Yan Cheng would have definitely attacked at this moment and stomped his foot on Lu Weiyang's face. The fact that he could resist the urge to attack was already very strong. Even so, Yan Cheng was already on the verge of going berserk. "Let's go." Seeing that Yan Cheng was about to go berserk, Lu Weiyang and the others did not dare to stay any longer. They hurriedly left Yan Cheng's residence and ran far away as if they were fleeing. "What's wrong with Yan Cheng? Why did he suddenly go crazy?" A young man shouted in a bad mood. It seems that not only did Yan Cheng fail, but he also suffered a great loss in the hands of Lu Ming, the shrewd young man said. "That's right. Yan Cheng's aura is weak. He should be injured. Could it be that he was injured by Lu Ming? That Lu Ming actually has such combat strength?" Lu Weiyang said in a low voice with an ugly expression. Lu Ming could actually injure Yan Cheng. How was this possible? Could it be that Lu Ming hid his strength when he was dealing with Zhu Shi? Otherwise, how could he explain Yan Cheng's angry appearance after being injured? Yan Cheng should have suffered a loss in the hands of Lu Ming. I wonder if that Lu Ming was injured? The shrewd young man said. Whether Lu Ming was injured or not made a big difference. If Lu Ming was also injured, it meant that Lu Ming's combat strength was about the same as Yan Cheng's. Even if he was stronger, he wouldn't be much stronger. If Lu Ming wasn't injured, then Lu Ming's combat strength would be terrifying. Send someone to keep an eye on Lu Ming at all times, Lu Weiyang shouted angrily. He was very unhappy. Whether Lu Ming was injured or not, at least it proved that Lu Ming had the combat strength of at least the second stage of breaking through. A mere inferior bloodline actually had such combat strength. He was mad with jealousy. Brother Lu, what should we do now? Are we just going to let it go? Another young man said. How can we just let it go? Lu Weiyang's eyes were extremely cold and full of killing intent. When he thought of the scene of swallowing mud, he felt nauseous and wanted to vomit. That was his nightmare. The anger in his heart and the killing intent in his heart couldn't be suppressed. He had to take revenge for this. Maybe we can start with Mulin's, the shrewd young man said. You're right. Lu Ming said that he is Mulin's junior brother, but I feel that their relationship is not that simple, Lu Weiyang said. Chapter 5004. The killing intent in Lu Weiyang's eyes slowly receded and was replaced by a sly light. I have a feeling that Lu Ming and Mulan are definitely not as simple as senior and junior siblings. If they are merely senior and junior siblings, why would Lu Ming disregard the danger and search for them from the Eastern universe? I think there's something going on between them. Lu Weiyang said. That's right. The other youths nodded. Hee, there are countless people pursuing Mulans in the Azure Divine Domain. If Lu Ming and Mulans are having an affair, we can still kill them with a borrowed knife. Killing intent surged in Lu Weiyang's eyes. Brother Lu, you're really smart. I can't wait. A young man flattered. Come, let's go to Mulans's residence. Lu Weiyang said. Time passed quickly. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. During these 3 years, Lu Ming had been comprehending Genesis techniques. Of course, he would extract Origin Spirit medicinal liquid from top-tier source-grade divine herbs every month. He now had a total of 8 top-tier source-grade divine herbs. 5 of them came from the Eastern Universe. Of the other 3, 1 came from Zhu Shi, and the other 2 came from the Demon Kraken of the Extreme Evil race. 8 stocks of top-notch source-level divine herbs meant that he could obtain 8 drops of Source Spirit medicinal liquid every month. This allowed Lu Ming to improve very quickly. Every month, his origin seed would grow bigger and his power of origin would become stronger. Brother Lu, are you there? Han Yu's voice came from outside. Could senior sister Mulans have come out of seclusion? Lu Ming's heart thumped. Han Yu had the contact of Mulans's maid. The maid had said that Mulans would send a message to Han Yu when she came out of seclusion, and Han Yu would inform Lu Ming. Han Yu hadn't come looking for Lu Ming in the past 3 years. Now that he suddenly came looking for him, Lu Ming couldn't help but think of Mulans. Whoosh. In a flash, Lu Ming left the courtyard and appeared in front of Han Yu. Lu Ming, I just received news that your senior sister Mulans has come out of seclusion. Han Yu said. Lu Ming was delighted. Go. Lu Ming couldn't wait to go to Mulan's residence. Heavenly Orchid Court. A silhouette stood quietly in the middle of the courtyard. This woman was none other than Mulans. After not seeing her for a while, Mulans's temperament was even better than before. Her entire body was filled with temptation. A few maids stood at the side. Miss Mulans, have you successfully broken through? A maid asked curiously. Not bad, the breakthrough this time went very smoothly. Now, I should have the battle prowess of someone who has broken through twice. Mulans said with a smile on her face. A person who had broken through the pinnacle twice would be considered a top genius in the entire universe, let alone in the firmament divine realm. Even if the 5 forbidden lands were included, there wouldn't be too many. Lu Ming, I should be worthy of you now. Perhaps I'm already above you. Mulans said in her heart. Perhaps she should find a chance to return to the universe in the East. In the past, it was very difficult for her to pass through the void between the East and West universes before her cultivation reached the phenomenal level. Now she had broken through the pinnacle twice and was invincible in the universe except for the invincible Divine Master. She was confident that she could pass through the void and return. She couldn't wait to return to Lu Ming's side. Now she had enough confidence. Back then she took the initiative to leave Lu Ming because she felt inferior and felt that the distance between her and Lu Ming was too far. Now she had finally caught up. Congratulations, miss, for breaking through the pinnacle twice. The maids were also overjoyed and congratulated her one after another. Did anything happen during this time? Mulans asked. Nothing else. When you were in seclusion, there were people coming to you every day. One of the maids said. Mulans sighed. She didn't know how many times she had rejected those people, but they didn't give up and kept pestering her. It seemed that she had to return to the universe as soon as possible. Mulans, congratulations. At this moment, a voice was heard. In the distance, a young man stepped on the air. The young man's white clothes fluttered in the wind and he was extraordinarily handsome. Lu Feng. Mulans frowned slightly. Lu Feng was considered a top existence among all of Mulans's suitors. He was a peerless genius who had broken through the pinnacle twice. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air was heard. There were people coming from several directions. At least 7 or 8 figures flew over. They were all young elites. Mulans, congratulations on coming out of seclusion. Mulans, have you broken through the pinnacle twice? Congratulations, I'm so happy. These young men congratulated her one after another, and some directly flattered her. Did you send them the news? Mulans glanced at the maids. The maids blushed and were a little embarrassed. One of them said, Miss, they kept pestering us and many of them have extraordinary status. We didn't dare to offend them. Yes, miss, please forgive us. The other maids also said. Mulans sighed. She also knew the difficulties of the maids. These young elites were either very talented or had extraordinary status. They had powerful backers behind them. Mullins couldn't afford to offend them, let alone the maids. She also knew that she couldn't blame the maids. "What are you doing here? Get lost." Lu Feng glanced at the other 7 or 8 young men and shouted coldly with a cold gaze. "Haha, Lu Feng, if you can come, can't we?" One of the purple-robed young men sneered and replied without fear of Lu Feng. "As a person you have to know your own limits. Now that Mullins has broken through the pinnacle twice, she is very talented and has a limitless future. You guys are not worthy of her. If you know what's good for you, you should leave." Lu Feng sneered. "Lu Feng, you," the purple-robed young man's face turned ugly. However, Lu Feng had broken through the pinnacle twice, while he had only broken through the pinnacle once. He didn't know how to refute Lu Feng's words. "Ah, well said. But in my opinion, Lu Feng, you don't have the right either. Get lost too." There was another loud laugh and a burly figure stepped through the air. "Yuan Jie." Lu Feng's eyes narrowed and showed a hint of fear. The burly young man was called Yuan Jie, and he was also a pinnacle prodigy who had broken through the pinnacle twice. Most importantly, because they were both Mullins' pursuers, Lu Feng had fought with Yuan Jie before. The two of them exchanged more than 100 blows and Lu Feng was defeated in the end. Yuan Jie's combat power was above Lu Feng's even though they were both at the pinnacle twice. "Humph, Yuan Jie, it's been 1,000 years. I might not lose to you now." Lu Feng snorted coldly. It wasn't that he hadn't improved over the years. "Is that so? Then let's fight again." Yuan Jie's eyes showed a strong fighting spirit. It was very domineering. At this moment, there were more than 100 people around Sky Orchid Garden. Of course, not all of them were Mullins' pursuers. There were also some who were here to watch the show. There were also some women who were Mullins' good friends. Mullins' identity was very special. She was the savior of the Ashen Azure Divine Realm. If it weren't for her, the Ashen Azure Divine Realm would probably still be sealed. Chapter 5005. Mullins was not only the great benefactor of the Ashen Azure Divine Realm, but she was also the disciple of a top expert in the Ashen Azure Divine Realm. Most importantly, Mullins' talent was also peerless. Although she had broken through the limit twice, her potential had not been fully developed. A big shot in the Ashen Azure Divine Realm once judged that Mullins had the potential to break through the limit 3 times. Breaking through the limit 3 times was so rare that there were not many in the entire universe. More importantly, there was a prefix "at least" in front of it, which was even rarer. Therefore, even if they were not pursuing Mullins, they would still befriend Mullins regardless of whether they were men or women. Therefore, as soon as Mullins broke through, a large number of people came to congratulate her. Among them were Lu Weiyang and a few of his bad friends. The main purpose of Lu Weiyang's visit was not to congratulate Mullins. He knew that since Mullins had broken through, Lu Ming would definitely come. If Mullins and Lu Ming were extraordinary, they might be able to provoke a dispute between Lu Ming and those suitors. Lu Ming is so slow. If he doesn't come soon, these people will fight among themselves. Lu Weiyang muttered, secretly hoping that Lu Ming would come soon. In the Heavenly Orchid Court, Mullins looked at the increasing number of people around her and felt more and more helpless. She really hated this kind of situation. "By the way, miss, when you were in seclusion, your junior brother came to see you." At this time a servant girl said, "My junior brother? My master only has me as his disciple. Where did my junior brother come from?" Mullins was a little surprised. Before the Great Tribulation of Origin, she had been accepted as a disciple by a big shot in the Firmament Divine Realm. This big shot had not accepted any other disciples before taking her in as his disciple. Not long after that, the Great Tribulation of Origin arrived. That big shot then sealed himself and went into a deep sleep. How could there be a junior brother? Could it be? Suddenly Mullins' eyes lit up and emitted a dazzling light. At the same time, her breathing became a little rapid. But immediately she felt a little uneasy. Was it really possible? She naturally thought of Lu Ming. Lu Ming had always called her senior sister. But how could Lu Ming come here? The Western Universe and the Eastern Universe were separated by a vast and boundless void zone. It was extremely difficult to cross the border. Besides, wasn't Lu Ming in the starry sky of the universe? It was even further away from the Western Universe. Without the cultivation of a peak almighty, it was impossible to cross such a long distance. How many years had it been? Lu Ming had reached the peak of the Almighty Master Realm. The reason why she was able to achieve so much was that she had obtained a heaven-defying opportunity on the ancient path of stars. She had obtained a heaven-defying fortune, and her body had undergone a complete transformation. Later, she had entered the firmament divine realm and obtained a large amount of resources to support her. Lu Ming's talent was high, but it was limited to a corner of the universe. Compared to the vast universe, the creatures in the Forbidden Lands, and the human race's top talents in the firmament divine realm, he was too far away. She was not looking down on Lu Ming. She was very confident in Lu Ming. But when she left, Lu Ming was still developing in a corner of the universe. Compared to the vast universe, a corner of the universe was too far away. Even if she trusted Lu Ming, she was not sure that Lu Ming could reach peak almighty in a little more than 10,000 years. But deep in her heart, she was very hopeful. In the universe, other than Lu Ming, who else would call himself her junior brother? What's his name? Mullins looked at the servant girl nervously and expectantly. Her voice was trembling and she completely ignored the people around her. The servant girls were very surprised. They had rarely seen Mullins so agitated. Miss, that person called himself Lu Ming. He came from the Eastern universe, a servant girl said. It's really him. It's really him. Mullins's heart was beating wildly. Her face was flushed with excitement. She kept muttering to herself, unable to control herself. At this moment there were at least 100 people around. They were stunned when they saw Mullins's expression. Why was Mullins so agitated? In the crowd, Lu Weiyang was also a little surprised. But his eyes kept looking around. Suddenly his eyes lit up. He's here. Lu Ming is here. In the distant void, Lu Ming and Han Yu stepped on the void. They were extremely fast and in the blink of an eye, they were in front of them. When Lu Ming arrived, he saw Mullins at first glance. Senior sister. Lu Ming couldn't help but call out. He didn't hide it at all. His voice traveled far and reached Mullins's ears. Mullins's delicate body trembled. She was all too familiar with this voice. The voice that she had been thinking about day and night couldn't be wrong. It was Lu Ming. It was Lu Ming. Mullins raised her head in surprise and saw Lu Ming standing in the void, looking at her without blinking. At this moment, Mullins's heart completely melted. She stepped on the void and rushed towards Lu Ming. At this moment she only had one thought. She wanted to jump into Lu Ming's arms. However, when she arrived in front of Lu Ming, she couldn't help but stop. She thought of the past. She thought of Lu Ming's attitude towards her back then. She thought of Xian Yanqing. She thought of the autumn moon. When she thought of this, she hesitated and stared blankly at Lu Ming. After a while she called out, "Junior brother?" After calling him junior brother, she felt as if something was stuck in her throat. She couldn't say anything else. However, in the next moment she felt a strong arm wrapped around her slender waist. A strong force surged and Mullins couldn't help but lean into Lu Ming's arms. She didn't resist. Instinctively she didn't want to resist. Just like that, she threw herself into Lu Ming's arms. She was deeply embraced by Lu Ming. Senior sister, I finally found you. From now on, I'll never let you leave me again. Lu Ming's voice rang in Mullins's ears. Yes, Mullins replied. At this moment, something seemed to have exploded in her heart. All the resentment, blame, and helplessness in the past were completely forgotten. All that was left was happiness. She only hoped that this moment could last until the end of time. Everyone around was dumbfounded. Many people's mouths were wide open. They were all stunned. What's going on? Even Lu Weiyang, who had been mentally prepared, was a little stunned at this moment. Those who were pursuing Mulan were in an uproar. Let go, you little bastard. Let go. Take your dirty hands away. You're dead. I'm going to cripple your hands. Where did this inferior bloodline come from? How dare you molest Miss Mullins? You're courting death. Many people roared and their eyes widened. What did Lu Ming do? He actually dared to hold their goddess in his arms in front of us. How dare he? He's courting death. In an instant, at least dozens of people rushed towards Lu Ming. Dozens of murderous auras locked onto Lu Ming. In the crowd, Lu Weiyang was ecstatic. Chapter 5006. Lu Weiyang was truly ecstatic, his heart bursting with joy. His original goal had been to find an opportunity to provoke a conflict between Lu Ming and those suitors of Mullins so that he could use them to deal with Lu Ming. He had not expected that before he could even act, Lu Ming would seek his own death. Yes, in his view, Lu Ming was seeking his own death. Lu Ming had dared to embrace Mullins in front of everyone. How many faces had he slapped and hearts had he hurt? There were definitely countless people who wanted nothing more than to grind Lu Ming's bones to dust. At this moment, it was too late for Lu Ming to kneel and admit his mistake. Lu Ming was dead for sure. There was no need for him to do anything. However, Lu Ming turned a blind eye to the situation around him. He continued, Senior sister, it's been more than 10,000 years since we last met. Junior brother really misses you. Junior brother Lu Ming, senior sister misses you too. Mulan softly said. Her heart was so sweet that it seemed like it would melt away. 10,000 years of waiting had not been in vain. However, the surrounding people were about to explode from anger. Not only did Lu Ming not let go of Mulan's, he even spoke such intimate words to Mulan's, completely ignoring them. Courting death. Swoosh swoosh. Finally, two people could not help but strike. Two extremely sharp sword gleams pierced toward Lu Ming's heart from the back. The power was very shocking. Peak God Lord. Lu Ming did not need to look to know that these two attacks had the power of a peak God Lord. However, they only had the power of an ordinary peak God Lord. Lu Ming did not even turn his head. He flicked two fingers behind him and two spear lights shot out and collided with the two sword lights. Buzz, buzz. The two swords violently vibrated, and then the two figures retreated, each vomiting blood. At this moment, Lu Ming released Mulan's and glanced behind him. There was two youths who had attacked Lu Ming. The two youths' cultivation was at the 9th level of the God Lord realm, but their fighting strength was at the peak of the God Lord realm. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. The human clan of the firmament divine realm was indeed astonishingly talented. The human clan of the universe could not compare to them. This had something to do with their bloodline. If Lu Ming did not have a forbidden body, his talent would definitely be far from these people's. It was no wonder that some people in the Azure Divine Realm looked down on those with inferior bloodlines. It was not without reason. They were definitely not many people like them. In Heaven Destroyer. Except a few people like Lu and a few people. Apart from a few people like Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. And a few people like them. There were many such people in the Azure Divine Realm. You want to sneak attack me with just the two of you? You overestimate yourselves. Lu Ming said coldly. What big words. I'd like to see where your confidence comes from. A cold voice sounded. A purple-robed youth appeared in front of Lu Ming. This youth was extremely strong. He had the fighting strength of a first breakthrough. Guji, what do you want? This has nothing to do with you. Back off. Mulan's shouted. Mulan's, this is between us men. You don't have to care. Are you going to protect him forever? The purple-robed young man, Guji, continued to look at Lu Ming. Lat, I want to challenge you now. If you're a man, fight me. Guji's eyes flashed fiercely. He was about to explode from anger. Lu Ming dared to touch Mulan's. He had to break Lu Ming's claws. Guji, if you want to touch junior brother Lu Ming, you'll have to get through me first. Mulan's roared, her powerful energy erupting and locking onto Guji. Lu Ming had just injured two 9th-level Divine Lord prodigies with one move. His fighting strength exceeded Mulan's expectations and gave her a pleasant surprise. But Guji was a first breakthrough expert. His fighting strength was far from what those two youths could compare to. He was afraid that Lu Ming would be at a disadvantage. There was another person in the crowd who was also moving. Lu Weiyang. Go and invite Pang Xiao. Tell him that Mulan's was hugged by a man. Pang Xiao will definitely go crazy. Lu Weiyang secretly ordered a youth. Others didn't know Lu Ming's fighting strength, but Lu Weiyang knew a little. Even Yan Cheng had been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming definitely had the fighting strength of a second breakthrough expert. Guji definitely wasn't a match for Lu Ming. Not to mention Guji, even the other prodigies who had a second breakthrough might not be able to take down Lu Ming. So he had to prepare for both sides. Pang Xiao was also a peerless prodigy of the Azure Divine Realm and had the fighting strength of a second breakthrough expert. However, Pang Xiao's second stage extreme break was different from other second stage extreme break cultivators. Pang Xiao's fighting strength was at the top even among second breakthrough experts. It was said that he had once exchanged more than 10 moves with a third breakthrough expert and escaped unscathed. With such combat strength, he was just a step away from breaking through the limit 3 times. More importantly, Pang Xiao was also a loyal admirer of Mulan's. If he knew that Lu Ming dared to hug Mulan's in public, he would definitely go crazy. For some reason, Pang Xiao didn't come today, so Lu Weiyang sent someone to inform him. Anyway, Lu Ming would be miserable today. Seeing Mulan's standing in front of him, Lu Ming felt warm in his heart, knowing that Mulan's was protecting him. But did he need protection? Senior sister, I can deal with such a guy. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and took Mulan's hand and pulled Mulan's behind him. Around them, many people stared at Lu Ming's hand holding Mulan's hand, and their eyes were about to spit fire. They wanted to replace him. Guji's eyes were full of murderous intent. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would have been riddled with holes. Mulan's, Lu Ming has accepted my challenge. Are you still going to stop him? Guji said. Junior brother? Mullins looked at Lu Ming and saw the confidence in Lu Ming's eyes. It was the same confidence as before. Mullins's heart calmed down. She knew that Lu Ming must be confident. Junior brother, be careful, Mullins said with concern and then slowly stepped back. The others were envious. How good would it be if Mullins was so concerned about them? Make your move. I'll give you 3 moves. Guji said coldly. He was very confident. How strong could an inferior bloodline be? He was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. The combat strength of the human race was often linked to their bloodline. The purer the bloodline, the higher the bloodline grade, and the higher the talent potential, the stronger the combat strength. That was because some of the high-level cultivation techniques and secret techniques of the human race were related to the bloodline grade. The higher the bloodline grade, the higher the level of those cultivation techniques and secret techniques. That was why the human race cared so much about bloodline. On the other hand, Lu Ming only had an inferior bloodline. How powerful would he be? Those ancient cultivation techniques and secret techniques of the human race couldn't be cultivated to a high level by an inferior bloodline. Guji is really an idiot. Lu Weiyang cursed in his mind. However, he didn't say anything. He wasn't familiar with Guji. Why should he remind him? It would be better if he didn't. If he didn't, Guji would definitely be defeated by Lu Ming. In that case, Lu Ming would definitely offend Guji. Wouldn't it be better to have one more enemy for Lu Ming? Chapter 5007. Not only Guji but Lu Weiyang would also not warn the others. These people had suffered greatly because of Lu Ming, so they would definitely hold a grudge against Lu Ming. After Lu Ming offended these people, Pang Xiao would come and beat Lu Ming half to death. Wouldn't that be perfect? You'll let me have 3 moves? Sure. Lu Ming had a strange expression on his face. This Guji was really confident. However, he wouldn't go easy on him. Swoosh. Lu Ming attacked directly. His body was like a flash of lightning as he charged towards Guji. At the same time, the divine battle spear appeared and rapidly enlarged before slamming down on Guji. Initially, the ancient extreme did not intend to retaliate. Instead, he planned to take on Lu Ming's attack with ease and elegance. He wanted to show off in front of Mulan and leave a good impression on her. However, his expression changed as soon as Lu Ming attacked. The power of the battle god spear was simply too terrifying. It was so terrifying that his hair stood on end. Terrifying, powerful, unbearable. Ah, how can he be so powerful? How is this possible? Guji roared in his heart. He could no longer remain calm. What did he mean by relaxed and elegant? The only thing on his mind now was to block Lu Ming's attack. Third form of King Path Sword, Crimson World. Guji roared. His blood boiled as he raised his combat strength to the maximum and slashed out. A sword radiance shot up into the sky and clashed with the divine battle spear. Boom. The 2 attacks collided. Guji's sword glow shuddered violently, which lasted for around 3 breaths before it collapsed. The divine battle spear did not stop there as it continued to attack. Guji's face turned pale. At this critical moment he could only raise his battle sword to block the attack. Clang. The divine battle spear clashed with Guji's battle sword. Guji's face flushed red as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was like a cannonball as he slammed into the ground. The ground of the firmament divine realm was extremely hard, but Guji still created a large hole in the ground. What? Everyone around him was stunned. Guji, who had broken through once, was actually defeated by Lu Ming in 1 move. How could Lu Ming, who had an inferior bloodline, be so powerful? Even Mullins was surprised. Lu Ming, you're despicable. You actually sneak attacked me. At this time Guji roared, his anger soaring to the sky. Of course this was an act. He had fought Lu Ming for real just now, so he knew how powerful Lu Ming was. The power surging from the war god's spear was too strong. Even if he was fully prepared, it was impossible for him to block it. The outcome would be the same. Then why did he accuse Lu Ming of launching a sneak attack? Of course it was to save face. Just now he was so confident that he would let Lu Ming have 3 moves first. In the end he was defeated by Lu Ming in 1 move. This was really too shameful. Especially in front of Mullins, in front of his competitors. Of course he would say that Lu Ming launched a sneak attack. This would not be a problem of his battle strength, but Lu Ming's despicability. As for whether others would be defeated by Lu Ming because they looked down on Lu Ming, he was too lazy to care. He couldn't wait. Most of the youths around were Mulin's pursuers and his competitors. He couldn't wait for others to be defeated by Lu Ming. That way, everyone would be humiliated and his embarrassment wouldn't be so obvious. Sure enough, when Guji said this, the others also reacted. Just now it was indeed Lu Ming who suddenly attacked. It was indeed a sneak attack. Despicable, he actually launched a sneak attack. How despicable. That's right, he only knows how to launch sneak attacks. How can such a despicable person be qualified to pursue Mulan's? Lu Ming, come out and die. Many people shouted and some stepped out, their powerful auras filling the air. Those who stepped out were all experts. They were all existences who had broken through in one go. There were a total of 4 of them. These people weren't stupid. Even if Lu Ming had launched a sneak attack, he could defeat Gu Ji in one move. His battle strength was definitely not weak. Ordinary Almighty wouldn't be a match for Lu Ming. Therefore, those who didn't have breaking through combat strength could only curse, but they didn't dare to make a move. Those who dared to force Lu Ming were all existences who had breaking through. However, several of the strongest prodigies such as Lu Feng and Yuan Jie didn't force Lu Ming. They were proud of their status and still wanted to save face. They didn't want to join forces to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and took a step forward. The battle god's spear suddenly pierced out. 4 spear lights burst out, piercing toward the 4 existences who had broken through in one go. He actually attacked 4 geniuses who had broken through the first time at the same time. The 4 of them were furious. The 4 of them attacked at the same time, raising their combat strength to the maximum and attacking with their strongest attacks. However, the result was already decided. Even if the 4 of them joined forces, it wouldn't be enough. When the spear lights collided with the attacks of the 4 prodigies, the attacks of the 4 prodigies were directly defeated. The spear lights didn't stop and continued to thrust forward. Oh no! The 4 prodigies' faces changed drastically. At this moment, they were filled with regret. After fighting with Lu Ming, they finally realized how terrifying Lu Ming was. He was too powerful. With Lu Ming's combat strength, he didn't need to launch a sneak attack to deal with Gu Ji. He could crush Gu Ji in a head-on fight. They had been tricked by Gu Ji. Unfortunately, it was too late for regrets. Although they tried their best to resist, they still coughed up blood and were forced to retreat. They were seriously injured. The crowd suddenly quieted down. Many people looked at Lu Ming in shock. They weren't fools or blind. How could they not understand that Lu Ming's combat strength was really powerful? This time, Lu Ming didn't launch a sneak attack. Instead, he attacked the 4 prodigies head-on. He fought against 4 of them alone and injured them with one move. With such combat strength, why would he need to launch a sneak attack to deal with Gu Ji? Could it be that Lu Ming had the combat strength of a second-time extreme break? If he hadn't broken through the second time, how could he have injured 4 heavenly legends who had broken through the first time in one move? Junior brother? Mulan's looked at Lu Ming with sparkling eyes. She didn't expect Lu Ming's combat strength to be so powerful. Could it be that Lu Ming also had a great opportunity over the years? Lu Feng and Yuan Jie's faces also became solemn. Before, they didn't take Lu Ming seriously. But now they already regarded Lu Ming as their opponent. Lu Ming's performance made him qualified to be their opponent. Of course, he was just qualified. They could also injure 4 first-time extreme break prodigies with one move. Moreover, the 4 first-time extreme break prodigies only suffered some minor injuries. Lu Ming's combat strength wasn't too strong. They were confident that they could deal with him. Lu Ming, you're quite strong. Why don't you exchange a few moves with me? A voice sounded. Lu Feng stepped out. Lu Feng was going to attack. Many people were shocked. Although there were more than 100 people gathered around, Lu Feng and Yuan Jie were undoubtedly the 2 strongest. Leave it to me. Yuan Jie also stepped out. Chapter 5008. Yuan Jie also stepped forward. His powerful aura spread out and locked on to Lu Ming. Lu Feng's eyes flashed coldly. He looked at Yuan Jie unhappily. Yuan Jie, you want to compete with me again? Lu Feng, I'm afraid you're not Lu Ming's match. It's safer for me to fight him. Yuan Jie smiled. Lu Feng was furious. How much stronger do you think you are than me? You're just a little bit stronger than me. If I'm not Lu Ming's match, do you think you can? However, he did lose to Yuan Jie once. He couldn't refute Yuan Jie's words. You don't have to fight. Both of you can fight me together. It'll be troublesome if I fight you one by one. Lu Ming said casually as if he was talking about something insignificant. However, it shocked everyone present. Lu Ming wanted to challenge Yuan Jie and Lu Feng at the same time? Was he crazy or overconfident? Could it be that Lu Ming didn't use his full strength just now? Was he hiding his strength? He doesn't look like a fool. He should know how powerful a second-time extreme break is. However, he still wants to challenge Yuan Jie and Lu Feng. If he's not crazy, he must have something to rely on. But he only has an inferior bloodline. How can he be so powerful? There was a lot of discussion at the scene. At this moment, no one dared to underestimate Lu Ming. How could they underestimate someone who could injure 4 first-time extreme break cultivators in one move? However, they still couldn't believe that an inferior bloodline could be so powerful. Junior brother. Mullins wanted to say something, but when she saw Lu Ming's spirited and confident eyes, she stopped. She knew Lu Ming too well. Perhaps Lu Ming really had the confidence to deal with Yuan Jie and Lu Feng at the same time. The bystanders were confused, puzzled, and surprised, but Yuan Jie and Lu Feng were furious. Lu Ming wanted them to fight him together. How much did he look down on them? If Lu Ming was a peerless genius with an extremely high bloodline level, then it would make sense. However, Lu Ming only had an inferior bloodline. A person with an inferior bloodline didn't take them seriously at all and challenged them at the same time. If news of this spread, they would lose a lot of face. Good, very good. Lu Feng, why don't we join hands this time? Yuan Xie was so angry that he laughed and looked at Lu Feng. Alright, I was thinking the same thing. Lu Feng also said coldly. They had grudges against each other, so it was impossible for them to work together. However, for the sake of their own reputation, they decided to work together. Just this once. Both of them muttered in their hearts. Make your move. Lu Ming tilted his long spear downwards as he looked at the two of them. His expression was casual and relaxed. This made Yuan Jie and Lu Feng even more displeased. Kill? Yuan Xie shouted. He took a step forward, causing the void to tremble. Then he slashed his halberd at Lu Ming. At the same time, Lu Feng also made his move. His body was like a gust of wind, shockingly fast. In a flash, he appeared on Lu Ming's right side. Several streaks of sword light pierced towards Lu Ming and the others like lightning. Although the two of them were angry, they didn't dare to underestimate Lu Ming. They attacked with all their might and used their killing moves. The two of them worked together. One of them was powerful and heavy, while the other was as fast as lightning. Their coordination was flawless. If other experts who had broken through the second level were to face this attack, they would probably be injured. The onlookers couldn't help but feel nervous. Their eyes widened as they stared at the battlefield unblinkingly, afraid that they would miss something. Lu Ming was so confident. Would he be able to block this move? Buzz. The war god's spear vibrated, stirring up the void. Several streaks of spear light shot out, piercing towards Yuan Xie and Lu Feng. After a few consecutive explosions, a myriad of forces were stirred up. The surrounding people couldn't help but step back, afraid that they would be swept in by the powerful forces. Mullins was the only one who was covered in a layer of light. She was like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. She blocked all the forces and stood motionless in the void. Then the two figures retreated. These two figures were Yuan Xie and Lu Feng. Lu Ming didn't move at all. What? The onlookers were shocked. Not only did Lu Ming block the joint attack of Yuan Xie and Lu Feng, but he also forced the two of them to retreat. This was unbelievable. Terrifying, too terrifying. This was Lu Ming's combat strength. Could it be that Lu Ming could really defeat Yuan Xie and Lu Feng? Was this still an inferior bloodline? How could an inferior bloodline have such powerful combat strength? Is this the power of the Emperor level shocking the world? It's really powerful. Lu Ming muttered to himself. He hadn't used his full strength in the previous attack. It was just a test. He already knew that most humans cultivated the monarch level world shocking record. This was a supreme technique created by human King Xingxi. This technique was highly compatible with the human bloodline. After successfully cultivating it, one would be able to cultivate a powerful force called the world-shaking force. The Emperor level shocking the world was divided into 9 levels. The higher one cultivated it, the more powerful the shocking the world would be. Of course, the higher one cultivated it, the more closely related to one's bloodline. Only those with higher cultivation, purer bloodline and greater talent would be able to cultivate to a higher level. It was said that once one cultivated the Emperor level shocking the world to the 7th level, with some powerful secret techniques, one could break through 3 levels and become an invincible almighty. As for the 8th level, very few people in history had succeeded. The 9th level was almost a legend. Looking at the history of the human race, very few people had succeeded. It was said that both human King Shen Yuan and the Eternal Queen had cultivated the Emperor level shocking the world to the 9th level when they were almighty. This technique played a crucial role in the rapid rise of the human race in the Eldritch continent in the last era. This was the most important cultivation technique for humans below the origin realm. Han Yu had told him this when he cultivated under the sacred luminance's holy scroll. Lu Ming speculated that Yuan Jie and Lu Feng should have cultivated to the 6th level of world-shocking records of the Emperor level. The power that they had condensed was already very terrifying. However, it was still far from Lu Ming's forbidden power. Yuan Jie and Lu Feng were shocked and furious after being repelled by Lu Ming with one move. Kill? Fight. The two of them shouted again and pushed their battle strength to the limit. They activated their halberd and longsword and continued to attack Lu Ming. The halberd and longsword in their hands were undoubtedly source-grade magic weapons. The Firmament Divine Realm was much wealthier than the Heaven Destroyer, the demons, or the heavenly human race. They did not lack source-grade magic weapons. Some of the top geniuses almost all had a source-grade magic weapon. It's time to end this, Lu Ming whispered. He had already tested the two of them. The shocking the world was still too weak. There was no point in continuing to test them. Moreover, just now, Lu Ming had already sensed that more powerful people had arrived secretly. That person was obviously secretly observing them. Then he would release more power and lure that stronger expert to attack. This time he might as well reveal more of his strength and establish his prestige in one fell swoop, saving himself from future troubles. Chapter 5009. Therefore, when Lu Ming made his next move, he used a stronger force. Two huge spear lights pierced toward Yuan Jie and Lu Feng respectively. The terrifying power instantly shattered their attacks. Whoosh, whoosh. Yuan Jie and Lu Feng retreated like lightning. They retreated 100 miles before regaining their balance. They couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Psst, psst. Gasps could be heard from the crowd. Shocking, truly shocking. Even a blind person could see that Lu Ming had completely crushed Yuan Jie and Lu Feng. What kind of combat power was this to defeat Yuan Jie and Lu Feng so easily? Was this the limit of the second break? This kind of combat power was close to the third break. In the crowd, Lu Weiyang's face turned pale. Damn it, why is Lu Ming so strong? Is Pang Xiao a match for him? Lu Weiyang roared in his heart. At the same time, he felt a strong sense of unease. He wasn't sure if Pang Xiao was Lu Ming's match. Pang Xiao's combat power was undoubtedly strong. He was at the limit of the second break and was close to the third break. He had once fought with a third break and retreated unscathed after more than 10 moves. With Pang Xiao's combat power, he could easily defeat Yuan Jie and Lu Feng when they joined forces. However, he wasn't sure if Lu Ming had used his full strength just now. He never thought that Lu Ming, who had an inferior bloodline, would be so strong. As far as they knew, inferior bloodlines couldn't be this strong. Because of their inferior bloodline, it was very difficult to cultivate the Emperor-level shocking record to a high level. It was almost impossible. Bloodlines and the Emperor-level shocking record complemented each other. Back then, Xinyuan Renwang also had an inferior bloodline. However, through continuous transformations and refinements, his bloodline became stronger and stronger. In the end, he was able to cultivate the Emperor-level shocking record to the peak. Lu Ming, on the other hand, clearly had an inferior bloodline, so it was impossible for him to cultivate the record of shocking the world to a high level. Then, how could he have such strong combat strength? Although in the history of the Eldritch continent, there was no lack of people who did not have a high bloodline but had mastered other powerful forces. However, those were too few and could be counted on one hand. Could it be that Lu Ming was like this? At this moment, Yuan Jie and Lu Feng's faces were pale, and their eyes were filled with disappointment. They knew very well that they were no match for Lu Ming. If they continued to fight, the result would not change. Still want to fight? Lu Ming asked faintly. I admit defeat. In the end, Yuan Jie lowered his head. He was still arrogant and principled. Since he had lost, he would admit defeat. Lu Feng didn't want to admit defeat, but when he saw Yuan Jie admit defeat, he clenched his teeth and surrendered. He couldn't lose his composure in front of Mulin's and his competitors. Ha, interesting, interesting. At this moment, a hearty laugh was heard. Then a figure appeared in the sky. It was a bearded man. The person who had arrived had a bearded face, but he was not old. He was a young man. Lu Ming was not surprised. Previously, he had sensed that someone had arrived in the dark. Was this person? However, the rest of the people were shocked. Fu Yuan, it's Fu Yuan. Fu Yuan is here. He doesn't seem to be related to Mulin's. Could he have heard the news and rushed over? Or did he just pass by? Many people exclaimed. Fu Yuan is here too. Mulin's face turned pale and she looked worried. Fu Yuan's combat power was too strong. He was an invincible divine master who had broken through the pinnacle 3 times. He was currently the most powerful person in the Cangqing Divine Realm. In the entire Cangqing Divine Realm, there were only a handful of people who could be on par with Fu Yuan. Rumor had it that Fu Yuan was a descendant of human King Xingxi. He had the bloodline of human King Xingxi and was extremely talented. Moreover, he loved to fight. He had defeated all the top elites in the Cangqing Divine Realm. As long as he saw an expert, he could not help but want to fight. Now that he had seen Lu Ming's combat power, how could he hold himself back? This was the reason why Mullins was worried. Although Lu Ming was strong, could he be compared to Fu Yuan? Lu Weiyang, on the other hand, was overjoyed. Finally, someone was going to teach Lu Ming a lesson. Lu Ming is a descendant of human king Xingxi. He has the bloodline of a human king and has broken through the pinnacle 3 times. If you can avoid a fight, don't fight with him. Mullins quickly sent a message to Lu Ming. However, she regretted it the moment she said it. She knew Lu Ming well. If she said that, it might arouse Lu Ming's fighting spirit. Descendant of a human king? As expected, there was a flash in Lu Ming's eyes. He was very interested. Lu Ming was sizing up Fu Yuan, and Fu Yuan was sizing up Lu Ming. The interest and fighting spirit in his eyes were obviously stronger. He had fought with the elites of the Changqing Divine Realm and the elites of the Forbidden Lands, but he had never fought with a human with an inferior bloodline. He had watched Lu Ming's fight with Yuan Jie and Lu Feng in the dark. It was unbelievable that a human with an inferior bloodline could have such strong combat power. Moreover, with his keen intuition, he felt that Lu Ming had not used his full strength. This made him even more interested. All the cells in his body were excited, and he could not wait to fight with Lu Ming. Make your move. Fight with me. Fu Yuan could not help but say. Are you also a suitor of Mullins? Lu Ming asked curiously. A suitor of Mullins? Fu Yuan was slightly stunned, then he laughed. Haha, my interests are not that vulgar. I pursue the ultimate combat power and become an unparalleled combat immortal. Your interests are vulgar, many people thought. Lu Ming was one of them. Come on, cut the crap. I know you didn't use your full strength just now. Come on, I hope you can make me happy, Fu Yuan said impatiently. Lu Ming didn't use his full strength just now? Many people found it hard to believe, but since Fu Yuan said so, could it be true? Since you want to fight, I'll keep you company. Lu Ming swung his war god spear and showed his strong combat power. A top elite of the human race. Lu Ming also wanted to know what methods Fu Yuan had. He had fought with the beings of the Forbidden Lands and the ancestral patriarch of the heavenly human race, but he had never fought with a top elite of the human race. Very good, ha. Fu Yuan laughed and a battle axe appeared in his hand. The battle axe was pitch black and incomparably huge, like a door plank. I want to split open the sky. Fu Yuan hollered. His body and axe became one as he slashed toward Lu Ming. A terrifying crack appeared in the void, and a black light slashed towards Lu Ming at a terrifying speed. The power of this attack alone was much stronger than the combined attack of Yuan Jie and Lu Feng. However, Lu Ming did not care too much. He knew that although Fu Yuan's attack seemed powerful, he did not use his full strength. He did not know Lu Ming's true combat power, so this attack was obviously a test. But Lu Ming swung his war god spear and swept it out. Chapter 50-10. Lu Ming swept out his spear, and an arc of spear light collided with Fu Yuan's battle axe. Clang. The war god's spear collided with the battle axe, causing an earth-shattering explosion. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. This time even Mulan didn't dare to stand still. She quickly retreated to avoid the energy that swept towards her. As for the others, they retreated even further. At the point of collision, divine light shone brightly. The two figures separated as soon as they collided and retreated a few thousand meters. He blocked it. Many people widened their eyes in shock. Lu Ming had actually blocked Fu Yuan's attack. At least from the previous move, the two of them were evenly matched. Could Lu Ming really have the combat strength of someone who had broken through the 3rd time? Mulins's beautiful eyes were also full of splendor. To be honest, although she knew Lu Ming very well and was very confident in Lu Ming's combat strength had completely exceeded her expectations. Lu Ming actually had such an achievement in the starry sky of the universe where the desolation chi had dried up. It seemed that the starry sky of the universe had also undergone changes in the past few years. Lu Ming must have experienced a lot and obtained a heaven-defying opportunity. Otherwise, how could Lu Ming have such an achievement in the starry sky of the universe? Mulins's mind raced and many thoughts flashed through her mind. Lu Weiyang, on the other hand, was horrified. Lu Ming has an inferior bloodline. How can he have such combat strength? No, this is impossible, Lu Weiyang roared in his heart. He wished that this was a dream. Unfortunately, he clearly knew that this was real and not a dream. No, Fu Yuan has not used his full strength. He has not used his true trump card yet. The battle axe is just a trick he uses to confuse the enemy. Thinking of this, Lu Weiyang's eyes lit up with hope again. Good, interesting. Again. After Fu Yuan retreated, his battle intent became stronger. He shouted and continued to brandish his battle axe toward Lu Ming. His entire body was shrouded in golden light, and even his battle axe was shrouded in golden light. He launched a storm of attacks at Lu Ming. Lu Ming brandished his spear to block the attacks. Clang, 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 the two of them were astonishingly fast. In a breath's time they had exchanged dozens of blows. It was still a stalemate. A human who has broken through the desolation stage 3 times only has such combat strength? Lu Ming shook his head slightly. He was a little disappointed. Of course he had not used his full strength. He had been testing Fu Yuan's strength all this while. Fu Yuan's power was very strong, especially the golden power that shocked the world. It should have reached the 7th level of the Emperor-level shocking world record. Its power was very shocking. Although his power was astonishing, his attack power's attacks power. Overall, he was not as strong as the invincible divine masters of the Yi Immortal, or the invincible divine masters from the Yi Immortal. Could it be that the human race was inferior to the creatures in the Forbidden Lands? Lu Ming felt that it was impossible. If that was the case, how could the human race dominate the Eldritch continent? Are you still hiding your strength? Let me force you a little more. Lu Ming smiled secretly and suddenly increased his strength by a fraction. Buzz. The war god's spear vibrated and a terrifying power burst out. The moment it collided with the battle axe, the terrifying power passed through the battle axe and rushed toward Fu Yuan. Fu Yuan's expression changed. The golden light on his body trembled, and his body involuntarily retreated. On the other hand, Lu Ming's body only swayed slightly. This scene shocked the surrounding onlookers. Lu Ming could actually force Fu Yuan to retreat? Terrifying, too terrifying. Fu Yuan's face also turned solemn. However, the fighting spirit in his eyes was even stronger than before. Good, very good. Lu Ming, you did not disappoint me. You have indeed broken through the extreme limit 3 times. You are qualified to see my strongest killing move. Fu Yuan laughed loudly. Then the battle axe in his hand disappeared and was replaced by a guqin. It was a guqin. It seemed to be filled with the traces of time, but a terrifying aura emanated from it. A top-notch source-level weapon. With Lu Ming's eyesight, he could naturally tell that it was a top-notch source-level weapon. Fu Yuan's killing move was actually the guqin. Could it be that he was going to play the guqin? It was just that his image was too inappropriate, wasn't it? One could imagine a burly man with a full beard playing the guqin. It was too out of place. However, it was obvious that Fu Yuan's killing move was this guqin. The guqin glowed and floated in front of Fu Yuan. Fu Yuan's expression was solemn as he pressed his hands on the guqin. Clang, clang, the sound of the guqin rang out. It was like the clashing of gold and iron, or the sound of a powerful army. When the guqin rang out, dazzling rays of light burst out from the guqin. Then these rays of light turned into extremely sharp blades that rushed toward Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, it was as if hundreds and thousands of sharp blades were rushing toward Lu Ming. This was only the attack on the surface. There was also an unintentional ripple that rushed toward Lu Ming and attacked Lu Ming's soul. There were 2 attacks. One attacked the soul and the other attacked the body. The power instantly surpassed Fu Yuan's battle axe. It's coming, it's coming. Fu Yuan's killing move is coming. Legend has it that human King Shang Shi used a guqin to dominate the world and suppress forbidden lands. He was invincible. Fu Yuan is indeed a descendant of the human king. His killing move is also based on the guqin. Many people exclaimed. Lu Weiyang's eyes lit up. He was full of anticipation. Fu Yuan's killing move had appeared. He was looking forward to seeing Fu Yuan suppress Lu Ming. Swoosh, 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 Lu Ming shook his battle god spear and stabbed out hundreds and thousands of spear lights. Hundreds and thousands of spear lights burst out and blocked all the sharp blades. As for the soul attack, it was ineffective against him. His soul was scattered among the 60 trillion cells in his body. Unless one attacked all 60 trillion cells at the same time, it would have a significant impact on his soul. Fu Yuan's eyes narrowed. The golden light on his body shone even brighter and surged toward the guqin. The sound of the guqin rang out again. This time, amidst the colorful light, thousands of soldiers and horses rushed toward Lu Ming. These thousands of soldiers and horses were all covered in heavy armor. They were like soldiers who had been through hundreds of battles. They were like the armies of the human race during the prehistoric era. They were invincible. Interesting. This is the true combat power of someone who has broken through 3 times. Lu Ming revealed a faint smile. At this moment, the strength that Fu Yuan displayed was much stronger than before. This was the demeanor of an invincible divine master. He was even slightly stronger than some of the weaker invincible divine masters from the 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands. However, this kind of combat power was no pressure to the current Lu Ming. Lu Ming didn't even activate the battle character manual. Sky-breaking move. Lu Ming used the sky-breaking move. Spear lights burst out and swept across the world. The thousands of soldiers and horses were constantly defeated by the spear lights. The thousands of soldiers and horses couldn't do anything to Lu Ming. Fu Yuan's expression became more and more serious. His hands moved faster and faster as his attacks became more and more violent. However, all the attacks were blocked by Lu Ming. Prehistoric Era. Chapter 50:11. The two of them exchanged more than 100 moves. Lu Ming discovered that Fu Yuan had almost reached his limit. His combat strength and the golden light all over his body had a trace of blood-red luster. This meant that Fu Yuan had reached his limit. Then this battle should end. Lu Ming executed the primeval desolation style. A huge piece of land formed above Fu Yuan's head and pressed down on him. The continent was not big, but it was very solid and terrifying. This is the primeval desolation continent? I once saw an ancient map of the primeval desolation continent. Why does his move look so similar to the primeval desolation continent? Even the aura is very similar. What move is this? The surrounding people were in an uproar. They had never heard of someone who could condense the primeval desolation continent to attack the enemy. Fu Yuan's expression was also unprecedentedly solemn. He shouted loudly and poured all the power in his body into the Guqin. In the end, the Guqin filled the sky with multicolored light and turned into two sword lights. One attacked Lu Ming, and the other attacked the primeval desolation continent. Boom, boom. The sword light that attacked Lu Ming was blocked by Lu Ming. The sword light that attacked the primeval desolation continent collided fiercely with it and eventually collapsed. The primeval desolation continent also exploded. However, the powerful force formed by the explosion of the primeval desolation continent still rushed towards Fu Yuan. Fu Yuan's body shook violently, and he retreated with the Guqin. He retreated 100 miles before he could stabilize himself. There was a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. The scene fell into a dead silence. It took a long time for someone to react. The scene was in an uproar. Fu Yuan vomited blood. This meant that Fu Yuan was defeated. Fu Yuan was actually defeated. He was defeated by an inferior bloodline. This was really unbelievable. Fu Yuan's combat strength was almost invincible in the Azure Divine Realm. There were only a few people who could match him. Such a person was actually defeated by an inferior bloodline. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. An inferior bloodline was actually so strong. Obviously, Lu Ming had also broken through 3 times. An inferior bloodline was actually able to break through 3 times. This was unprecedented. That's right. Everyone thought that Lu Ming's battle prowess was at the 3rd stage of breaking through the pinnacle. This was because Lu Ming had controlled his battle prowess very well, and the battle prowess he displayed appeared to be only slightly stronger than Fu Yuan's. Lu Ming still had the intention of hiding his strength. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he did not want to reveal all his cards. If the crowd were to know Lu Ming's true strength, what kind of expression would they have? But even so, everyone's expressions were already very interesting. Mulin's beautiful eyes were full of extraordinary splendor. Needless to say, Lu Weiyang's face was already deathly pale without a trace of blood. His mouth was wide open as if something was stuck in his throat. Amazing, amazing, truly amazing. At that moment, Fu Yuan wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth and looked at Lu Ming. Not only did the fighting spirit in his eyes not fade, but it became even more intense. Lu Ming, I've decided that you will be my lifelong rival. In this life, my goal is to defeat you. Next time, I will definitely defeat you. Fu Yuan said loudly. Lu Ming was speechless. Big brother, you don't have to be so serious. However, he could see that Fu Yuan did not have any enmity towards him. It was as if Fu Yuan purely treated him as an opponent. Or rather, Fu Yuan treated him as an opponent who would help him improve, not an enemy. Alright, I'll wait for the day you defeat me. Lu Ming smiled. Although he said that, he did not take it to heart. He did not think that Fu Yuan would be able to defeat him in the future, even if Fu Yuan had the human monarch bloodline. This was his belief that he was invincible. You're very confident. I like it. Haha, I suffered a small injury today. I'll treat you to a drink another day. Fu Yuan laughed and waved his hand to put away the Guqin. He turned around and left, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. He came suddenly and left without hesitation. Oh no, Pang Xiao. Seeing Fu Yuan leave, Lu Weiyang's expression changed drastically as he thought of Pang Xiao. Previously, he had asked someone to invite Pang Xiao. He had originally planned to use Pang Xiao to suppress Lu Ming. However, even Fu Yuan was no match for Lu Ming. If Pang Xiao came, wouldn't he be asking for a beating? Moreover, he was the one who asked someone to invite him. This meant that he was asking Pang Xiao to be beaten up. What would Pang Xiao do to him then? At the thought of this, Lu Weiyang's face turned pale. Send a voice transmission. Yes, quickly send a voice transmission. Lu Weiyang hurriedly took out a voice transmission jade talisman and sent a voice transmission to his companion. I hope I can make it in time. Lu Weiyang roared in his heart as he prayed silently. Who else wants to challenge me? Come at me together. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the surroundings as his voice spread across the entire place. You're Lu Ming? You're very arrogant. I'd like to see what makes you so arrogant. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. Upon hearing this figure, Lu Weiyang's expression changed drastically. Oh no, it's Pang Xiao. Pang Xiao has arrived so quickly. Whoosh! A figure appeared in the void. It was a young man in a black robe. He had a hooked nose and a cold gaze that was as sharp as a goshawk's. His gaze fell directly on Lu Ming. It's Pang Xiao. The surrounding people also recognized Pang Xiao and had strange looks on their faces. What is Pang Xiao doing here? Could it be that he wants to fight Lu Ming? But even Fu Yuan was defeated. Isn't Pang Xiao asking for a beating? It was obvious that Pang Xiao did not know that Lu Ming had just fought with Fu Yuan. Lu Ming looked at Pang Xiao and said calmly, "That's right. I'm Lu Ming." Very good, very good. Today I'm going to break your claws, Pang Xiao said coldly. His eyes were sharp and filled with murderous intent. He had heard the news that Lu Ming had dared to hug Mulans in public. This had infuriated him. He had been in seclusion and had immediately ended his seclusion and rushed over. Is that so? I hope you have the ability. Lu Ming said indifferently. Such an attitude infuriated Pang Xiao even more. You hope I have the ability? Ah, you're very confident. Pang Xiao sneered. He glanced at Lu Feng and Yuan Jie and said mockingly, looks like you've lost? Ah, you're really useless. You can't even deal with an inferior bloodline. Is that so? Then I hope you can avenge us. Lu Feng sneered in response. Yuan Jie was too lazy to answer. They did not remind Pang Xiao that Lu Ming had just defeated Fu Yuan. Pang Xiao's character was not good. He was usually arrogant and overbearing. He had offended many people and many people wanted him to be beaten. Just you wait, Pang Xiao replied. His disdain grew. He stepped forward and walked toward Lu Ming. He was still very confident. So what if Lu Feng and Yuan Jie had lost? He could easily defeat Lu Feng and Yuan Jie. He was someone who could fight against someone who had broken through 3 levels and come out unscathed. Only one person was the most nervous and that was Lu Weiyang. He knew very well that Pang Xiao was definitely not Lu Ming's match. The gap between them was huge. Chapter 50:12. Pang Xiao's strongest battle record was being able to retreat unscathed after exchanging more than 10 blows with an invincible Divine Lord. That invincible Divine Lord had not pursued him because he had other matters to attend to. If the battle had continued, Pang Xiao would have lost without a doubt, and he would have lost miserably. Lu Ming, on the other hand, had defeated a powerful invincible Divine Lord head-on. The two of them were on completely different levels. Thus, when he saw that Pang Xiao was about to attack, Lu Weiyang hurriedly rushed forward and stopped Pang Xiao. He squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying and said, Pang Xiao, in my opinion, let's just forget about it. A person like you doesn't need to lower yourself to the level of someone with an inferior bloodline. Pang Xiao's sharp eyes stared at Lu Weiyang and said, if it were any other matter, I wouldn't have bothered to pursue a mere inferior bloodline. However, he committed a grave mistake. He actually dared to lay his hands on Mulans. This is courting death. This matter cannot be forgiven. Lu Weiyang, step aside. Pang Xiao, forget it. Just forget it. Lu Weiyang continued to persuade him. Lu Weiyang, what's wrong with you? You sent someone to call me here and now you're stopping me. What? Are you afraid that I'm not Lu Ming's match? Pang Xiao's face turned completely cold. It was obvious that he was extremely unhappy. No, I didn't mean that, Lu Weiyang said. He was truly a little afraid of Pang Xiao. Although he had a backer, Pang Xiao's backer was even stronger than his. Pang Xiao was not afraid of him at all. You watch for me. Within 10 moves I will definitely cripple Lu Ming's claws. Pang Xiao coldly said. A powerful aura radiated from him, forcing Lu Weiyang to retreat. As for Pang Xiao, he continued to walk towards Lu Ming. Seeing that he could not stop Pang Xiao, Lu Weiyang gritted his teeth and shouted, Brother Pang, before you came, Lu Ming and Fu Yuan had already exchanged blows? Pang Xiao, who was moving forward, suddenly stopped. His body stiffened for a moment before he slowly turned around and stared at Lu Weiyang. Who did you say? Fu Yuan? Lu and Fu Yuan exchanged blows? Yes. Yes. Lu Weiyang could only nod his head. Impossible. Pang Xiao subconsciously felt that it was impossible. However, Lu Weiyang would definitely not lie to him about such things. After asking around, he would know the truth. He then continued to ask, how many moves did they exchange? He had clearly observed Lu Ming just now. Lu Ming was unscathed and had a strong aura. How could he be unscathed after exchanging blows with Fu Yuan? He felt that Lu Ming might have only exchanged 1 or 2 moves with Fu Yuan to test his strength. Unfortunately, Lu Weiyang's answer made his jaw drop. More than 100 moves. Lu Weiyang said. Impossible. Lu Weiyang, you dare to lie to me? Pang Xiao finally could not help but roar. Even he could not remain unscathed after exchanging more than 100 moves with Fu Yuan. How could Lu Ming, who had an inferior bloodline, do it? His first reaction was to think that Lu Weiyang was lying to him. Lu Weiyang was shocked and quickly explained, no, I didn't lie to you. Everyone here saw it. If you don't believe me, you can ask anyone. Pang Xiao's gaze swept across the others and found that they were looking at him as if they were watching a good show. He knew that Lu Weiyang was telling the truth. Lu Ming could actually exchange blows with Fu Yuan and remain unscathed. Such battle prowess was definitely above his. Damn it. Damn it. Pang Xiao kept roaring in his heart. If Lu Ming had such battle prowess, how could he make a move? If he did not dare to make a move, then wouldn't he become a joke when he came aggressively and said that he would defeat Lu Ming in 10 moves? Shameful. It was too shameful. He was unable to restrain his anger and stood there in a daze. His eyes kept changing and his face kept twisting. Conflicted. Brother Pang, in the battle between Lu Ming and Fu Yuan, not only was he unscathed, he even defeated Fu Yuan. Lu Weiyang reminded him in a soft voice. He saw that Pang Xiao was conflicted and was afraid that Pang Xiao would find Lu Ming to fight. If that happened, he would definitely be defeated by Lu Ming. Rather than being humiliated then, he might as well remind him now. What? Pang Xiao looked at Lu Weiyang in shock and then looked at Lu Ming, thinking that he had heard wrongly. Previously, he thought that it was already incredible that Lu Ming could exchange blows with Fu Yuan and remain unscathed. He never expected that Lu Ming would actually defeat Fu Yuan. He really thought that he was dreaming. However, he knew that all this was very likely to be real. It was impossible for Lu Weiyang to lie in public. No wonder he did not see Fu Yuan. It was most likely that Fu Yuan had been defeated and left. How could an inferior bloodline be so strong? What? He could not figure it out. What should he do now? Should he retreat? However, he had come aggressively and confidently. If he ran away before he even made a move, he was destined to become a joke. Lu Feng, Yuan Jie, and the others would definitely not let go of such an opportunity. They would definitely publicize his embarrassing performance. In the future, he would not be able to continue pursuing Mulan's. It would be good enough if he could even raise his head in the Azure Divine Realm. No. He would definitely not allow such a thing to happen. Not only did he have to prove himself in front of Mulan's, but he also had to make a name for himself and let everyone know how powerful he was. His mind raced and he quickly came up with an idea. Pang Xiao, right? Why are you still standing there? Didn't you say that you would defeat me in 10 moves? Why aren't you attacking? At that moment, Lu Ming's indifferent voice sounded. Everyone looked at Pang Xiao as if they were watching a good show. They wanted to see how he would respond. If he accepted the challenge, he was destined to be defeated by Lu Ming. If he retreated without a fight, it would be a joke. If he had to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being too confident and speaking too confidently before. Now he was in a dilemma. Lu Ming, right? Do you know the strength of the Pang family in the Azure Divine Realm? We have at least 5 Origin Realm cultivators and a top elite above the Origin Realm. In a few hundred years they will all awaken. You should know the consequences of offending me. No, you dared to hug Mulan's. You've already offended me. Now I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. Pretend to fight with me and lose after 100 moves. Then I'll let bygones be bygones. At that moment, Pang Xiao's voice sounded in Lu Ming's ears. Pang Xiao was sending him a message. He wanted him to pretend to lose to Pang Xiao? Was this guy an idiot? Lu Ming looked at Pang Xiao as if he was looking at an idiot. Lu Ming, you'd better think it through. You should know the consequences of offending me. After the Origin Realm tribulation is over, I'll make sure you suffer a fate worse than death. Pang Xiao continued to threaten him via telepathy. This was the most perfect method he could think of in a hurry. Lu Ming had defeated Fu Yuan. If he could defeat Lu Ming, what would that mean? It would mean that his combat strength had surpassed Fu Yuan's. He could take the opportunity to become famous. Not only would he perform well in front of Mulin's, but he would also be known as an invincible expert. It could be said that he could kill two birds with one stone. Chapter 50:13. Pang Xiao also knew that this method was actually very low level. It was actually just a trick, a threat. If it was against other firmament divine realm geniuses, especially those who could defeat Fu Yuan, it was impossible for him to use this trick because it would definitely be useless. However, it was not necessarily the case for Lu Ming. Before he came, he had already learned from Lu Weiyang's friends that Lu Ming came from the Eastern Universe. In the Western Universe, Lu Ming could be said to be alone. He had no relatives and no backing. Without any backing, Lu Ming had to lie down no matter how strong he was. A powerful dragon could not defeat a snake in its old haunts. His Pang family was extremely powerful and had many experts. Although they had sealed themselves during the Origin Tribulation, the Origin Tribulation would be over in a few hundred years. At that time, those Origin Realm experts would awaken. What would Lu Ming be then? He would still be a pushover. Therefore he threatened Lu Ming. However, how could he know that Lu Ming would not be threatened? Lu Ming hated it the most in his life when others threatened him. Haha, Pang Xiao, you actually threatened me and asked me to pretend to lose to you. Ridiculous. You are a genius who has broken through twice. How could you say such a ridiculous joke? Lu Ming laughed loudly and his voice spread throughout the entire place. Rumble. Pang Xiao felt his head explode as if there was a sudden clap of thunder, almost causing him to faint. His face suddenly turned red. Lu Ming, you deserve to die, Pang Xiao roared in exasperation. He never thought that Lu Ming would actually say out his threat. He originally thought that there was at least a 50% chance that Lu Ming would be afraid of his threat and agree to his request. Even if he did not agree to his request, he would never say out his threat directly because that would offend him. It would be a situation where he would fight to the death. But now, not only did he lose face in front of Mulin's, he also lost face in front of his competitors. Soon this matter would spread throughout the entire Azure Divine Realm. Pang Xiao would become a true joke. This was even more laughable than him being defeated by Lu Ming. Everyone looked at Pang Xiao with disdain. Pang Xiao wished he could dig a hole in the ground and hide in it. Damn it, it's all Lu Ming's fault. It's all because of that damn bastard. Pang Xiao roared madly in his heart, and his face twisted into a ferocious expression. At this moment, his hatred for Lu Ming was monstrous. But did Lu Ming care? If others didn't offend him, he wouldn't offend them either. However, Pang Xiao had offered himself up to be slapped. How could he refuse? As for the expert behind Pang Xiao, that would be hundreds of years later. Hundreds of years later, he would take Mulin's back to the Heaven Destroyer base. At that time, Fei Huang would wake up and there would be the experts of the Heaven Destroyer. Why would he be afraid of the expert behind Pang Xiao? He wasn't even afraid of the creatures in the Forbidden Grounds. He had only offended Pang Xiao's faction, not the entire human race in the Azure Divine Realm. Moreover, Mulin's master was a top figure in the Azure Divine Realm. When the time came, would Mulin's help him? Lu Ming, just you wait. Pang Xiao left a harsh sentence and turned to leave. Before leaving, he glanced coldly at Lu Weiyang. This time, the reason why he was so embarrassed was entirely because of Lu Weiyang. Otherwise, why would he come here to embarrass himself when he was cultivating in seclusion? Lu Weiyang shuddered when Pang Xiao glanced at him coldly. His face suddenly turned pale and he revealed a smile that was uglier than crying. Lu Ming didn't stop Pang Xiao from leaving. There was no need to stop him. What he said just now was more effective than torturing Pang Xiao. After Pang Xiao left, Lu Weiyang also left. Goodbye. Goodbye. Then the others also left. Why would they continue to stay? To embarrass themselves? Even a fool could see that the relationship between Lu Ming and Mulin's was unusual. Lu Ming hugged Mulin's before, but Mulin's didn't seem angry at all. What if they tried? It was good enough that they didn't break their limbs. Would they continue to stay and be the third wheel? In the blink of an eye, no one was left. Only Lu Ming, Han Yu, and Mulin's maids were left. Brother Lu, I'll also take my leave. Han Yu cupped her fists and stuttered. She was mainly too surprised. She was surprised by the relationship between Lu Ming and Mulin's, and even more shocked by Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming's combat strength was completely beyond her expectations. What did she just see? Lu Ming actually defeated Fu Yuan. Oh my god, she couldn't stay calm at all. After Han Yu left, the maids also found excuses to leave. They weren't stupid. They knew that the relationship between Lu Ming and Mulin's was unusual, and they hadn't seen each other for a long time. Naturally, they wouldn't stay and get in the way. Soon, only Lu Ming and Mulin's were left in the vicinity of Sky Orchid Garden. Lu Ming walked over and grabbed Mulin's hand. Mulin's body trembled slightly and she let Lu Ming grab her hand. Senior sister Mulin's, long time no see. Senior sister has become more and more beautiful. Lu Ming looked into Mulin's eyes affectionately and said, Junior brother, you're still so glib. Have you deceived many girls over the years? Mulin said. Although she said that, her heart was as sweet as honey. Lu Ming's attitude towards her was completely different from before. It was said that distance makes the heart grow fonder. It seemed to be true. Of course not. All these years, junior brother has been thinking about senior sister. Lu Ming said affectionately. The two of them hadn't seen each other for a long time, so what followed was naturally tender and sweet words. After a long time, by the way, senior sister Huang Ling left with senior sister. Where is she now? Is she also in the Azure Divine Realm? Seeing that it was about time, Lu Ming asked the question in his heart. The reason why he didn't ask Huang Ling at the beginning was, of course, because he was afraid that Mulin's would be jealous. Huang Ling sighed. Hearing Lu Ming mention Huang Ling, Mulin's sighed. Lu Ming's heart tightened and a bad premonition arose spontaneously. Could it be that Huang Ling had met with misfortune? Lu Ming didn't dare to think further and hurriedly asked, Senior sister Mulin's, could it be that Huang Ling has already? His voice was filled with worry. Junior brother, don't think too much. Huang Ling might not have met with misfortune. She has fallen into some ancient ruins. Mulin said. Fallen into some ancient ruins? Senior sister Mulin's, what's going on? What happened to you back then? Lu Ming continued to ask. Junior brother, don't be anxious. I'll tell you slowly. Back then, Huang Ling and I went on an adventure together and accidentally entered an ancient teleportation platform. We didn't expect the teleportation platform to be activated by accident. Huang Ling and I were teleported away by the teleportation platform to an uninhabited continent. We also found that we couldn't be teleported back. We waited on that continent fragment for decades. Seeing that no one came, we could only continue forward. Immediately, Mulin's briefly recounted her experiences over the years. Chapter 50-14. Mulin's and Huang Ling had taken the same path as Lu Ming. Mulin's and Huang Ling had been teleported to the first continent fragment. They had wanted to take the teleportation array back, but unfortunately, the other end of the teleportation array had exploded. They could not return, so they had waited on the continent fragment. They had wanted to wait for Lu Ming on the other end to discover that they were missing, repair the teleportation array and bring them back. Unfortunately, Lu Ming and Lu Ming's acquaintances had not been able to repair the teleportation array at that time. They had waited for decades without seeing Lu Ming, so they could only continue to move forward through the teleportation array. Halfway through, they had come to a stone house and obtained a heaven-defying opportunity there. Not only had they obtained several treasures, but they had also absorbed the creation jade liquid in the creation jade pool. Their bodies had undergone earth-shattering changes. Not only had their cultivation improved greatly, but their talent and potential had also undergone earth-shattering changes. They had stayed in the stone house for a few years before continuing on their journey to the Western universe. At that time, the universe ruins had not yet recovered, and the creatures of the Forbidden Lands had not yet appeared. The entire Western universe was dead silent. They had carefully wandered in the Western universe, trying to find a way back. In the end, they had mistakenly entered an ancient ruin. They had stayed in that ruin for many years. In the end, Huang Ling had been trapped in that ruin, and Mulin's had luckily escaped. When Mulin's had left the ruin, she had discovered that the creatures of the Forbidden Lands had already appeared in the universe. Although there were few of them, they were very powerful. Mulin's had not dared to meet these creatures of the Forbidden Lands. She had carefully wandered the universe. Later, she had accidentally opened the seal of the Tsangqing Divine Realm. After that, Mulin's had naturally stayed in the Tsangqing Divine Realm and had been accepted as a disciple by an important figure. Through Mulin's narration, Lu Ming had a timeline in his heart that had become clearer and clearer. In the beginning, Mulin's and Huang Ling had entered the ancient teleportation path and obtained the heaven-defying opportunity on the ancient teleportation path. Then, they had come to the Western universe. At that time, the creatures in the Forbidden Lands of the Western universe had yet to awaken, the universe had yet to recover, and the great calamity of the origins had yet to descend. Then the two girls accidentally entered an ancient ruin and stayed there for many years. During this time, Huang Ling was trapped and Mulin's managed to escape. When Mulin's escaped, the creatures of the forbidden area had already begun to appear, but their numbers were still very small. Because at this time the universe began to recover, and the cultivation conditions became better. Then Mullins unintentionally opened the seal of the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm, and the humans of the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm were born. After many years, the expert of the 9 demonic spider clan broke into the ancient teleportation path. Then, Dandan repaired the teleportation array and the 9 demonic spider appeared in the universe. From the looks of it, the creatures of the Forbidden Lands in the Western Universe woke up earlier than the ones in the Eastern Universe. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind and he asked, "Senior sister, where is the ancient ruin that Huang Ling is trapped in? Is it dangerous?" Lu Ming was really worried. According to Mullins, Huang Ling had been trapped in that place for tens of thousands of years. Lu Ming could not help but be worried. It's hard to say whether it's dangerous or not. Over the years, I've read a lot of information and finally found out the origin of that ruin. That ruin should be a sacred place of the demon race of the primordial world of the last era. Huang Ling has the Phoenix bloodline. The Phoenix is one of the strongest races of the demon race of the primordial world. I believe Huang Ling should be fine. Mullins explained. The sacred place of the primordial world demon race. Lu Ming was shocked. The primordial world demon race was one of the 3 strongest races of the primordial world. Lu Ming could not help but worry. Although Huang Ling had the Phoenix bloodline, he knew very well that it was only the Phoenix bloodline of the minor Kiliacosm. The demon race of the universe and the minor Kiliacosm had impure bloodlines. It was very likely that they evolved from the flesh and blood of the primordial world demon race after they died in battle. There was a huge difference between them and the real primordial world demon race. Even if it was the Phoenix bloodline, it was a mixed blood Phoenix bloodline. It was worlds apart from the Phoenix of the primordial world. Could this be Huang Ling's protective amulet? Everything was hard to say. Lu Ming could not wait to rush over and rescue Huang Ling. Where is the sacred place of the primordial world demon race? How long will it take to set off from here? Lu Ming asked hurriedly. He did not plan to let Mullins go with him. He planned to go alone to deal with Huang Ling. However, how could Mullins not know what Lu Ming was thinking? Junior brother Lu Ming, you want to go alone to deal with Huang Ling, right? I know you're eager to save her and so am I. However, if we go there now, we won't be able to enter the sacred place of the demon race. Mullins said. Won't be able to enter? Senior sister, what's going on? Over the years, through all kinds of information and personal investigations, I discovered that the sacred place of the primordial world demon race is shrouded in layers of restrictions. The restrictions will only weaken at specific times. That is the time to enter. The last time Huang Ling and I entered, it happened to be when the restrictions were at their weakest. The next time the restrictions weaken, it will be a year later. This time, I broke through to the second extreme break this time and I also plan to enter the sacred place of the demon race a year later to deal with Huang Ling, Mullins explained. A year later, Lu Ming muttered, feeling a little helpless. It seemed like he could only wait a year later. More than 10,000 years had passed. If Huang Ling was still alive, he believed that 1 year would not make a difference. Junior brother Lu Ming, how did you get here? Your battle prowess has actually broken through the boundary 3 times. You really surprised your senior sister. You must have experienced a lot over the years. Mullins changed the topic and looked at Lu Ming confidently. After more than 10,000 years, Lu Ming was still the same Lu Ming, but his temperament had changed a lot. She wanted to imprint Lu Ming's appearance deeply in her heart. Ever since you left, Lu Ming also briefly recounted his experiences over the years. Although Lu Ming had already briefly recounted it, Mulan was still shaken to the core when she listened to him. After that, Lu Ming did not return to his residence. Instead, he stayed in Sky Orchid Garden. When the news spread, the hearts of many geniuses in the Tsangqing Divine Realm were broken. Lu Ming was staying in Sky Orchid Garden and had an unusual relationship with Mullins. What would happen between the two of them? The thought of what might happen between the two of them made the young geniuses go crazy with jealousy. They wished that they could replace Lu Ming. Among them, the one who was the most upset was Lu Weiyang. After Lu Weiyang returned, he could not sit still and could not eat or sleep. This time, Pang Xiao had suffered a great humiliation because of him. Would he bear a grudge against him? Would he seek revenge? The more he thought about it, the more afraid he became. Lu Ming, it's all because of Lu Ming. Why is this bastard with an inferior bloodline so strong? Damn it. Lu Weiyang roared in his heart and cursed Lu Ming fiercely. Then he thought of a way to prevent Pang Xiao from taking revenge. Chapter 50-15. Young Master Lu, what should we do now? I'm afraid that Pang Xiao will hold a grudge against us. A young man next to Lu Weiyang said worriedly. Of course, we'll take the initiative to find Pang Xiao and apologize to him. Lu Weiyang said. This time, Pang Xiao suffered a great humiliation. He might not accept our apology easily. The young man was still worried. Under normal circumstances, that would be the case. However, if I have a way to let him take revenge on Lu Ming, or even kill Lu Ming, then Pang Xiao won't blame us. Lu Weiyang said, his eyes flashing with a hint of conspiracy. Young Master Lu, do you have a plan? The young men's eyes lit up. That's right. Let's go find Pang Xiao. Lu Weiyang said. However, when Lu Weiyang and the others saw Pang Xiao's eyes were extremely cold and he almost attacked them. However, when Lu Weiyang said that he had a way to deal with Lu Ming, Pang Xiao's attitude improved a lot. You said that you have a way to deal with Lu Ming? What is it? Tell me. If you dare lie to me, even that grandfather of yours won't be able to protect you. Pang Xiao's voice was cold. Brother Pang, don't worry. According to my plan, Lu Ming will most likely die. Even if he has the battle strength of an invincible divine lord, can he deal with multiple invincible divine lords at the same time? Lu Weiyang sneered. Hurry up and tell me. What's the plan? Pang Xiao urged anxiously. Brother Pang, you should know about Zhu Tian, right? Lu Weiyang said. Nonsense. Who doesn't know the top expert of the 9 demonic spider race, Zhu Tian? What? Did Lu Ming offend Zhu Tian? Pang Xiao said. Zhu Tian's younger brother, Zhu Shi, died at the hands of Lu Ming. Moreover, one of Zhu Shi's top source-level divine herbs was also snatched away by Lu Ming. Lu Weiyang sneered. Pang Xiao's eyes lit up. He understood what Lu Weiyang meant. If he revealed this information to Zhu Tian would never let Lu Ming go. He would probably come straight to Canqing Immortal Realm. However, although Zhu Tian is strong, I'm afraid he can't do anything to Lu Ming by himself. Pang Xiao said. Zhu Tian's strength was absolutely astonishing. There was no doubt about this, because Zhu Tian had defeated other invincible god lords more than once. It could be said that as an invincible god lord who had broken through 3 levels, Zhu Tian's combat strength was also top-notch. However, one must not forget that Lu Ming had defeated Fu Yuan not long ago. Zhu Tian might not be able to defeat Lu Ming. Brother Pang, you don't have to worry. Zhu Tian isn't the only invincible god lord in the 9 demonic spider race. Zhu Tian has a good relationship with many invincible god lords, so Zhu Tian might not be the only one coming. Even if it's only Zhu Tian, it's fine. I think that Moken of the extreme evil race also died at the hands of Lu Ming. The 2 source-level divine herbs that Moken had also fallen into the hands of Lu Ming. The extreme evil race won't let this matter go. Lu Weiyang said, looking like he had the pearl of wisdom in his hands. Moken also died at the hands of Lu Ming? Are you sure about this? Pang Xiao was a little suspicious. Most likely. There's absolutely no mistake. Lu Weiyang immediately told him about how Lu Ming had met Moken and the others along the way, and how Lu Ming had found an excuse to leave for a while. At first, I didn't suspect Lu Ming too much because Moken was in existence who had broken through 2 levels and there were other experts present. I didn't think that Lu Ming could deal with Moken and the others, but it's different now. Lu Ming actually defeated Fu Yuan. With such combat strength, he could easily kill Moken and the others. I'm sure that Lu Ming left at that time to kill Moken and the others and take the 2 source-level divine herbs. Lu Weiyang said firmly. He was 100% sure that it was Lu Ming. If it were him, with the strength of an invincible divine master, he would definitely not let Moken and the others go. Those were 2 source-level divine herbs. How precious were source-level divine herbs? Even Origin Realm experts would be tempted, especially for peak divine masters. They could greatly increase the speed and probability of breaking through to the Origin Realm. Which peak divine master wouldn't be tempted after knowing this? In that case, Moken must have died at the hands of Lu Ming. Very good. Lu Weiyang, if you can use the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil race to kill Lu Ming this time, the grudge between us will be written off. Pang Xiao said. After saying that, a strong killing intent flashed in his eyes. This killing intent was naturally targeted at Lu Ming. Brother Pang, do you have a way to send the news to the Zhu Tian and the extreme evil race? Lu Weiyang asked joyfully. Don't worry. It won't be long before the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil race arrive. Pang Xiao said coldly. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming had stayed in Heavenly Orchid Garden for more than 10 days. During these 10 days, Lu Ming discovered how extraordinary Mulin's was. Mulin's bloodline was very similar to that of the people in the Azure Divine Realm. It was very pure and high level. It constantly emitted a strong pressure to people with inferior bloodlines like Lu Ming. Of course, Lu Ming could ignore this pressure if he used a little forbidden power. The reason why Mulan had such a powerful and pure bloodline was because she had absorbed the fortune jade nectar on the ancient teleportation path and evolved. According to Mulan's, the phoenix spirit had also undergone a transformation. Her human and phoenix bloodlines were greatly improved at the same time. In addition, Lu Ming was shocked by the few treasures of Mulan. Their levels were definitely very high, especially one of the gemstones. Lu Ming couldn't see how powerful it was. He only felt that it was unfathomable. Lu Ming heard from Han Yu that Mulan's had once used this gem to open the seal of the Azure Divine Realm. One day Han Yu suddenly looked for Lu Ming and informed him of a piece of news. Outside the Changqing Divine Realm, there was a powerhouse who challenged Lu Ming by name. Challenging me? Who is it? Lu Ming asked curiously. It's the 9-Yin demonic spider and the extreme evil race. Han Yu said worriedly. The 9-Yin demonic spider and the extreme evil race? Lu Ming frowned slightly. He thought of Zhu Shi and Moken. Did something happen? The leader of the 9-Yin demonic spider is Zhu Tian. The leader of the extreme evil race is Mo Sha. They want you to get out and die. Brother Lu, you must be careful. Han Yu reminded him. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, why are they challenging you, junior brother? Mulan's expression also changed. These two people were both invincible divine masters. Especially Zhu Tian. He had defeated other invincible divine masters more than once. In the Azure Divine Realm, there were invincible divine masters who had been defeated by Zhu Tian. Mo Sha of the extreme evil race was also a terrifying person. His methods were extremely cruel and unpredictable. He was very difficult to deal with. When did Lu Ming offend these two experts? Even though Lu Ming had the combat power to defeat Fu Yuan, Mulan's couldn't help but worry. It seems that something has happened. How did they know? Alright, Lu Weiyang. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Chapter 50:16. Lu Ming immediately thought of Lu Weiyang. Lu Weiyang had seen him kill Zhu Shi with his own eyes. There was also Moken. Since he knew that Lu Ming had the power of an invincible divine master, it wasn't hard for him to guess that Lu Ming had left halfway to kill Moken. Not only Lu Weiyang, Han Yu also thought of it. But Han Yu and the others had no reason to betray Lu Ming, so only Lu Weiyang was left. Are there many people from the two races? Lu Ming asked. There are at least dozens of people from the two races and they are all experts. I guess that besides Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, there might be other experts who have broken through the third level. Lu Ming, don't be rash, Han Yu said. Han Yu said. She wanted to remind Lu Ming not to accept the challenge. Junior brother, I think there is no need to accept the challenge. Anyway, the Changqing Divine Realm is protected by a powerful array. They can't come in. Let them guard outside. Mulan's words were more direct. Don't worry. I won't accept the challenge. Lu Ming smiled. He was already past the age of being impulsive. He wouldn't fight to the death just because someone cursed him. Although he wasn't afraid of the other party, why would he fight if he didn't have to? Wouldn't it be better to let the other party curse him outside? After that, Lu Ming continued to live in Heavenly Orchid Garden and ignored the outside world. But as time passed, the news had spread throughout the Changqing Divine Realm. Outside the Changqing Divine Realm, dozens of experts from the 9-Yin demonic spider and the extreme evil race gathered and cursed Lu Ming every day. It's been a few days. Lu Ming still hasn't accepted the challenge? I heard that Lu Ming's power is amazing. He defeated Fu Yuan. Why would he be afraid of him? Many people were talking about it. During this time, Lu Ming, Lu Feng, Yuan Jie, and the others fought over Mulan's and Lu Ming defeated Fu Yuan. The news had already spread. Lu Ming's name shook the entire Azure Divine Realm. An inferior bloodline had actually defeated Fu Yuan, who possessed the bloodline of the Holy Luminance. This was truly unbelievable. Therefore, when the elites of the 9-Yin demon spider and the extreme evil race came to challenge Lu Ming, it shocked the entire Changqing godly realm. In my opinion, Lu Ming is just afraid and doesn't dare to accept the challenge. That's right. Although he defeated Fu Yuan, I'm guessing that it was mostly due to luck. Either that or he has some kind of explosive secret technique. After using it once, the aftereffects are huge or he can only last for a short time. It's normal that he doesn't dare to accept the challenge. He's too cowardly. He's an expert who's broken through 3 times, yet he doesn't dare to accept the challenge when someone is right at his doorstep. He's been insulted every day and doesn't dare to accept the challenge. What a shame. Such words were secretly spread throughout the Changqing godly realm. Of course, these words were secretly spread by people sent by Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang. They wanted to provoke Lu Ming into making a move. If Lu Ming didn't make a move, they would also be very anxious. Such words also reached Lu Ming's ears through Mulin's servant girls. However, Lu Ming smiled faintly and didn't seem to care. He immediately knew that these words were spread by people with ulterior motives to provoke him into making a move. He wouldn't let these people have their way. Wasn't it better to stay in Heavenly Orchid Garden and cultivate? Every month, he would receive 8 drops of Origin Spirit medicinal liquid and spend the rest of his time comprehending Genesis techniques. His progress was extremely fast. Through this period of comprehension, his understanding of Genesis techniques had deepened, and his understanding was much clearer than before. He firmly believed that if he continued to improve like this, he might be able to comprehend Genesis techniques before breaking through to the Origin realm. There were very few people who could comprehend Genesis techniques before breaking through to the Origin realm. For the time being, apart from Bone Demon, Xian Yanqing, Gu Changfeng, Yi Immortal and a few others, he hadn't seen anyone else who could comprehend Genesis techniques at the Almighty stage. Even the peerless geniuses in the Forbidden Zones hadn't seen them before. Gu Changfeng, Bone Demon, Xian Yanqing and the others still relied on the 4 statues in Purple Heaven Utopia. Lu Ming's heart ached when he thought of the 4 statues. At this moment he knew that the 4 statues were most definitely top-notch treasures. They were extremely rare. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so few people in the universe who could comprehend Genesis techniques at the Almighty stage. Unfortunately, the 4 statues couldn't be taken away at that time. Later, when Purple Heaven Utopia collapsed, the 4 statues drifted into the depths of space and no one knew where they ended up. Just like that, Lu Ming stayed in Heavenly Orchid Garden to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. Lu Ming cultivated quietly while Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao were furious. Trash. Lu Ming is trash. He doesn't even dare to accept the challenge. What a piece of trash. Pang Xiao cursed angrily. Inferior bloodline is inferior bloodline. He's as timid as a mouse. I really overestimated him before. Lu Weiyang also cursed angrily. If Lu Ming didn't go out, wouldn't their plan to get someone else to do the dirty work for them be impossible? They were so angry that they couldn't wait to drag Lu Ming out and throw him in front of Zhu Tian and the others. Lu Weiyang, do you have any ideas to force Lu Ming to go out? Pang Xiao looked at Lu Weiyang. Force Lu Ming to go out? Lu Weiyang pondered for a while. After a while, Lu Weiyang's eyes lit up. I have an idea. It's not impossible to force Lu Ming to go out. Lu Weiyang said. What is it? Tell me quickly. Pang Xiao hurriedly urged. Mulin's. Lu Weiyang's eyes flashed with viciousness. The relationship between Lu Ming and Mulin's is obviously unusual. If Mulin's is caught by Zhu Tian and the others, do you think Lu Ming can sit still? I'm afraid he will take the initiative to kill Zhu Tian and the others. But Brother Pang, you are deeply in love with Mulin's. I'm afraid you won't be willing to do that. Love my ass. That sword man actually likes an inferior bloodline. Sooner or later I will make him pay the price. Okay, let's do it. But how can we make Mulin's fall into the hands of Zhu Tian and the others? Mulin's has been living in the Heavenly Orchid Garden with Lu Ming. How can we make them separate? Pang Xiao said. Mulin's and Du Ling are very close, aren't they? They are as close as sisters. As long as we take Du Ling and force her to send a message to Mulin's and let her leave the Azure Divine Realm alone, we can ask Zhu Tian and the others to take Mulin's and force Lu Ming to take action. The difficulty is how to communicate with Zhu Tian and the others and let them cooperate. Lu Weiyang said. Leave it to me. Pang Xiao said. Lu Weiyang's eyes flashed. It seemed that Pang Xiao had a good relationship with the creatures in the Forbidden Lands. There's one more thing that is very important. After this is done, we can't let Du Ling live, lest she leaves behind any evidence. Lu Weiyang said, his eyes flashing with a ruthless light. Do I need you to tell me that? Let's start. Pang Xiao sneered. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day Mulin's received a message from Du Ling. The message said that Mulin's was to go to a certain place alone. If she went with another person, Du Ling would be in great danger. Something happened to Du Ling. Mulin's face darkened. Du Ling was very close to her. When she first arrived in the Azure Divine Realm, she was unfamiliar with the place and the first person she met was Du Ling. She couldn't ignore Du Ling's accident. Chapter 50-17. Mulin's didn't expect that all of this was a plot against Lu Ming. She simply thought that something had happened to Du Ling. Therefore Mulin's didn't tell Lu Ming this news. She quietly left Sky Orchid Garden and headed out of Tsangqing Godly Realm. Mulin's purposely avoided Zhu Tian, Mo Sha and the others. However, not long after she left Tsangqing Godly Realm, she was surrounded. Those who surrounded her were Zhu Tian, Mo Sha and the others. I've been tricked. As soon as she saw Zhu Tian and Mo Sha and the others, Mullins knew that she had been tricked. These people wanted to take her down and force Lu Ming to come out and fight. Mullins certainly wouldn't give up. She tried her best to break out of the encirclement. However, although she had the combat strength of a second-time GG breaker, there was a huge difference between a third-time GG breaker and a second-time GG breaker. Moreover, there was more than one third-time GG breaker. Mullins couldn't break out of the encirclement. She didn't even have time to transmit her voice before she was captured by Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. Lu Ming, bad news? On this day, Han Yu rushed into Sky Orchid Garden with a pale face. Lu Ming's heart sank. Han Yu, what happened? Senior sister Mullins has been captured by Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. Han Yu hurriedly said. What? Lu Ming was shocked. He quickly spread out his spiritual awareness and covered Mullins' room. As expected, he found that Mullins' room was empty. Lan Xiang, what's going on? When did your miss leave? Lu Ming's figure flashed and appeared in front of one of Mullins' maids. Lu Ming and Mullins were cultivating in different rooms. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't know when Mullins left. I don't know. I don't know when Miss Mullins left either. Lan Xiang shook her head repeatedly. Something must have happened. Otherwise, senior sister Mullins would have informed me when she left. Lu Ming frowned. Lu Ming, what should we do? Zhu Tian and Mo Sha and the others said that they want you to go out and suffer. Otherwise, it will be disadvantageous to Mullins. Han Yu said. Since they want to die, let's grant them their wish. Let's go. Lu Ming's voice was extremely cold. He had not seen Mullins for many years and he was filled with guilt towards her. Now these people were actually using Mullins to threaten him. He was completely enraged. Originally he did not want to pay attention to these people, but now he wanted to kill them. Immediately Han Yu led the way and rushed toward the exit with Lu Ming. Outside one of the exits of the Azure Divine Realm, there were two groups of people facing each other in the void. One of them was the Nine Demon Spider and the extreme evil race led by Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. The other group was the human experts of the Firmament Divine Realm. Many people in the Firmament Divine Realm knew that Mullins had fallen into the hands of Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. They were furious and rushed over. However, the human experts did not attack, mainly because they were afraid of Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. Although they had the advantage in numbers, no one was a match for Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. The main reason was that there were no experts who had broken through 3 times. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, you are despicable. How dare you use a woman to threaten Lu Ming? Hand over Mullins. Suddenly, a young man from the human clan rushed out with large strides. It's Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji is here. The human experts were overjoyed. The human clan finally had an invincible divine master who had broken through 3 times. Ridiculous. That Lu Ming killed and stole the treasure. He is the despicable one. Now he is a coward hiding in the Firmament Divine Realm. Hand over Lu Ming and we will release Mullins. Mo Sha sneered. Bullsh *T. I will kill you now. Zhao Wuji shouted coldly. He did not stop and attacked Mo Sha. Mo Sha was not afraid and attacked back. Boom, boom, boom. The two exchanged more than 10 blows, but there was no clear winner. This was not the first time the two of them had fought. Their strength was evenly matched, and it was impossible to determine the victor in a short period of time. Mo Sha, do you want me to help you? Zhu Tian chuckled at the side. Zhu Tian, your opponent is me. Another figure stepped out from the human clan. It was a young man with a big beard. Fu Yuan. Zhu Tian frowned and a trace of fear appeared in his eyes. Zhu Tian, you dare to capture our people near the Azure Divine Realm? How dare you? I think you're courting death. Fu Yuan shouted. That's right. Hand her over. Otherwise all of you will stay here. The others shouted as well. Mullins was a great benefactor of the Firmament Divine Realm. She was the disciple of an important figure in the Firmament Divine Realm. Zhu Tian and the others had captured Mullins in the Firmament Divine Realm. Most of them were furious and wanted to kill Zhu Tian and the others. With Fu Yuan and Zhao Wuji backing them up, they were not afraid. There were many human clan experts and there were hundreds of them. They outnumbered the 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil clan. If something happened, they might be able to take down the other party. The 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil clan members' faces changed. They retreated and gathered together to prepare for a big battle. Mullins has been sent away by us. If you dare to act rashly and something happens to us, Mullins will be buried with us. Zhu Tian's cold voice rang out. The experts of the human race were shocked. They couldn't help but stop. They were afraid of taking action. Mullins was in their hands and they had to be careful. Even Zhao Wuji, who was fighting with Mo Sha, stopped. You are despicable. Many people shouted. Hand over Lu Ming. After we kill Lu Ming and avenge my brother Zhu Shi, we will naturally hand over Mulan's. Zhu Tian said coldly. You want to take my life? Let's see if you have what it takes. A cold voice rang out. A figure flashed in the air and a young figure appeared. It was Lu Ming. Lu Ming is finally here. Ah, that's great. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao were among the crowd. They would not miss such a lively scene. When they saw Lu Ming, they were overjoyed. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, and the others' gazes were as sharp as swords as they stared at Lu Ming. You're Lu Ming. Zhu Tian's gaze was extremely cold. He did not hide his cold killing intent. I am Lu Ming. Lu Ming replied coldly. Very well, I'll take your head. Zhu Tian closed in on Lu Ming. His terrifying cold aura locked onto Lu Ming. Zhu Tian, leave Lu Ming to me. On the other side, Mo Sha also closed in on Lu Ming. It was as if Lu Ming was a fish on the chopping block in their eyes. Apart from Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil race. That's right, they did not know that Lu Ming had defeated Fu Yuan. Pang Xiao did not tell them. Pang Xiao did not tell them about Lu Ming's combat strength because he was helping Lu Ming. He had his own plans. Chapter 50:18. Pang Xiao felt that Zhu Tian and the others might not be able to kill Lu Ming near the Cangqing Divine Realm. Even if a few more experts came, it would still be difficult. The main reason was that there were many human experts near the Cangqing Divine Realm. Those human experts might not just stand by and watch Lu Ming get killed. Even if Lu Ming had an inferior bloodline, many people would still help him. There were too many people in the Cangqing Divine Realm who had fallen. Yes, Pang Xiao felt that those who didn't think inferior bloodlines were inferior had all fallen. He felt that they had to maintain their noble status in front of inferior bloodlines. Therefore, he didn't tell Zhu Tian and the others about Lu Ming's true battle strength and achievements. He wanted the 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil race to look down on Lu Ming. If that happened, the two races would definitely suffer a great loss. Perhaps more 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil race would die at Lu Ming's hands. It would be best if a few powerful prodigies died. Then Lu Ming and the two races would really fight to the death. More experts would come to kill Lu Ming. In that case, no matter how powerful Lu Ming's combat ability was, he would only die. Therefore, the two races didn't know about Lu Ming's true battle strength. Of course, they didn't underestimate Lu Ming too much. This was because Moken might very well have died at Lu Ming's hands. If he could kill Moken, it meant that Lu Ming himself had the battle strength of at least the second break of the extreme evil realm. He might even be the limit of the second break of the extreme evil realm. However, with two invincible divine masters, Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, working together, Lu Ming would die no matter how strong he was. You want to bully me with numbers? Let me play with you. Fu Yuan shouted coldly. His Guqin appeared, and his aura rushed toward Zhu Tian. On the other side, Zhao Wuji also exuded a powerful aura. He faced Mo Sha and was ready to attack at any moment. It seems that you don't want Mulan's life. Other than Lu Ming, if anyone else dares to make a move, do you believe that I will immediately spread the news and have my people cut off Mulan's head? Mo Sha was filled with evil people, which made Fu Yuan and Zhao Wuji hesitate to act rashly. Speak, where is senior sister Mulan's? Lu Ming asked, barely suppressing the anger in his heart. People who are about to die don't need to know so much. Zhu Tian sneered. Seeing that Fu Yuan did not dare to make a move, Zhu Tian once again charged towards Lu Ming. Zhu Tian, leave this Lu Ming to me. I want to avenge Moken. Mo Sha called out. He killed my little brother. I must cut off his head with my own hands. No one can compete with me. Zhu Tian's eyes were filled with madness. The madness in his eyes sent a chill down Mo Sha's spine. She could not help but stop in her tracks. Alright, I'll let you have Lu Ming. However, the 2 stalks of top-notch source-level divine medicine in the demonic Kuan's hands are with him. After killing him, I'll take these 2 stalks of top-notch source-level divine medicine. Mo Sha said. Alright. Zhu Tian said. You guys talk too much. Since you won't hand over senior sister Mulan's, I'll capture all of you and exchange you for senior sister Mulan's. Lu Ming said coldly. The battle god's spear appeared in his hand. A powerful aura surged out like a volcanic eruption. His attitude caused Zhu Tian and Mo Sha and the others to be stunned. Lu Ming actually wanted to take the initiative to attack. Moreover, it seemed like he wanted to challenge all of them. Arrogant. Ignorant. These 2 words flashed through the minds of the 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil race. Even the experts of the human race were taken aback. They knew that Lu Ming was very strong and had defeated Fu Yuan before. However, that was only after exchanging many blows. In a real battle to the death he might not be able to defeat Fu Yuan. Zhu Tian's combat strength was not any weaker than Fu Yuan's. In fact, he was even slightly stronger than Fu Yuan. There was also Mo Sha. They were all invincible divine masters. Even if their combat strength differed, the difference was not too great. For example, Zhu Tian was one of the top invincible divine masters. He had defeated several invincible divine masters before. However, he had defeated them one-on-one. If he faced two invincible divine masters at the same time, he definitely would not be their match. Even if he pulled out two of the invincible divine masters he had defeated to join forces, Zhu Tian would still be defeated. Not many invincible divine masters could face two invincible divine masters at the same time. Therefore, although Lu Ming had defeated Fu Yuan, he was definitely not a match for Zhu Tian and Mo Sha. This Lu Ming is so arrogant. You won't die here today, right? Haha, that would be too easy for him. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao were overjoyed. They had originally thought that Lu Ming might not die today. However, now that Lu Ming had taken the initiative to seek death, things were no longer so certain. Don't think that you're invincible just because you killed Moken. I'll kill you. An expert of the extreme evil race shouted as he took the lead and charged toward Lu Ming. This person held a strange weapon. This weapon looked like a saber, but it was not a saber. It looked like a sword, but it was not a sword. It was completely black and emitted an evil aura. This weapon was unique to the extreme evil race. It was called the Extreme Evil Blade. When activated by the extreme evil race's unique power and secret technique, its power was shocking. Whoosh. The extreme evil blade went straight for Lu Ming's glabella. This was an expert who had broken through to the second stage of the extreme break, and not just any ordinary second stage extreme break. Among those who had broken through to the second stage of the extreme break, he was considered a top expert. He was not weaker than Pang Xiao and was much stronger than Mo Kuan. Therefore, Zhu Tian and Mo Sha did not stop him. It was a good opportunity to test Lu Ming's strength. At this moment, Lu Ming's murderous intent was extremely strong. At this moment, Lu Ming's gaze turned cold as he swept his Battle God Spear out. Boom. The Battle God Spear rapidly expanded and struck the opponent's extreme evil blade. There was a loud explosion, followed by a scream. The expert of the extreme evil race was sent flying backward like a cannonball. Blood kept spurting out of his mouth. Furthermore, one of that man's arms had exploded, and the edge of utmost evil flew out of his hand. He was severely injured in one move. What? Many people could not help but widen their eyes in shock. Among them, Pang Xiao was the one who was the most shocked. He knew the expert of the extreme evil race. They had fought before. The two of them were evenly matched and neither of them could defeat the other. However, this expert, who was not weaker than him, was so weak in front of Lu Ming. He had been severely injured in one move. Didn't that mean that when he faced Lu Ming he would also be severely injured in one move? This combat power, Fu Yuan's heart skipped a beat. His battle prowess was even stronger than when he had fought against him back then. Could it be that Lu Ming had not used his full strength when he fought with him? Fu Yuan felt like he had suffered a huge blow. The humans were already aware of Lu Ming's combat ability. Even they were shocked. The 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil tribe were equally shocked. Even Zhu Tian and Mo Sha, the two invincible divine lords, could not help but widen their eyes. Before they could recover, Lu Ming's attack had already begun. Kill. Lu Ming let out a long howl and struck with his palm, using the primeval style. A piece of land formed above Zhu Tian and the rest, suppressing them. In an instant, dozens of experts from the two races were enveloped. Chapter 50-19. Set up the array and block it. Zhu Tian shouted. His body flickered as he set up several combined attack arrays. The people that Zhu Tian and Mo Sha had brought with them weren't useless. They were all very strong. Apart from the first break and second break experts, there were also 2 combined attack arrays of 21 people. The 2 combined attack arrays and the other experts attacked the ancient desolate continent together. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha also attacked. However, their attacks weren't aimed at the ancient desolate continent but at Lu Ming. Zhu Tian had 8 spider legs on his back. His entire body was covered in armor. Even his spider legs were covered in armor. The 8 spider legs were like 8 long spears that stabbed at Lu Ming. Mo Sha held the extreme evil blade and slashed at Lu Ming. Its power was much stronger than that of the extreme evil race expert. Facing the joint attack of the 2 experts, Lu Ming's killing intent became even colder. Bus. The war god spear vibrated. Two spear lights shot out and stabbed at Zhu Tian and Emo Sha. The three invincible divine lords retreated too quickly. As soon as the three of them attacked, their attacks collided. Clang, 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 clang. Two figures retreated. It was Zhu Tian and Emo Sha. Psst, psst, psst. The experts of the human race all gasped. Their hearts were in turmoil and they couldn't calm down. Lu Ming had actually defeated two invincible divine lords in a head-on clash. What kind of terrifying power was this? At the same time, they were certain that Lu Ming hadn't used his full strength when he fought with Fu Yuan. Boom. At this moment, the ancient desolate continent finally collided with the experts of the two races. There was an earth-shattering explosion. The first to bear the brunt of the impact were the two combined attack arrays of 21 people. The two 21 people combined attack formations were pushed back violently. Then they trembled continuously and collapsed. The people who had set up the array spat out blood, their faces pale. The others who hadn't set up the combined attack arrays also coughed up blood. They were seriously injured. However, no one had died in the battle. The main reason was that Lu Ming had deliberately controlled his strength. Because now was not the time to kill these people. After all, Mullins had fallen into the enemy's hands. If he killed these people, Lu Ming was afraid that Mullins would be harmed. First, severely injuring these people and holding them hostage would make the other party wary. This was the best plan. Among them, Zhu Tian and Emo Sha were the most shocked. Lu Ming's battle prowess was too shocking. It was somewhat hard for them to imagine. Kill? Lu Ming roared and became one with his spear, turning into several terrifying spear lights that shot towards Zhu Tian and Emo Sha. The terrifying spear light was incomparably huge. It swept across the void, stirring up the vast void. The scene was too shocking. Spider will rend. Zhu Tian roared. Its whole body spun quickly, using its 8 spider legs as blades. In the high-speed rotation, it turned into an extremely sharp gear, cutting towards Lu Ming. At the same time, Emo Sha also went all out. He used his ultimate move to attack Lu Ming. Lu Ming's attacks exerted immense pressure on them, forcing them to go all out and activate their combat abilities to the maximum. Boom, boom. After 2 explosions, Zhu Tian and Emo Sha's figures retreated again. Their faces were pale and blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. Of course, Lu Ming still did not use his full strength. It was better not to expose all his strength if he could. After all, Mullins had not been rescued yet. He did not want to expose too much of his strength and make the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil tribe feel too much pressure. If they were prepared in advance, it would be even more difficult to rescue Mullins. It was enough to take down Zhu Tian and Emo Sha. After injuring Zhu Tian and Emo Sha with one move, Lu Ming did not stop attacking. He continued to attack. Zhu Tian and Emo Sha resisted with all their strength. As for the other 2 tribes, they could not help as they were already heavily injured. However, even if Zhu Tian and Emo Sha resisted with all their strength, they could not hold on for long. After more than 10 moves, bang! Lu Ming's spear swept across Zhu Tian's chest. His body flew out like a rubber ball. Even with the top-grade source-grade armor, he could not withstand it. At least a dozen bones in his body were broken. He coughed out blood and was severely injured. Whoosh! Lu Ming was like a flash of lightning. He followed closely behind Zhu Tian, and the battle god's spear struck down again. Zhu Tian could not dodge at all and was hit by the battle god's spear once again. Crack! Sizzle! The battle god's spear struck the top-grade source-grade armor, producing an ear-piercing sound. 2 of Zhu Tian's spider legs were broken. If it were not for the protection of the top-grade source-grade armor, they would have exploded. Let's go. On the other side, Emo Sha was really scared out of her wits. She did not dare to stay any longer. With a loud roar, she flew into the distance, trying to escape. It was rare to see an invincible divine master run away after being beaten. Seeing Emo Sha escape, Zhu Tian was enraged. He shouted, "Mullins was taken away by the extreme evil race." Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He stepped on Zhu Tian's face and used the force of this step to chase after Emo Sha like a flash of lightning. Emo Sha had already been injured in the previous fight, and her speed had been greatly affected. On the other hand, Lu Ming's speed was at its peak. Therefore, Lu Ming quickly caught up with Emo Sha. With a palm strike, a continent appeared above Emo Sha's head and pressed down on her. Damn it! Emo Sha roared. Although she tried her best to resist, the result was already decided. As the continent pressed down, Emo Sha screamed. The terrifying power passed through the top-grade source-grade armor and hit Emo Sha's body. Cracking sounds came from Emo Sha's body. Who knew how many of her bones were broken? In the next instant, Lu Ming appeared in front of Mo Sha like lightning. His fingers were like hooks, grabbing Mo Sha's neck. Ah! Mo Sha roared and struggled madly. Unfortunately, it was useless. Her body was already heavily injured. How could she break free? None of you can leave. Lu Ming's cold voice sounded. He brought Mo Sha along and his figure flashed. He dashed toward the other people from the two tribes and continuously dealt heavy blows. After a while, the 9 demonic spider and dozens of experts from the extreme evil race, including Zhu Tian, were all suppressed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming took out a rope-like treasure and tied the dozens of experts tightly into a string. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha were among them. Lu Ming, I won't let you live under the same sky as me. Kill me if you want. Otherwise one day I'll take revenge 10 times over. Zhu Tian and Mo Sha yelled. They wanted to slap Qin Fan to death. How embarrassing. An invincible divine master who had broken through 3 times, a top expert in the universe, was tied up like a chicken on a string. It was too embarrassing. This was a great humiliation that they would never be able to wash away in their lifetime. They wanted to cut Lu Ming into pieces. Unfortunately, Lu Ming wasn't moved. The human experts around were also dumbfounded. Chapter 50-20. At this moment, there were more than 300 human experts gathered around. These 300 humans were all dumbfounded, including experts like Zhao Wuji and Fu Yuan. Then many people became excited. Too domineering, too domineering. As a human, this was how it should be. Thinking back to the primitive continent in the previous era, the human race had dominated the world. How grand was that? The human race at that time was just as domineering. Among them, Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao had the most complicated feelings. Firstly, Lu Ming's combat power was too shocking. It was beyond their imagination and made them afraid. Secondly, they were a little excited. Lu Ming had treated Zhu Tian and Mo Sha and the others like that. The experts of the two races would definitely not let this matter rest. Later on, there would be more powerful people coming to deal with Lu Ming. There were at least a dozen invincible divine lords from the two races. Lu Ming could deal with 2, but could he deal with 3, 4, or even a dozen invincible divine lords? Not to mention the two races had a large number of joint attacks. Lu Ming was dead meat. Tell me, where did you take senior sister Mulin's? Lu Ming glanced coldly at Mo Sha, Zhu Tian, and the others. His voice was filled with murderous intent. Mulin's was taken away by the extreme evil race. They probably took her to the extreme evil land. A 9 demonic spider expert shouted. That's right, it has nothing to do with us. Please let us go. Another 9 demonic spider youth shouted. It was embarrassing to be tied up like this. They all wanted to get away as soon as possible. Shut up, you spiders can't be trusted. You're as timid as mice. Don't try to push all the blame to us. You spiders were the most active when we tried to take down Mulin's. The people of the extreme evil race were unhappy and started cursing. The relationship between the 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil race was not good. They were competitors and there were many fights between them. Previously they had joined forces to force Lu Ming out. Now they were quarreling. Shut up. Lu Ming shouted coldly, and the two clans immediately shut their mouths. He had no choice but to lower his head when he was under someone else's roof. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed a young man from the extreme evil race. Where is the land of extreme evil? Lead the way. Lu Ming said coldly. What? The young man from the extreme evil race and the others were shocked. What was Lu Ming trying to do? You want to kill your way to the land of extreme evil? The land of extreme evil was the headquarters of the extreme evil race. It was a terrifying forbidden area during the prehistoric continent. Now dozens of members of the nefarious tribe had awakened. Could be said that there were many experts among them. If Lu Ming took the initiative to kill his way into the land of extreme evil, he would be courting death. The extreme evil tribe had a total of 7 invincible divine masters. Aside from Mo Sha, there were 6 more. In addition, there were even more powerful joint attack formations. Lu Ming would be courting death if he went there. Lu Ming, you can't. There are still 6 invincible divine masters in the land of extreme evil, Han Yu hurriedly said, trying to calm Lu Ming down. Now that Zhu Tian and Mo Sha and the others were in Lu Ming's hands, Lu Ming could let 1 or 2 members of the extreme evil race go back to report. He could use Mo Sha and the others to exchange for Mulin's. That was the best plan. However, Lu Ming shook his head slightly. He didn't plan to do that. He had always felt guilty toward Mulin's. Other than Autumn Moon, Mulin's was the first woman he had known. When he was still weak, Mulin's had helped him enter the Mystic Essence Sword sect to cultivate. Later, Mullins had used her own happiness to help Lu Ming become a DT on Divine Guard. Mullins had helped him a lot. Without Mullins, Lu Ming wouldn't be where he was today. But later Lu Ming had known Xian Yanqing. Because he didn't want to hurt Xian Yanqing's feelings, Lu Ming had reluctantly distanced himself from Mullins. He had been young back then. Now that he had experienced more things, both Xian Yanqing and himself had slowly let go. However, Lu Ming still felt guilty toward Mullins. Now that he had finally found Mullins, the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil race had kidnapped Mullins to deal with him. This had touched his bottom line. He wouldn't let this go so easily. He wanted the two races to pay the price. At the same time, he wanted to use this battle to make a name for himself and intimidate the rascals so that there wouldn't be endless trouble in the future. He had to go to the land of extreme evil. Lead the way. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. His eyes were filled with killing intent, causing the young man from the extreme evil race to tremble. Bring him there. Emo Sha shouted. Since Lu Ming wanted to go to the land of extreme evil, why not bring him there? There were many experts in the land of extreme evil. When Lu Ming went there, he could do whatever he wanted. Okay, I'll lead the way. The young man from the extreme evil race said. Lu Ming let go of his hand and the young man from the extreme evil race flew into the distance. Lu Ming followed behind him with a group of people. Let's go and take a look. We have to go. If the extreme evil race dares to bully us, we'll attack. After all, Lu Ming is a member of the human race. We can't let him suffer. I'll send a message immediately and call a few experts to help. Many people in the Azure Divine Realm shouted. Some people took out their voice transmission jade talismans and called their friends to go to the land of extreme evil. Even Zhao Wuji, Fu Yuan, and the others took out their voice transmission jade talismans and sent messages. Not long after, a large number of experts from the human race headed to the land of extreme evil. The Azure Divine Realm was quite far from the land of extreme evil. With Lu Ming's speed, it would take at least half a month to reach the land of extreme evil. Along the way they met many people from other forbidden lands. What's going on? When these people saw that Lu Ming had brought a group of people with him, they were all dumbfounded. It's like this. Among the human race, someone who was talkative immediately told them what had happened. I can't believe such a thing happened. Let's go and take a look. Then these people followed behind Lu Ming and headed toward the land of extreme evil. Moreover, these people spread the news to their friends and family. This news spread like a hurricane to the 6 superpowers in the Western universe. I say, can you put us away or cover us with something? A young man from the 9 demonic spiders shouted. Yeah, cover us. The others shouted as well. It was too embarrassing to be tied up like this and swaggered through the streets. They wished they could find a dog hole to hide in. That would be better than this. Lu Ming could not be bothered with them. He continued to pull these people toward the land of extreme evil. The experts of the extreme evil tribe in the land of extreme evil also received the news quickly. They were all furious. How dare you tie up the people of the extreme evil tribe? You're courting death. Who is that Lu Ming? He's too daring. How dare he come to our land of extreme evil? Men, gather the experts. When this person comes, we must tear him into pieces. The people of the extreme evil tribe shouted angrily. The experts of the 9 demonic spider were also furious. After the experts of the 9 demonic spider heard the news, they sent out their experts to the land of extreme evil. The Western universe was in turmoil. Chapter 50-21. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming and the others finally arrived at the abominable land. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, a large number of figures rushed out of the abominable land. There were tens of thousands of them, and they were all elites of the abominable tribe. The 9 demonic spiders are also here. Very good. Lu Ming looked to the other side and saw a large number of 9 demonic spiders. The 9 demonic ruins where the 9 demonic spiders lived was closer to the abominable land than the abominable land was to the abominable land. Therefore, the 9 demonic spiders arrived earlier than Lu Ming and the others. Other than the 9 demonic spiders, there was a group of creatures that Lu Ming was unfamiliar with. There were about a few hundred of them. They were tall and burly and they were covered in black armor. Each of them carried a black sword on their back. At first glance they looked like a group of warriors. Creatures of the Forbidden Lands, Dark Heaven warriors. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There were a total of 6 forces in the Western universe. Other than the humans in the Abominable Land, the other 5 forces were all creatures of the Forbidden Lands. The Dark Heaven warriors were one of the creatures of the Forbidden Lands. It was said that there were fewer of them than the other Forbidden Lands, but their combat strength was terrifying and their vitality was shocking. Their average strength was ranked first among the creatures of the Forbidden Lands. Obviously, the Dark Heaven warriors were closer to the Abominable tribe and had arrived earlier than them. As for the other two Forbidden Lands, there were only a few of them and they were obviously further away. You humans are so bold to treat our people like this. Do you want to start a full-scale war? An elite of the Abominable tribe roared as he looked at the human elites behind him with an evil and cold gaze. That's right. You're provoking both of our races at the same time. Do you still think that you humans are the same as the humans of the Eldritch continent? An elite of the 9 demonic spiders shouted. Let's start a war then. We're not afraid of you. The experts of the human race were also enraged. They all retorted. The atmosphere at the scene immediately became tense. This is my personal matter. It has nothing to do with the human race. At this moment Lu Ming spoke. He found that while there were some humans in the Azure Divine Realm like Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao who were of inferior character and showed off their superiority in front of those with inferior bloodlines, most of the humans were good. They didn't look down on him because of his inferior bloodline. Moreover, they were very united with each other. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people following Lu Ming to the land of extreme evil. Their purpose was to cheer for Lu Ming. Therefore, Lu Ming did not want to implicate the human race because of his personal affairs. With the strength of the human race, they were no match for the 9 demonic spiders and the extreme evil tribe. Once the battle started, the Tsangqing Divine Realm would be at a great disadvantage. Brat, you want to shoulder the responsibility alone? You may not be able to do it alone. The 9 demonic spider shouted coldly. Brat, quickly release my clansmen, shouted a member of the extreme evil race. Release my senior sister first, then I will naturally release her. Lu Ming said. Haha, you want to negotiate with us in the land of extreme evil? I'm afraid you don't have the right. A youth from the extreme evil race sneered and kept pressing towards Lu Ming. A terrifying and evil aura filled the air. Without a doubt, this was a terrifying expert who had broken through 3 times. Besides this person, there were other experts from the extreme evil race who were also pressing forward. They were all invincible almighty. Although they were arrogant, they didn't dare to be careless. After all, Zhu Tian and Emo Sha were tied together. Humph, if you don't hand them over, I'll beat you until you do. Lu Ming snorted and waved his hand. He activated the Chaos Ring and put Zhu Tian, Emo Sha, and the others into it. Brat, you're courting death. Seeing that Lu Ming had put away Emo Sha and the rest, the members of the extreme evil tribe instantly exploded. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the extreme evil blade was unsheathed. In an instant, 5 terrifying attacks flew towards Lu Ming. The 5 invincible almighty from the extreme evil race attacked at the same time. Despicable. You want to bully him with your numbers? 5 against 1. What kind of supreme talent are you? Fu Yuan, Zhao Wuji and the others shouted. Divine light shone from their bodies as they wanted to help Lu Ming. This time, the human race had sent 3 invincible almighty. Coincidentally, Lu Ming had seen them before. They were Fu Yuan, Zhao Wuji and Yen Wudao. It's not your business. It's better if you don't interfere. A cold voice rang out. Several figures rushed towards Fu Yuan and the other evil people. They were the experts from the 9 demonic spider race. They blocked Fu Yuan and the others so that they couldn't help Lu Ming. With this delay, the attacks of the 5 experts from the extreme evil race were already close to Lu Ming. It looked like Lu Ming was about to be cut into pieces by these 5 attacks. At this moment, some people's hearts were in their mouths, while others were overjoyed. The overjoyed people were naturally Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao. They had also followed along. Their main purpose was to see Lu Ming being killed by the experts from the extreme evil race with their own eyes. Now their wish was about to come true. Who in the world could defeat the 5 invincible almighty from the extreme evil race when they joined forces? Unless it was an expert who had broken through 4 times. However, in the entire Western universe among the 6 major forces, there were only 2 people who had broken through 4 times. These 2 people represented the absolute pinnacle of the almighty realm. Although Lu Ming was strong, he was still a far cry from those 2. At this moment, Lu Ming attacked. Everyone felt a terrifying aura suddenly erupt from Lu Ming's body. This aura was extremely powerful and shocking. It was like the energy produced by tens of thousands of stars exploding at the same time. Then, this energy turned into 5 spear lights that pierced toward the 5 experts from the extreme evil race. Each spear light collided with a blade of extreme evil. Boom 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 boom. There was an earth-shattering explosion and the light was extremely dazzling. Then the crowd saw 5 figures retreating rapidly. What? At this moment, everyone ignored the bright light and widened their eyes in shock. This was because the 5 people who had retreated were the 5 experts from the extreme evil race. The 5 experts from the extreme evil race had been forced to retreat. The 5 of them had joined forces to attack Lu Ming, but they had been forced to retreat by Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming stood in the void and did not take a single step back. How was this possible? Many people rubbed their eyes hard, thinking that they were hallucinating. Even Fu Yuan, Zhao Wuji, Yen Wudao, and the invincible almighty from the 9 demonic spider narrowed their eyes in disbelief. Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao's mouths were wide open and they could not say a word. Kill. Lu Ming roared and his aura soared to the Milky Way. He held the spear with one hand, and the forbidden power kept pouring into the war god's spear. The war god's spear kept growing bigger and bigger, and finally, it smashed toward the 5 experts from the extreme evil race. Yes, there were no extra tricks. It was simply smashing down. It was overbearing. The huge war god's spear carried an extremely violent aura, and it enveloped the 5 experts from the extreme evil race. Chapter 50-22. The 5 masters of the extreme evil tribe widened their eyes and felt a chill in their hearts. Annihilation heavenly spirit. 1,000 years evil kill. The 5 masters of the extreme evil tribe roared. They pushed their combat strength to the maximum and used their strongest attack, hoping to block Lu Ming's attack. 5 killer moves rushed toward the war god's spear and collided with the war god's spear. Kaboom! Heaven and earth trembled violently, and the void was torn apart by the terrifying force, creating a series of hideous cracks. The 2 sides attacked each other for a breath. But after a breath, the killer moves of the 5 masters of the extreme evil tribe trembled violently and collapsed. The war god's spear did not stop. It continued to press down. Bang! Bang! The 5 masters of the extreme evil tribe retreated. They coughed up blood and their faces were pale. Break the sky. Lu Ming did not stop attacking. He used the break the sky form. It turned into a sharp spear light and pierced toward one of the extreme evil tribe members. The extreme evil tribe member was already injured. There was no way he could dodge Lu Ming's attack. With a puff, the spear light pierced through the extreme evil tribe member's body. It almost pierced through his body. The spear light sent him flying tens of thousands of miles away. If it were not for the fact that this person had a top-notch source-grade armor, he would have been killed. Then Lu Ming changed the direction of his spear. He swept out and hit one of the extreme evil tribe members. The extreme evil tribe member's body flew out like a meteorite. He flew back into the land of extreme evil and crashed into a mountain. The mountain almost shattered. The remaining 3 masters were shocked. They could not help but retreat. You want to leave? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He slapped out and used the primitive desolation form. A continent appeared and pressed down on one of the invincible masters of the extreme evil tribe. The invincible master roared and tried his best to resist. But when he touched the continent, his body trembled violently and he coughed up blood. Then Lu Ming grabbed with his big hand and a huge palm condensed. It grabbed at the person and caught him in his hand. The remaining 2 invincible masters of the extreme evil tribe finally took the opportunity to retreat tens of thousands of miles away. Everyone at the scene sucked in a breath of cold air. They were extremely shocked. The extreme evil race's 5 invincible god masters faced off against Lu Ming. Surprisingly, they were defeated by Lu Ming. 2 of them were seriously injured, 1 was captured by Lu Ming, and the other 2 retreated in panic. These were 5 invincible divine masters. What was an invincible divine master? It meant that they were invincible in the divine master realm. Any one of them would be invincible. They could even surpass realms and fight source powers. 5 of them had joined forces, yet they had been defeated so easily. 4 times of break G. A phrase flashed through everyone's mind. That's right. Only someone who had broken through 4 stages of extreme break would have such combat prowess. However, how difficult and rare was it to break through 4 times? Even in the great desolate continent of the previous epic, there were very few of them. In the current era there were only 2 of the 6 great factions. And these 2 were creatures of the Forbidden Lands. However, the creatures of the Forbidden Lands weren't from this era at all. They had sealed themselves in an unknown era and had only awakened in this era. And Lu Ming was a human. Obviously he was from this era. How could someone break through 4 stages of extreme break in this era? The hearts of the people at the scene were in a perilous state. Even the 9 demonic spiders elites, Fu Yuan, and the others couldn't remain calm. The 9 demonic spiders elites couldn't help but retreat and distance themselves from Lu Ming. Fu Yuan, Zhao Wuji, and Yen Wudao looked at each other with complicated expressions. Especially Fu Yuan, who smiled bitterly. It turned out that Lu Ming hadn't treated him as a real opponent and hadn't used much strength at all. If Lu Ming had used all his combat prowess, he might not have been able to block even one attack. How did Lu Ming cultivate? How could he be so strong? His bloodline wasn't of a high level. The humans in the Azure Divine Realm couldn't figure it out. Among them, Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao's faces were pale. Lu Ming's combat prowess had completely exceeded their expectations. With such combat prowess in this era where origins didn't appear, it was impossible to kill him as long as he didn't fall into an origin grade array. They were too naive to think that they could kill someone with a borrowed knife. At the same time, they were a little worried that Lu Ming would take revenge. No, the origin tribulation will be over in a few hundred years. If he dares to touch me, my grandfather will definitely not let him go. Lu Weiyang comforted himself. If Lu Weiyang thought so, Pang Zhao was even less worried. His background was much stronger than Lu Weiyang's. Hand over Senior Mulins or I'll kill this person. Lu Ming's voice spread throughout the area. He formed a giant hand with his forbidden power and grabbed the Extreme Evil Race Elite. When he exerted force, the Extreme Evil Race Elite spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it. Damn it. The Extreme Evil Race Elite glared angrily at Lu Ming and roared in his heart. However, none of the tens of thousands of Extreme Evil Race Elites dared to step forward and attack Lu Ming. If Lu Ming had really broken through 4 times, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Lu Ming, no matter how many of them there were. A 21-man combined attack array wouldn't pose much of a threat to Lu Ming, no matter how many of them there were. Unless Lu Ming was trapped in an origin grade array formation. However, Lu Ming wouldn't be so stupid as to enter an origin grade array formation obediently. Or perhaps they could deploy a 36-man combined attack array formation. However, the Extreme Evil Race didn't have such a combined attack array formation. Like the Primordial Light Race, it wasn't worth it to refine a 36-man combined attack array formation. Furthermore, if the Origin Grade Elite hadn't sealed himself in a deep sleep, such a combined attack array formation wouldn't have been of much use. However, a dignified forbidden area had been invaded and their invincible Divine Master had been captured and threatened. This was a great humiliation. Unfortunately, they couldn't do anything to Lu Ming at all. Senior brother Evil Cicada is here. It's young Master Evil Cicada. Suddenly, there was a commotion behind the Extreme Evil Race. Many people looked behind them. 2 figures appeared behind them, stepping through the air. One of the 2 youths was bald. He wore a black robe and exuded an extremely evil aura from head to toe. Evil Cicada. When Fuyuan, Zhao Wuji and the others saw this bald youth, their pupils constricted and they were filled with fear. Evil Cicada was known as the top Divine Master of the Extreme Evil Race. He had broken through 3 times and was even stronger than Zhu Tian of the 9 demonic spider race. It was said that Evil Cicada wanted to break through 4 times. The Extreme Evil Race had a total of 7 invincible Divine Masters who had broken through 3 times. Aside from Mo Sha, there were also the 5 who had joined forces to attack Lu Ming. The last one was Evil Cicada. It was said that this person was extremely evil and his methods were extremely vicious. Anyone who offended him would end up in a miserable state. However, when everyone's gaze turned to the youth beside Evil Cicada, their eyes widened. She chanting. She chanting. Why is she chanting of the Dark Sky Vine race here? Many people exclaimed. Oh no. Fuyuan, Zhao Wuji, Hanyu, and the others' expressions changed drastically. It was as if they had seen something terrifying. Chapter 50-23. Lu Ming's gaze landed on the young man immediately. Lu Ming's sharp spirit sense told him that this person was very dangerous. As for Evil Cicada, he ignored him. He didn't care about a person who had broken through 3 levels. The young man also looked at Lu Ming. Their gazes clashed in the void like sharp swords. Interesting. Shi Tianting smiled faintly. He looked at Lu Ming with great interest. Soon, Evil Cicada and Shi Tianting came to a place not far from Lu Ming. Brother Shi, I'll have to trouble you this time. Evil Cicada cupped his fists at Shi Tianting. Don't worry. Since I've read your evil sword steel and promised to do something for you, I'll definitely help you this time. But after this we'll be even, Shi Tianting said. His voice was very gentle, as if he was never in a hurry to do anything. Okay, it's a deal. Evil Cicada nodded and then looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, right? If you want to save people, you can fight with Brother Shi. If you win, you can take them away. What? Shi Tianting wants to fight with Lu Ming? Many people were excited. The current 6 forces of the universe had as many experts as there were clouds in the sky. The 6 forces combined had dozens of invincible divine masters. But there were only 2 people who were undefeated. Two peerless geniuses who had broken through 4 levels. Shi Tianting was one of them. Shi Tianting was too strong. Invincible divine masters couldn't withstand a single blow from him. Usually he rarely fought. It was said that the two of them who had broken through 4 levels would often spar in private, but others couldn't see it at all. It was said that Shi Tianting's heart was higher than the sky. He wanted to change his fate and break through to the origin under the Great Tribulation of the origin. According to the ancient legends, anyone who broke through to the origin under the Great Tribulation of the origin would undergo a transformation and obtain a heaven-defying fortune. They would go further in the future. There was another saying that if one could break through the origin tribulation during the origin tribulation, their chances of becoming an immortal would greatly increase. As long as they did not die along the way, they were almost certain to become an immortal. However, if one wanted to break through to the origin realm under the origin tribulation, the difficulty was so great that it made one despair. Moreover, it was extremely dangerous. If one moved, one's body and Tao would vanish and one's soul would scatter. Throughout history, there had been countless talented geniuses with lofty ambitions. They wanted to break through under the Great Tribulation of the Source and obtain a path to the great Tao of the heavens, but in the end they all died. Fu Yuan Shi Tianting is a 4-time extreme break. You have to think twice. Han Yu couldn't help but send a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Thanks for the reminder. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Han Yu. Then he glanced at Evil Cicada and fixed his eyes on Shi Tianting. Okay, let's fight. Lu Ming's answer was very simple. It was only 2 words, but it was sonorous and powerful, pressing forward courageously. He had no reason to refuse this battle. Needless to say, this battle was related to Mulin's. Even if Mulin's wasn't involved, he wouldn't refuse. A 4-time extreme break. There was actually a 4-time extreme break in the Western universe. This was beyond his expectations. The 3 forbidden lands in the Eastern universe didn't have a 4-time extreme break in the Eastern universe. He had always wanted to know if his combat strength was at the 4-time extreme break. No one had been able to verify it before, but now that there was an opponent to verify it, how could he refuse? Boom. Suddenly, a powerful aura erupted between Lu Ming and Shi Tianting. The shocking aura collided in the air, creating an extremely terrifying energy. The energy swept out like a gust of wind. Retreat. The others around them frantically retreated, not daring to stay nearby. Even the invincible divine lords didn't dare to get too close for fear of being sucked in. When a 4-time extreme break attacked with all his strength, even the invincible divine lords might be injured if they got too close. Everyone retreated far away, leaving a large space between Lu Ming and Shi Tianting. I hope Shi Tianting can kill Lu Ming. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao prayed in their hearts. Lu Ming's combat strength was too strong, so strong that it made their hearts tremble. Although they had backers behind them, these backers were now in a deep sleep. If Lu Ming went crazy, it would be better to be killed. Lu Ming moved his mind and the invincible divine lord of the extreme evil race was put into the ancient desolation ring. The divine battle spear shook slightly and a forbidden energy appeared on its surface. Shi Tianting grabbed the air with his right hand and a black sword appeared in his hand. This sword had a strange shape. It was thin and long. It was only a finger wide, but it was 3 meters long. Buzz. Shi Tianting raised his right hand slightly and a terrifying energy surged into the black sword. The sword let out a terrifying sound. The energy of the two became stronger and stronger and kept clashing in the air. Suddenly, the two of them moved at the same time and rushed towards each other like 2 rays of light. The spear aura and the sword aura surged at the same time and clashed in the air. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of metal clashing was heard continuously. The two of them were so fast that they had exchanged dozens of blows in an instant. Every time they clashed, there would be a small burst of sword chi and spear aura that swept in all directions. With the two of them as the center, the surrounding space was completely messed up. They're so powerful. Is this the combat strength of a 4-time extreme break? I'm afraid that's the power of their origin. It's terrifying. Many people were discussing. The combat strength of a 4-time extreme break? You're thinking too much. This is just a test. I'm sure that they haven't used their full strength yet. An invincible divine lord sneered. What? They're already so powerful, but they haven't used their full strength? Many people were shocked. But they didn't doubt it. Ordinary people naturally couldn't compare with invincible divine lords. Even those with a weak cultivation level could not see the figures of Lu Ming and Shi Tianting. They could only see the rays of light moving in the void, sometimes left and sometimes right, sometimes up and sometimes down, constantly exchanging blows. In the blink of an eye, dozens of blows had been exchanged. Suddenly, the two rays of light retreated at the same time, revealing the two figures. Shi Tianting, there's no need to hold back. Use your full strength or else you won't be a match for me, Lu Ming said. That's what I wanted to tell you. Fight with your full strength. Shi Tianting's voice was sonorous, and his aura was getting stronger and stronger. One could see that his eyes were changing. One of his eyes was as black as an abyss, while the other was as red as a sea of blood. At the same time, his left hand grabbed at the air, and another long sword appeared. The shape of this long sword was almost the same as the previous one, thin and long. However, the color of this sword was different from the previous one. The color of this sword was crimson, and it was a dazzling crimson. Kill! Shi Tianting suddenly roared, and the two long swords slashed at Lu Ming from two different directions. As they slashed, the two long swords underwent a huge change. The two long swords actually split. One split, two splits. When they neared Lu Ming, there were at least dozens of forks on the two long swords. The two long swords looked like two rattan vines. Chapter 50-24. The two swords seemed to have transformed into two rattan vines, one pitch black and the other blood red. The rattan vines were like tentacles that grabbed at the void. With a sudden fling, the void actually moved. The void seemed to have turned into a material object that was grabbed by the rattan vines and smashed towards Lu Ming. The void around Lu Ming completely collapsed, forming a destructive force that bombarded Lu Ming. A Genesis technique. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. This wasn't a simple space attack, but a Genesis technique. Grabbing the void was just a manifestation of this technique. Lu Ming was certain that there was no mistake. This was definitely an origin technique. This was the first time Lu Ming had encountered a Forbidden Land creature that could use a Genesis technique at the Divine Master stage. No wonder Shi Tianting could break through 4 times of the Extreme Breaker stage. His combat strength was already very strong, and with his Genesis technique, his combat strength far surpassed other invincible Divine Masters. Lu Ming didn't dare to be careless. He directly activated the battle art to increase his combat strength by 9 times, raising his combat strength to the peak. Swish! Lu Ming swept the God of Combat spear out in a sweeping manner. An arc of spear light swept out in all directions. Rumble! The War God's spear and Shi Tianting's attacks collided repeatedly. In the end, Shi Tianting's attacks were blocked. However, Shi Tianting's attacks were like a storm. After one move was blocked, the two rattan swords' attacks changed again and continued to extend. Not only could they grab the void in all directions, but they could also grab any energy to attack Lu Ming. Shi Tianting stood in the distance, but his storm-like attacks completely enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming constantly brandished the War God's spear to block the storm-like attacks. Lu Ming is at a disadvantage. Shi Tianting is really strong. As expected of one of the two invincible experts. Although Lu Ming is strong, he's still a little weaker. Many people were discussing. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao revealed looks of joy. They were looking forward to Lu Ming being unable to resist and being killed by Shi Tianting. Even if Lu Ming hadn't been killed by Shi Tianting, he would have been severely injured. If Lu Ming was seriously injured, the 9 demonic spider and the elites of the extreme evil race would not let him go. Once Lu Ming was seriously injured, there was no need for Shi Tianting to kill him. Lu Ming would also die. What do you know? Shi Tianting seems to have the upper hand, but he may not necessarily win, said an invincible Divine Master coldly. What? We might not win? Many people were puzzled. Didn't Shi Tianting have the complete upper hand? Shi Tianting's attacks are violent, and he seems to have the upper hand. However, Lu Ming doesn't show any signs of defeat. He is resisting and looking for an opportunity to counterattack. That's right. Although Shi Tianting's attacks are violent, they also consume a lot of energy. As time goes on, he will definitely run out of energy. On the other hand, Lu Ming might seem to be at a disadvantage, but he won't consume as much energy to block the attacks. As long as Shi Tianting's attacks slow down, Lu Ming will launch a fierce counterattack. Let's see if Shi Tianting can completely defeat Lu Ming before he runs out of energy. Several invincible Divine Masters commented one after another. So that's how it is. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao began to worry again. In fact, these invincible Divine Masters were not wrong. The only thing that wasn't right was that Lu Ming wasn't completely powerless to fight back. If Lu Ming attacked with all his strength, he could still fight back against Shi Tianting. But there was no need. To be honest, Shi Tianting's attacks were indeed very powerful and weren't any weaker than Lu Ming's. There was no need to fight back against Shi Tianting. Firstly, Lu Ming wanted to observe his opponent's Genesis arts. Secondly, it would be easier for him to counterattack when his opponent's attacks slowed down. More than 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. Shi Tianting's attacks lasted for more than 10 minutes. Even Lu Ming could not help but exclaim in amazement. The living beings of the Forbidden Grounds were truly gifted and blessed by nature. Shi Tianting's true form was the Tianin vine, a kind of plant life. In terms of divine power or origin power, plant life was at the top. However, no matter how powerful it would be exhausted eventually. After more than 10 minutes of continuous attacks, Shi Tianting's attacks finally slowed down. Sky-breaking form. Lu Ming finally seized a gap in his opponent's attacks and performed the sky-breaking form. He became one with the spear and stabbed out. With a bang, Lu Ming broke through Shi Tianting's attack and the peerlessly sharp spear aura went straight for Shi Tianting's forehead. Shi Tianting's expression changed. He waved his right hand and the pitch-black vine sword, which was thousands of miles away, suddenly shrank back. Yes, it was so fast that even Lu Ming was surprised. It was much faster than Lu Ming's attack speed. In an instant, it shrank back in front of Shi Tianting. Shi Tianting flicked his wrist and the vine sword continued to spin, forming layers of sword shadows that blocked in front of him like a shield. Lu Ming's peerless spear aura stabbed on the sword shield. With a boom, Lu Ming's attack was blocked. However, Shi Tianting was not in a good condition either. He hastily set up a defense and could not completely block Lu Ming's attack. The pitch-black vine sword vibrated continuously and his body was also violently shaken as he retreated rapidly. However, in the process of retreating, Shi Tianting waved left and right and the blood-red vine sword swept towards Lu Ming. The vine sword split open and extended dozens of vines. Each vine was like a peerlessly sharp divine sword that slashed towards Lu Ming. Primeval desolation form. Lu Ming struck out with his left palm and a piece of land was formed. It rushed vertically towards the blood-red vine sword and blocked it. However, Lu Ming did not stop and continued to rush towards Shi Tianting. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the long spear vibrated and streaks of terrifying spear aura covered Shi Tianting. Shi Tianting continued to retreat. As he retreated, he waved his black vine sword to block. His two long swords, one red and one black, one attacking and one defending, actually cooperated seamlessly. It was not easy for Lu Ming to take down his opponent in a short period of time. The two quickly exchanged blows and unleashed their full combat strength. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The two had already exchanged more than 100 blows since the beginning. Gradually, Lu Ming finally gained the upper hand. The desolate form and the sky-breaking form were executed consecutively. Shi Tianting could only retreat and block at the same time. Finally, under Lu Ming's ferocious attacks, the celestial vine revealed a flaw. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and executed the sky-breaking form with all his might. It turned into a peerless spear aura and attacked this flaw. Although Shi Tianting tried his best to block it, he could not completely block it. With a puff, a figure retreated rapidly. It was Shi Tianting. There was a bloody hole in his chest and blood was flowing out of it. The two of them did not use their top source-grade battle armor in the battle just now. This was the tacit understanding between top experts. It was not a life-and-death battle. What was the point of using a top source-grade battle armor? It would not be much of a tempering for oneself either. Lu Ming did not continue to attack. Instead, he looked at Shi Tianting calmly. I've lost. Shi Tianting let out a long sigh with a complicated expression. Whoosh. The scene was in an uproar. This scene was too unexpected. Shi Tianting, who was known to be undefeated in the Divine Master realm, was actually defeated. Chapter 50-25. Before this, no one would have thought that Shi Tianting would be defeated in a battle between Divine Masters. Shi Tianting was known to be invincible and it wasn't just for show. He had never been defeated in a battle of the same level. Among the 6 major forces in the Western universe, he only had one opponent, but it was a draw at most. He had never been defeated. To think that he would have lost today. To think that he would lose in the hands of a human. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, it would have been hard to believe. The experts of the 9 demonic spider and the extreme evil tribe were pale. After the shock, the experts of the human race became excited. Their human race finally had an invincible expert. In the era of origin, with such an expert in charge, they really had nothing to fear. Of course, Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao didn't think so. At this moment, they were roaring in their hearts and their faces were extremely ugly. Let's go, let's leave first. Pang Xiao whispered and then slowly retreated with Lu Weiyang and left quietly. Lu Ming had defeated Shi Tianting, and he instinctively felt that something bad was going to happen. I was lucky. Lu Ming looked at Shi Tianting and said. He was telling the truth. Shi Tianting's combat strength was really very strong. If it was a life-and-death battle, Lu Ming wasn't confident that he could kill Shi Tianting. This battle made Lu Ming understand once again that there was always someone better than him. Originally, after he had achieved great success in his cultivation, especially when he forced the 3 tribes of the Forbidden Lands to not dare to fight, especially when he fought against the Origin without being at a disadvantage. This made his confidence soar. He once thought that he should be invincible in the Divine Master realm. At this moment he realized that the world was too big and there were too many geniuses. He had a fortuitous encounter and so would others. He was talented but others were more talented. It was too difficult to be invincible forever. You won by luck. If we weren't in the Void Universe you might not have been able to defeat me. Shi Tianting said, his eyes still bright. Lu Ming was slightly stunned but he immediately understood. Almost all the creatures in the Forbidden Lands were not creatures of the Void Universe. They came from outside the universe. In the untainted Void Universe they would be suppressed, especially those above the Origin level. For example, the Celestial race. Under the Origin, their talents were extremely high and their battle prowess was strong. They were stronger than the other races in the universe. However, after reaching the Origin, they would be suppressed and their battle prowess would be weaker than the other races in the universe. The essence of the Heaven Destroyer and the essence of the Heavenly Human Tribe had clashed many times, and the essence of the Heaven Destroyer always had the upper hand. Shi Tianting was the same. Although he was not an Origin Master, he was already at the peak of the Divine Master realm. Cultivating an Origin seed would also cause him to be greatly suppressed. Another reason was that Shi Tianting might not have been born in the primitive universe. Those born in this world would be less suppressed. For example, most of the descendants of the Heavenly Human clan were born in the primitive universe. They already had the mark of the primitive universe on their bodies, so they would be less suppressed. If Shi Tianting had not been suppressed, Lu Ming might not have been able to defeat him. However, the winner takes all. A loss is a loss. Everything else is just a reason. In the end, it's because I'm not strong enough. If I'm strong enough, no matter what the situation is, I won't be defeated. Today, I admit defeat wholeheartedly. After Shi Tianting finished speaking, he looked at Evil Cicada and continued, Evil Cicada, I've already agreed to your conditions. I've done my best and I have a clear conscience. From now on you and I don't owe each other anything. Goodbye. After that, Shi Tianting cupped his fists, turned around and stepped into the air. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. Evil Cicada's face was a little ugly. He did not expect that even with Shi Tianting's help, he still could not defeat Lu Ming. He even wasted one of Shi Tianting's conditions. What a loss. Now that Shi Tianting was gone, what else could he do? Evil Cicada, you must accept your loss. Hand her over. Lu Ming looked at Evil Cicada and said, Well, since I've lost, I will fulfill my promise. Men, bring Lu Ming's senior sister out. Evil Cicada shouted. However, no one responded. What's going on? Evil Cicada frowned and glanced at the other experts of the extreme evil tribe. Evil Cicada, I don't know where Lu Ming's senior sister is. Yeah, I didn't see his senior sister at all. I've been guarding the entrance, and I didn't see anyone bring his senior sister Mulans back to the extreme evil land. Many experts of the extreme evil tribe spoke one after another. Lu Ming's face turned ugly. In his opinion, the extreme evil tribe was just quibbling and did not want to hand her over. Don't play tricks with me. Mo Sha and the others are in my hands. If anything happens to my senior sister, they will all die. Lu Ming said, his voice extremely cold. Who the hell sent his senior sister back? Get out here. Evil Cicada roared. However, no one from the extreme evil tribe responded. Evil Cicada's face turned ugly. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, if he did not hand her over, others would think that he was playing tricks and was a sore loser. Then he would lose a lot of face. Lu Ming, why don't you let Mo Sha out and ask him? He definitely knows who sent your senior sister back to the extreme evil land. I can guarantee you that I'm not playing any tricks, Evil Cicada said. He was just short of swearing. I hope you're not playing any tricks, Lu Ming said coldly. Then he grabbed the air and Mo Sha appeared in his hand. Mo Sha looked around in confusion. When he saw that he was in the extreme evil land and saw Evil Cicada and the others, he immediately shouted, Evil Cicada, hurry up. Join hands and kill this brat. Mo Sha had been locked in the ancient desolation ring and his cultivation had been sealed. He did not know what had happened outside. Mo Sha, shut up, Evil Cicada shouted. Then Mo Sha was stunned. He was not stupid. When he saw Evil Cicada's attitude and Lu Ming's unscathed appearance, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Could it be that Evil Cicada and the others could not do anything to Lu Ming? Lu Ming's strength was actually so strong? Or was it because he was worried about their safety and did not dare to attack Lu Ming? Either way, it was not friendly to him. He immediately chose to shut up. Mo Sha, who did you send to escort Lu Ming's senior sister Mulin's back to the extreme evil land? Evil Cicada asked. Lu Sha and the others. What? Are they not here? Mo Sha asked. Did any of you see Lu Sha and the others return? Evil Cicada asked the others of the extreme evil tribe, but everyone shook their heads. They did not see Lu Sha and the others return. Send a message to Lu Sha and the others immediately. Evil Cicada shouted. At this moment Lu Ming's face was very ugly. He observed carefully and found that Evil Cicada and the others did not seem to be playing tricks. They did not seem to be acting. If it was true, then the people who escorted Mulin's did not return to the extreme evil land at all. Then where did they go? Could it be that something happened along the way? At this moment Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Just now, someone had sent him a message through a voice transmission jade talisman. Lu Ming took out the voice transmission jade talisman without batting an eyelid. He scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and was immediately overjoyed. It was Mulin's who had sent him a message. Chapter 50-26. Mulin's sent a message to Lu Ming. Mulin's anxiously told Lu Ming that she was fine and that she had escaped. She also told Lu Ming not to be tricked by Mo Sha and the others. She also told Lu Ming not to be threatened by Mo Sha and the others. Senior sister actually managed to escape. Lu Ming didn't show it on his face, but he was overjoyed on the inside. Moreover, since Mulin's could send a message to him, it meant that Mulin's shouldn't be too far away. If she was too far away, the message wouldn't reach him. Senior sister, I'm fine. Where are you now? Lu Ming secretly replied. I'm a little injured, but it's not a big problem. You don't have to worry. I'm rushing to the Azure Divine Realm. Junior brother, where are you? I was just trying to send a message, but I didn't expect you to receive it. Aren't you in the Azure Divine Realm? Mulin's replied. Mulin's also knew that if Lu Ming could receive her message, he definitely wasn't in the Azure Divine Realm. He must be close to her. I'm in the land of extreme evil. Lu Ming replied. The land of extreme evil? Junior brother, why did you go to the land of extreme evil? Did the extreme evil race find you? You can't stay there for long. Hurry up and leave. Mulan transmitted her voice. She seemed very anxious. Senior sister, don't worry. I'm fine. Senior sister, how did you escape? Mo Sha sealed my cultivation and had several experts of the extreme evil race escort me to the land of extreme evil. However, when I was close to the land of extreme evil, I broke through the seal and recovered my cultivation. Then I killed my way out. Mulin's replied simply. Lu Ming knew that although Mulin's explanation was simple, it must have been shocking. It wasn't that simple. Mo Sha had sealed Mulin's cultivation. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to break it. Even an invincible divine master would find it difficult to break it. With his strength sealed, he couldn't even use the slightest bit of strength. How was he supposed to break the seal? For Mulin's to be able to remove it, she must have suffered a lot or paid a heavy price. Senior sister, Lu Ming doesn't need to return to the Tsongqing divine realm for the time being. Find a secluded place to recuperate and wait for me to find you. Lu Ming transmitted his voice. Mulin's had escaped, so her injuries were probably not light. She had to quickly find a place to treat her injuries so that there would not be any future troubles. Previously, she had probably rushed to the Azure Divine Realm because she was worried about Lu Ming. Junior brother, you have to be careful. I'll look for a place to treat my injuries. I'll give you the detailed address when I find it. Mulin's replied. After that, Lu Ming calmly put away the voice transmission jade talisman. Although Mulin's managed to escape, she couldn't just let it go. Lu Sha, it's Lu Sha and the others. Suddenly, someone from the extreme evil tribe shouted. Lu Ming looked toward the void in the distance and saw a few figures flying over at high speed. There were a total of 3 people and their auras were a little weak. They were obviously injured. Wasn't Lu Sha the person who escorted Mulin's? What a coincidence that he was back now. Lu Sha, come over here. Evil Cicada shouted. Lu Sha and the other 2 quickly flew towards Evil Cicada. Evil Cicada, what's going on? Lu Sha looked around and saw so many people gathered here. He was a little confused and didn't understand what was going on. They glanced at Lu Ming, but they didn't know Lu Ming and didn't know that Lu Ming was the person they were looking for. He's Lu Ming. Evil Cicada pointed at Lu Ming. What? Lu Sha was a little confused. Why would Lu Ming come to the extreme evil tribe? Then Lu Sha shouted, Evil Cicada, it's Lu Ming. He killed Moken. Wait. Lu Sha, who was shouting, suddenly saw Emo Sha in Lu Ming's hand and was stunned again. What's going on? Why was Emo Sha in Lu Ming's hand like a dead dog? What happened while they were escorting Mulan to the hospital? They had originally escorted Mulan back to the land of extreme evil in advance, but they were delayed halfway because of something. What exactly happened after such a delay? How did Emo Sha end up in Lu Ming's hand? Lu Sha, it's like this. Nearby, a young man from the extreme evil tribe who was on good terms with Lu Sha hurriedly transmitted a message to Lu Sha and briefly explained the situation. Then Lu Sha was stunned for the third time. Lu Ming defeated Emo Sha, Zhu Tian and the others. He even suppressed Emo Sha and Zhu Tian and killed his way to the extreme evil tribe. No one in the extreme evil tribe was a match for Lu Ming, and Lu Ming even defeated Shi Tianting. Was he dreaming? Wasn't this too inconceivable? Lu Sha, evil cicada shouted, waking Lu Sha up. Let me ask you, where's Lu Ming's senior sister Mulan's? Evil cicada asked. Mulan's? She escaped. Lu Sha answered instinctively. She escaped? Around them, the humans, the 9 demonic spiders, the extreme evil tribe, and the dark heaven warriors all looked at each other. Mulan's escaped? Impossible. Mulan's cultivation was sealed by me. How could she escape? Emo Sha roared, finding it hard to believe. Mulan's cultivation was sealed by him, so she didn't have much combat power left. Moreover, Lu Sha himself was an expert who had broken through twice. How could Mulan's escape? Indeed, she managed to escape. Right when we were about to reach the abominable land, that Mulan actually managed to break through the seal on her own and recover her cultivation. Then she attacked me. In my haste, I was injured by her and she managed to escape. Lu Sha said. How is it possible? How could she break through my seal? Lu Sha, don't talk nonsense. Emo Sha roared. He found it hard to believe that Mulan's could break through the seal that he had personally set. Didn't that mean that he was trash? He couldn't accept it. This is absolutely true. Lu Sha almost swore on the spot. Lu Ming knew that what Evil Cicada said was true because it matched what Mulan said. Okay, I understand. Evil Cicada waved his hand and then looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, your senior sister has escaped and is probably rushing back to Chongqing Divine Realm. Since your senior sister is fine, let's forget about this matter. You should also release Emo Sha and the others. Lu Ming smiled. As he smiled, his eyes became colder and colder. Forget about it? You guys used despicable means to detain my senior sister, wanting to use her to threaten me. Now that my senior sister has escaped with her own abilities, don't you think it's ridiculous that you're telling me to just let this matter go? Lu Ming sneered. In the beginning, they used despicable means to capture Mulan's to threaten him. If Lu Ming's strength was lower, he would have died in the hands of the other party. Mulan's escaped with her own ability, but the other party wanted to forget about it and let Lu Ming release Emo Sha and the others. How could that be possible? Then what do you want? Evil Cicada asked. Originally, Emo Sha and the others were used to exchange for my senior sister. Now that she escaped with her own ability, you have to use other bargaining chips to exchange for them. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, don't go too far. Offending the extreme evil tribe won't do you any good. Emo Sha roared. Chapter 50-27. Bam. Ah. Lu Ming tightened his grip, and Emo Sha screamed as a few more bones in his body were broken. Speak. What do you want? Evil Cicada asked. I don't want much. 2 top-tier soul-grade divine herbs and 20 ordinary ones. Lu Ming said indifferently. What? You're asking for too much. 2 top-tier soul-grade divine herbs? Don't even think about it. Many experts of the extreme evil race shouted. Top-tier soul-grade divine herbs were treasures that even Origin Realm experts would be jealous of. Lu Ming wanted 2 of them. 2 invincible divine lords, 5 or 6 first break and second break experts, and more than 20 other experts. 2 top-tier source-grade divine herbs and 20 ordinary source-grade divine herbs. It's not excessive at all. If you don't want to trade, then you can only collect their corpses. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. How dare you? Someone from the extreme evil race shouted. They didn't believe that Lu Ming would dare to kill 2 invincible divine lords of the extreme evil race. That would completely offend the extreme evil race, and they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. The origin tribulation would be over in a few hundred years. When that time came, all the experts of the extreme evil race would come out. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he would still die. A 4-time break might be invincible under the origin tribulation. However, once the origin tribulation was over, he would be nothing. They didn't want to hand it over. What could Lu Ming do? Is that so? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He grabbed Emo Sha's hand and exerted force. Bam! The lower half of Emo Sha's body exploded. Emo Sha's cultivation had been sealed by Lu Ming. Without cultivation, he naturally couldn't control the top-tier soul-grade armor. Therefore, Emo Sha was defenseless. If Lu Ming wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. Emo Sha let out a shrill cry. The people of the extreme evil race didn't expect Lu Ming to be so bold. The killing intent emitted by Lu Ming was too dense. It didn't seem to be an act. They had a feeling that Lu Ming really dared to kill Emo Sha. Lu Ming indeed dared to kill. He had nothing to be afraid of. The creatures from the 3 forbidden lands in the Eastern Universe as well as the heavenly human tribe would fight to the death with him. None of these factions were weak. Once the origin tribulation was over, the experts of the 3 tribes of the forbidden area would not let him go easily. So, one more member of the extreme evil race didn't matter. Lu Ming didn't care. If you don't, they'll die. Lu Ming said coldly. Alright, let's change. The evil cicada gritted its teeth. 2 invincible divine masters and 5 or 6 experts who had broken through the first or second stage of the extreme breakthrough were worth far too much. It was nothing now, but their potential was limitless. In time they would become top powerhouses. For someone who had broken through once or twice, reaching the peak of reciprocity was no problem at all. In fact, he was very confident that he would be able to break through the immortal tribulation transcendence realm. As for the invincible divine masters who had broken through the 3rd stage of the extreme breakthrough, even if they became deities, they still had a slight chance. In the future, they would become the backbone of the extreme evil race. It would be a pity if they died now. Although top source-level divine medicines were precious, they were foreign objects after all. They could be found again if they lost them. However, top elites weren't that easy to nurture. In the end, the people of the extreme evil race took out 2 top source-level divine medicines and 20 ordinary ones and gave them to Lu Ming. Then Lu Ming let Emo Sha and the others go. Zhu Tian, do you want them? Then Lu Ming looked at the people of the 9 demonic spider. Of course. Name a price. An invincible divine master of the 9 demonic spider said. Although he knew that he would lose a lot of money, he had to save Zhu Tian and the others. Easy. 2 top source-level divine medicines for Zhu Tian and the others. I'll pack them up and return them to you. Lu Ming said. What? 2 top source-level divine medicines? We only have 1 invincible divine master in your hands. Why do you want 2 top source-level divine medicines? The invincible divine master of the 9 demonic spider roared. Just now, 2 invincible divine masters of the extreme evil race had fallen into Lu Ming's hands. 2 invincible divine masters in exchange for 2 top source-level divine medicines. They had originally thought that 1 top source-level divine medicine would be enough to exchange for Zhu Tian and the others. They hadn't expected Lu Ming to ask for 2. I heard that Zhu Tian has defeated other invincible divine masters many times. How can an ordinary invincible divine master compare to someone like him? Naturally, the price will be higher. In addition to the 9 demonic spider, 2 top source-level divine medicines isn't too much. I don't want ordinary source-level divine medicines. The extreme evil race added 20 ordinary source-level divine medicines just now. Lu Ming said lightly. At that moment, Zhu Tian was already in Lu Ming's hands. When he heard this, he almost vomited blood. What was this? Had he really become a commodity? Moreover, he had defeated other invincible divine masters in the past and had become a bargaining chip for Lu Ming to increase the price? Was it wrong for him to be strong? Was it wrong for him to defeat other invincible divine masters? Why did he have to do this to him? At that moment, Zhu Tian wanted to buy a piece of tofu and kill himself. How humiliating. Are you going to exchange or not? If not, I'll kill them on the spot. Lu Ming's voice was filled with murderous intent. Yes, we'll exchange. An invincible divine master of the 9 demonic spider roared. They could see that Lu Ming was a madman who feared nothing. Threats were useless against Lu Ming. He would really kill Zhu Tian and the others. 2 top source-level divine medicines. So be it. 2 top source-level divine medicines. We don't have any top source-level divine medicines on us. You'll have to wait for us for a while. An expert of the 9 demonic spiders said. Sure. Lu Ming said. Most people wouldn't carry top source-level divine medicines on them, unless they were like Lu Ming who had a treasure like the Chaos Ring. Top source-level divine medicines wouldn't lose their efficacy if they were stored in the Chaos Ring. Instead, they could be cultivated to increase their efficacy. However, treasures like the Chaos Ring were extremely rare. This was the Chaos Universe, not a minor kiliocosm. Such treasures were extremely rare. As Lu Ming's knowledge increased over the years, Lu Ming understood how precious the Chaos Ring was. Back then, Life Spirit, the owner of the Heavenly Court, had left the Chaos Ring to him. The more Lu Ming thought about it, the more confused he became. The top source-level divine medicines of the creatures in the Forbidden Lands were all kept in the Forbidden Lands. The people of the Extreme Evil tribe had also captured 2 top source-level divine medicines from the Extreme Evil land. The people of the Nine Demonic Spider also wanted to return to the Nine Demonic Ruins to capture the top source-level divine medicines. Lu Ming waited quietly. During this time he sent a message to Mulan's, asking her to wait for him for a while. The Nine Demonic Ruins wasn't too far from the Extreme Evil land. It wouldn't take too long to travel through the wormhole. About 10 days later, the people of the Nine Demonic Spider returned with 2 top source-level divine medicines. Lu Ming checked and was very satisfied. He put the 2 stalks of top-notch source-level divine herbs into the ancient Desolation Ring and then released Zhu Tian and the rest. After Zhu Tian regained his freedom, he looked at Lu Ming with resentment. However, Lu Ming didn't care. Chapter 50-28. Lu Ming didn't care about Zhu Tian's attitude towards him. He wasn't afraid of Zhu Tian's revenge. In fact, he wanted Zhu Tian to take revenge on him so that he could exchange him for a few top-tier source-level divine herbs. Senior Sister Mulan's is fine. I obtained 4 top-tier source-level divine herbs and 20 ordinary ones. Lu Ming pondered. In this way, Lu Ming had 12 top-tier source-level divine herbs. He had 12 days in a month to refine the source spirit medicinal liquid. His cultivation speed would definitely increase by a lot. Lu Ming? Emo Sha suddenly called out to Lu Ming. Lu Ming looked at Emo Sha. This guy had just regained his freedom. What was he trying to do? Lu Ming, do you want to know how we caught your senior sister Mulan's? Emo Sha asked. Lu Ming didn't say anything. He just stared at Emo Sha. He knew that since Emo Sha had said so, he would definitely say it. Of course it was someone from the human race who secretly informed us. They used a trick to kidnap a good friend of your senior sister Mulan's called Du Ling. They forced Du Ling to send a message to Mulan's and ask her to come out. Then we waited outside and captured Mulan's. Emo Sha sneered. What? Who is it? How despicable. Damn it. The human experts of the Tsangqing divine realm were all enraged. This was equivalent to betraying their own race in the human race. They deserved to be killed. Who is it? Lu Ming asked coldly. His voice was very cold. In fact, he had already guessed who it was. However, it was best for Emo Sha to say it. Peng Xiao. Emo Sha sneered. The reason he said it wasn't to help Lu Ming find the culprit, but to sow discord. If he said it, Lu Ming definitely wouldn't let it go. He would definitely cause trouble for Peng Xiao. This would further intensify their hatred. Why not let the human race have internal strife? As for betraying Peng Xiao, sorry, but was he close to Peng Xiao? Peng Xiao, it's actually Peng Xiao. Back then he lost face in front of Lu Ming. It must have been for revenge. I didn't expect Peng Xiao to be so narrow-minded. Many humans were very unhappy and looked down on Peng Xiao. If this person could betray Lu Ming today, he might betray them in the future. Many people secretly decided to keep a distance from Peng Xiao in the future. Sure enough, it's Peng Xiao. I guess Lu Weiyang also contributed a lot. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with intense killing intent. How could he not know Emo Sha's motive? But he didn't care. He wouldn't let Emo Sha and Lu Weiyang off. I wonder how senior sister Mulan's injuries are? Then Lu Ming was worried about Mulan's injuries, so he bid farewell to Fu Yuan and the others and left. After Lu Ming left, Fu Yuan and the others also left. Then, the Nine Demonic Spider, the Dark Heavens Warriors and the others also left. And Lu Ming's name spread to the 6 major forces of the Western universe at an astonishing speed. Not long after, Lu Ming found Mulan's in a relatively hidden fragment of the continent. Mulan's face was still a little pale. But her aura was stable and she was fine. But Lu Ming knew that when Mulan's escaped, her injuries must have been very serious. Because more than 10 days had passed since then. After more than 10 days of treatment, Mulan's injuries were still not healed. Obviously, her injuries were not light. The killing intent in Lu Ming's eyes became even colder. Senior sister, let's go. Let's return to the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm first. You can heal yourself, Lu Ming said. There were some places in the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm that were suitable for healing and would be helpful to Mulan's. Junior brother, you went to the Abominable Land? You fought with Zhu Tian and Emo Sha? Mulan's asked with concern. Although Lu Ming was standing in front of her, she couldn't help but worry. Yes, I did. Immediately, Lu Ming briefly explained what had happened. Senior sister, what's wrong? When Lu Ming finished speaking, he found that Mulin's mouth was slightly open, and she was looking at him with a shocked expression. Junior brother? You really defeated Shi Tianting? Mulin's asked softly. Yes, I won by luck. If it was a life-and-death battle, I might not be able to kill him. After all, he isn't a creature of the chaotic universe and is suppressed by the chaotic universe. If we weren't in the chaotic universe, I might not be able to defeat him, Lu Ming said. However, the shock in Mulin's eyes didn't fade away. Instead, it became more and more intense and finally turned into deep admiration. True enough, no matter where junior brother Lu Ming goes, you are the most outstanding. Initially, I thought that I had a fortuitous encounter and had already surpassed you. It seems that I was too naive. The gap between you and me has widened again. Mulin said. Senior sister, don't think too much. No matter what your cultivation base is, I won't let you leave. I will always protect you. Lu Ming held Mulin's hand and said. Mulin's face was slightly red, and her heart was filled with sweetness. She snorted softly. Senior sister, enter my chaotic ring. I will bring you back to the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm, Lu Ming said. More than 10 days later, Lu Ming returned to the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm. After returning to the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm, Mulin's went to a special place to recuperate. Although more than 10 days had passed and Mulin's injuries had healed, he still couldn't be careless. Lu Weiyang Pang Xiao, Lu Ming's eyes burst out with shocking killing intent. His figure flashed and disappeared in the air. Lu Ming's first target was Lu Weiyang. However, when he arrived at Lu Weiyang's residence, he found that Lu Weiyang wasn't there. Did he hide? Then let's go to Pang Xiao's residence. Unless you hide and never return to the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. Pang Xiao was very famous in the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm. His residence was easily found out by asking around. Soon Lu Ming arrived at Pang Xiao's residence, outside a very large palace. The Ashen Cyan Divine Realm was vast and sparsely populated. Pang Xiao's palace was very luxurious. Lu Ming's spiritual sense spread out and immediately shrouded the palace. He immediately sensed that there were many people inside. Among them, the auras of Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao were inside. Boom! Lu Ming's aura erupted. Cold killing intent surged into the palace like a tide. The people in the palace suddenly felt a strong pressure, as if dozens of stars were pressing down on them. Pang Xiao, Lu Weiyang, get out here. Lu Ming shouted coldly. His voice was very loud as he dashed into the hall. Within the palace, Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao were rather pale. This Lu Ming really did come. Lu Weiyang was rather panicked. The thought of Lu Ming's strength made him shiver. Let's go and meet him. I don't believe that he really dares to attack us. Brother Feng will have to rely on Brother Feng. Pang Xiao clasped his fist to a youth next to him. This youth was called Zhao Feng. He was also a supreme genius and another invincible god lord of the Ashen Cyan Divine Realm. Chapter 50-29. Zhao Feng was a helper that Pang Xiao had invited. I'll do my best, but Lu Ming was able to defeat Shi Tianting, so he might not give me face. Zhao Feng bitterly smiled. If it were anyone else, he would have stepped in and helped Pang Xiao block the attack. But Lu Ming was able to defeat Shi Tianting. There was no doubt that he had broken through 4 times, so he could only do his best. If it were an Origin Realm expert of Pang Xiao's faction who had once shown great kindness to Zhao Feng would not want to get involved in this mess. Besides Zhao Feng, there were also a few other experts that Pang Xiao had invited. Brother Feng is too modest. With so many of you here that Lu Ming won't dare to act recklessly. Otherwise, he'll offend all of us and he'll find it very difficult to move around the Azure God Realm in the future. Pang Xiao said. Pang Xiao was very confident in this point. After so many years of development, the Azure God Realm had naturally developed into factions of various sizes. Almost half of the factions in the Azure God Realm were involved in these invitations, so they were extremely powerful. Swish, swish, swish. Pang Xiao and the others took to the air and flew out of the hall. Before he could leave the hall, he saw Lu Ming standing in the air outside the hall. Upon seeing Lu Ming, Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao couldn't help but feel nervous. They couldn't help but feel nervous in front of Lu Ming. He doesn't dare to touch me. He doesn't dare to touch me. Pang Xiao inwardly encouraged himself, and then he stared at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, you've come to my residence in such an aggressive manner. That doesn't seem to be against the rules, does it? Against the rules? Lu Ming gave a sinister smile and said, what rules do I need to follow to kill someone? Lu Ming's eyes brimming with killing intent made Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang shiver and involuntarily take a few steps back. Lu Ming, what's the meaning of this? Who do you want to kill? Pang Xiao shouted. Pang Xiao, are you asking the obvious? You colluded with Mo Xia and Zhu Tian to secretly capture Zhu Tian and deceived my senior sister Mulins, letting her fall into the hands of Zhu Tian and Mo Xia. You deserve to die 1,000 times for your sins. Lu Ming said coldly. Slander. Mo Xia is slandering. He's trying to drive a wedge between us and cause internal strife. Lu Ming, you're a peerless genius. Can't you understand this? Pang Xiao shouted. Of course he wouldn't admit it. He pushed all the blame onto Mo Xia and said that Mo Xia was slandering him, trying to sow discord. Even if someone suspected that he did it, he could not admit it. If he admitted it, his reputation would be completely ruined, and he could forget about staying in the Azure Divine Realm in the future. Anyway, as long as he didn't admit it, who could say that he did it? Can you provide evidence? Anyway, Du Ling had already been killed by them. Pang Xiao sneered in his heart. Lu Ming sneered as well. He already knew that Pang Xiao wouldn't admit it, but so what? He was here to kill today, not to listen to Pang Xiao's explanation. You don't have to deny it. I'm not here to listen to your excuses. I'm here to kill you. Also, Lu Weiyang is involved now. I'll send you to hell today. Lu Ming said coldly and stepped forward. The cold killing intent made the temperature of the scene drop sharply. Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang's faces turned pale. They kept retreating with fear in their eyes. Lu Ming was here to kill them. Lu Ming was really here to kill them? Why was he so bold? There were still a few hundred years before the Source Tribulation was over. Wasn't he afraid of death? However, Lu Ming's murderous intent was unmistakable. It was too cold. Did Lu Ming really want to kill them? Lu Ming, you're trying to frame me. I didn't do anything to your senior sister. By killing the innocent, you're making an enemy of the entire human race in the Azure Divine Realm. Pang Xiao bellowed. He wanted to use his momentum to suppress him. However, Lu Ming did not stop. He continued to move forward step by step. He was firm and powerful. His murderous intent was like a tide. Instead of weakening, it was getting stronger. Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang kept retreating, their faces even paler. Brother Feng, help me out. Finally, Pang Xiao looked at Zhao Feng's group. Brother Lu, this one is called Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng stepped forward and stood between Lu Ming and Pang Xiao, clasping his fists. You want to interfere? Lu Ming coldly said. He had naturally heard of Zhao Feng's name. The number of invincible god lords in the Azure Divine Realm could be counted on one hand. How could he not know? He hadn't been in the Azure Divine Realm for long, but he had already heard of Zhao Feng's name. But so what? It was just an invincible god lord. Why would he care? Brother Lu, this might not have been Pang Xiao's doing. Why don't you give me some face and just let it go? Zhao Feng said. That's right, Brother Lu. How about we just let this matter go? Killing Pang Xiao won't do you any good, Brother Lu. The other young men also stepped forward and said, Scram. If you don't scram, you'll die with Pang Xiao. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to waste words with them. With a cold bellow, the war god's spear appeared in his hand. Lu Ming, you. Zhao Feng and the others were enraged. They had never imagined that Lu Ming would not give them any face. Yes, Lu Ming was strong. He had broken through 4 times and no one in the Azure Divine Realm could compare to him. But no matter how strong he was still a god lord. Once the origin tribulation was over, what would a god lord be? They all had powerful experts standing behind them. Lu Ming was not giving them any face at all. He was telling them to scram, and if they didn't scram, he would kill them as well. How arrogant. Boom. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to waste words, so he simply swung the war god's spear. The war god's spear rapidly expanded until it was the size of a mountain range as it hurtled toward Zhao Feng's group. Oh no. Block it. Zhao Feng and the others grimaced. They hadn't expected for Lu Ming to be so arrogant as to attack without giving them any leeway. They could only do their utmost to block. There was a boom and the experts led by Zhao Feng were blasted back, all of them vomiting blood, their faces pale. Even Zhao Feng, who had broken through 3 times, vomited blood. Deep shock appeared in their eyes. Strong, too strong. Lu Ming was too strong. Was this the power of someone who had broken through 4 times? Only by personally fighting with him could they truly understand how terrifying Lu Ming was. An invincible god lord who had broken through 3 times was far too weak. I said, if you don't scram, we'll kill you all. Lu Ming coldly barked. Zhao Feng and the others all paled. They sensed that Lu Ming really would do as he said. If they continued to interfere, Lu Ming really would kill them. Pang Xiao, I've done my best. You're on your own now. Zhao Feng suddenly clasped his fist and then vanished into the distance in a streak of light. Zhao Feng. Pang Xiao roared, despair in his eyes. Farewell. The others also clasped their fists and left. No, no. Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang were truly panicking. When they saw Lu Ming's chilling gaze, their bodies went cold. Lu Ming, don't be impulsive. You have unparalleled talent and broken through 4 times. You have a chance of becoming an immortal in the future. You have a great future, but if you kill me, my grandfather, my father, and the others won't let you go. There's no need for you to take me down with you. It's not worth it. Pang Xiao roared. Chapter 50-30. Pang Xiao roared, threatening and begging for mercy. He was already a little submissive. He had to calm Lu Ming down first. He had already decided in his heart that as long as he could calm Lu Ming down this time, he would find a hidden place to stay for a few hundred years and wait for the origin tribulation to pass. As long as the origin tribulation was over, he would tear Lu Ming into pieces. Don't worry, when the origin tribulation is over, those people behind you will be obedient. If you want to court death, I will send them to accompany you. Lu Ming said coldly and then stabbed out with his spear. Swoosh. The sharp spear light went straight for Pang Xiao's glabella. No, no. Ah. Pang Xiao roared crazily and then tried his best to resist. A suit of armor appeared on his body, enveloping his entire body within. At the same time, he used all his strength to launch a killing move. There was no doubt that the divine weapon and armor Pang Xiao used were all top-notch. With his background and backing, it was not difficult for him to get a set of top-notch divine weapon and armor. However, his attack was completely vulnerable in front of Lu Ming. Under the pressure of the war god's spear, his attack directly collapsed. With a ding, the war god's spear accurately pierced Pang Xiao's glabella, but it was blocked by the top-notch divine armor. However, there was still a terrifying force that passed through the armor and bombarded Pang Xiao's head. Pang Xiao screamed, feeling that his head was about to explode. His head was completely deformed. Even with the top-notch divine armor, he couldn't block Lu Ming's attack. With one move, Pang Xiao was seriously injured. Go, go! At this moment, Lu Weiyang was almost scared to death and frantically fled into the distance. While Lu Ming was dealing with Pang Xiao, he wanted to take the opportunity to escape. Unfortunately, Lu Ming had already locked onto him. With a palm strike, a continent appeared above Lu Weiyang's head and pressed down. Bang! Lu Weiyang was directly blasted down and smashed into the ground. Even with the protection of the battle armor, his body was shattered like a pile of mud. Although he wasn't dead, he was hanging on by a thread. Help, help. Lu Ming is crazy. He slaughtered his own kind. That's a capital offense. Someone save me. Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao let out miserable shrieks and cries for help. In the distance there were still people watching. Unfortunately, no one dared to save Lu Weiyang and Pang Xiao. One reason was that Lu Ming's combat power was too strong. No one in the Ashen Azure Divine Realm was a match for Lu Ming. Even if all the invincible Divine Masters in the Ashen Azure Divine Realm joined forces, they probably wouldn't be able to stop Lu Ming. The second reason was that Pang Xiao and Lu Weiyang had most likely betrayed Mulans. Although Pang Xiao tried to deny it, they weren't fools. It was such a simple matter that they could figure it out with a little deduction. Also, someone had specifically looked for Du Ling, but Du Ling seemed to have disappeared from the world. Everyone knew that Du Ling had most likely been killed. Since Pang Xiao had done such a thing, no one would bother to save him. Therefore they pretended not to hear. Today no one can save you. Lu Ming charged at Pang Xiao again. Ah, Lu Ming, if you kill me you won't have a good ending. You will also die. Pang Xiao let out a shrill cry. Bang. Lu Ming directly lashed out with his spear and hit Pang Xiao's body. Pang Xiao's body crackled as his bones shattered. His body flew out horizontally. However, Lu Ming's figure flashed and appeared in front of Pang Xiao. He swept out with his spear again. In this way, several consecutive attacks were launched. The terrifying power penetrated the battle armor and directly blasted Pang Xiao into pieces. Pang Xiao's body and soul were destroyed. Then Lu Ming grabbed Pang Xiao's battle armor and divine weapon with one hand. Of course, he also grabbed Pang Xiao's storage bag. Then Lu Ming looked at Lu Weiyang. Lu Weiyang was almost scared to death. His guts were all broken. Lu Ming, spare my life. I beg you to spare me. I'll do anything for you in the future. I'll be your slave. I beg you to spare me. Lu Weiyang began to beg miserably. In the distance, some people despised Lu Weiyang. He was too spineless. In order to survive, his bones were soft. It's too late to beg for mercy now. Why didn't you think about this when you dealt with me time and time again? Did you think that you could kill me before? Lu Ming sneered. He didn't bother to pay attention to Lu Weiyang's begging and directly attacked. Lu Weiyang's combat strength was even worse. His defense was worse than Pang Zhao's. He was killed by Lu Ming in 2 moves. At this point, Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao were both killed. Lu Ming put away Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao's storage pouches and came to Tianlan Court, waiting for Mulin's to come out of seclusion. The news that Lu Ming killed Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao quickly spread throughout the Cangqing Divine Realm, causing a great uproar. Some people thought that Lu Ming shouldn't have killed Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao. It was forbidden to kill people of the same race in the Cangqing Divine Realm. It was a serious crime. They said that Lu Ming was too arrogant because of his strength and should be severely punished. Of course, these people only dared to whisper behind his back. They didn't dare to stand out and shout. There were also people who thought that Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao should be killed. They actually colluded with Mo Sha and Zhu Tian to frame Mulin's. They wanted to use Mulin's to force Lu Ming. This kind of behavior was despicable and deserved to die. The Cangqing Divine Realm was noisy for a while before it calmed down. In the end, no one stood up for Lu Weiyang and Pang Zhao. But everyone knew that this was just the calm before the storm. The origin source tribulation would be over in a few hundred years. At that time, Lu Weiyang's grandfather and the person behind Pang Zhao would awaken. They definitely wouldn't let Lu Ming go. At that time there would probably be another storm. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. After a month, Mulin's finally came out of seclusion. Her injuries had healed and there were no hidden injuries left. After Mulin's came out of seclusion, the two immediately set off and left the Cangqing Divine Realm. That's right, they were going to the demon race's sacred ground. In less than a year, the restrictions of the demon race's sacred ground would weaken. Lu Ming wanted to enter the demon race's sacred ground to save Huang Ling. The demon race's sacred ground was called the Thousand Demon Mountain. According to the information that Mulin's had found, in the primeval continent of the last era, the primeval demon race had several sacred grounds. The most important sacred ground of the demon race was the Dragon Phoenix Immortal Palace. However, there was no trace of the Dragon Phoenix Immortal Palace in the current ruins of the universe. Some people speculated that the Dragon Phoenix Immortal Palace had been destroyed in a shocking battle at the end of the Primeval Age, or that the demon race's unparalleled experts had taken the Dragon Phoenix Immortal Palace out of the Primeval Age. Although the Thousand Demon Mountain wasn't the most important sacred ground of the demon race, it could be ranked in the top 5. After a while, Lu Ming and the others came to a place not far from the Thousand Demon Mountain. They sat cross-legged in the void and waited quietly. The Thousand Demon Mountain didn't look big. It was suspended in the void and looked like 100,000 feet tall mountain. It was surrounded by layers of restrictions. However, Mulin's said that there was another world in the Thousand Demon Mountain. Chapter 50-31. From the outside, the Wanyao Mountain didn't seem to be big, but once one entered, they would discover that the Wanyao Mountain was incomparably huge. During the prehistoric era, the Wanyao Mountain was the paradise of the demon race. Countless demons lived inside and it was like a kingdom of demons. It would be about 9 months before the restrictions of the Wanyao Mountain weakened. They cultivated while waiting. Time passed very quickly and 9 months passed in the blink of an eye. One could clearly see that the restrictions around the Wanyao Mountain were rapidly weakening. Senior sister, according to our agreement, wait for me outside. Lu Ming stood up and prepared to enter the Wanyao Mountain. This was something they had discussed beforehand. Lu Ming would enter the Wanyao Mountain alone. Originally, Mulin's also insisted on entering the Wanyao Mountain with Lu Ming, but Lu Ming disagreed. His reason was that if the two of them entered the Wanyao Mountain together, if an accident happened and both of them were trapped, it would be troublesome. No one would be able to find help for them. Lu Ming entered alone while Mulin's waited outside. Once Lu Ming was trapped, Mulin's could still find help. At the very least, he could wait for the Great Calamity of Origin to pass and go to the Heaven Destroyer to find Fei Huang and the others to save him. This was a foolproof plan. In the end, Mulin's couldn't dissuade Lu Ming and agreed. However, she was still worried when things came to this. Junior brother. Mulin's wanted to say that she would enter the Wanyao Mountain with Lu Ming, but she was stopped by Lu Ming. Senior sister, I'll leave my safety in your hands. Once I'm trapped, I hope you can call for reinforcements for junior brother. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Junior brother, be careful. Mulin's said worriedly. Senior sister, I'll see you later. Lu Ming smiled and turned into a ray of light, rushing towards the Wanyao Mountain. Not long after, Lu Ming appeared on the left side of the Thousand Monster Mountain. Before this, Mulin's had already told Lu Ming about the situation of the Wanyao Mountain in detail, including the information that Mulin's had found after checking the ancient books. She had explained everything clearly. The left side was where Mullins and Huang Ling had mistakenly entered the Wanyao Mountain. It should be a place where the restriction was particularly weak. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for Mullins and Huang Ling to enter with their cultivation. After arriving at the address, Lu Ming rushed in. Although the restriction had weakened, it was still there. Lu Ming suddenly felt a wave of pressure, but for Lu Ming it was nothing. Back then, even Mullins and Huang Ling could enter, so how could it be difficult for Lu Ming? After breaking through layers upon layers of restrictions, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly widened. What entered his eyes was an endless stretch of mountains, vast plains, and tall, lofty, and strangely shaped buildings. There was indeed another universe within the Thousand Monster Mountain. Only by entering it would one know how vast and boundless it was. However, it was dead silent inside. As far as the eye could see, there were no living creatures. Even the desolate qi was extremely thin. Although there were dense plants growing, there were no divine medicines. Although the desolate qi here could grow plants, it could not nurture divine medicines. The Thousand Monster Mountain looked too desolate. Now that the universe has recovered, why is the Thousand Monster Mountain still so dead silent? Could it be because of that layer of restriction? Lu Ming thought to himself. Then he decided on a direction and flew forward. Mullins told him that they had an accident in a huge palace. Moreover, there were demon spirits in the Thousand Monster Mountain. The so-called demon spirits were actually formed by the indestructible will of the demon clan that had died in the Thousand Monster Mountain. They did not have intelligence and would chase after living creatures when they saw them. Back then, Mullins and Huang Ling had fled to that palace because they were chased by the demon spirits. In that huge palace, they had mistakenly entered an illusion array and the two of them were completely separated. Mullins had been trapped in that palace for many years. After going through a lot of hardships, she finally walked out of the illusion array, but there was no trace of Huang Ling. She guessed that Huang Ling should still be in that illusion array. Fortunately, that illusion array was not dangerous. It only made people fall into layers of illusions, and it even made people feel like they had fallen into reincarnation and experienced different lives. She guessed that Huang Ling had fallen into the illusion and was unable to extricate herself, which was why she had not escaped for a long time. Lu Ming only needed to enter the illusion array and bring Huang Ling out. Mullins had already told Lu Ming the route they had taken back then in detail. After Lu Ming entered the Thousand Monster Mountain, he went straight to the huge palace. As for the other surrounding buildings, Lu Ming did not check because Mullins and the others had already checked and found nothing. Even if there was something, Lu Ming was not in the mood to check. He had to find that palace as soon as possible and find Huang Ling roar. Roar, roar. Suddenly, roars sounded from the surrounding mountains and rivers. Then, a few black figures appeared out of thin air and pounced towards Lu Ming. Demon spirits. These demon spirits looked like a few fierce tigers, but their hair was longer and their teeth were longer, like sharp swords. However, their bodies were not corporeal but illusory like souls. These were all formed by the indestructible will of the demon clan that had died in battle. Demon spirits, demon souls, indestructible fighting spirit. In many ancient battlefields, when many experts had died in battle, similar strange things would be formed. Therefore, any ancient battlefields where many experts had died in battle would be very dangerous. Lu Ming had experienced such a place more than once. Forbidden power circulated, condensing into a long spear and sweeping out. Bam, bam, bam. Several demon spirits directly exploded and completely dissipated. The demon spirits here were not very powerful. At least, compared to Lu Ming, they were not very powerful. Back then, Mullins and Huang Ling could withstand it. For the current Lu Ming, it was really nothing. Lu Ming did not reduce his speed and rushed forward quickly without any fear. Not to mention whether there were demon spirits with combat strength above the origin in the Thousand Monster Mountain, even if there were, they would not appear under the origin tribulation. Therefore, Lu Ming did not have any scruples at all and charged forward. He turned into a spear light and flew through the air. Wherever he passed, the demon spirits in front of him all exploded. 2 hours later, Lu Ming saw a huge palace. It was the peak where Huang Ling was trapped. Back then, Mullins and Huang Ling took half a month to escape here. Lu Ming only took 2 hours. Lu Ming's spiritual consciousness completely enveloped the palace. Soon, Lu Ming found the location of the illusory formation. Swoosh! Lu Ming dashed into the hall. Like a phantom, he shuttled through the hall and arrived at the back of the hall in no time. Lu Ming looked at the bamboo forest behind him and pondered. This bamboo forest was an illusory formation. Once one entered the bamboo forest, they would fall into the illusory formation. Chiu, once I fall into the illusory formation, you have to remind me. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Chiu. Qiuqiu had always been wearing Lu Ming's wrist in the form of a bracelet. Qiuqiu was heartless. Ordinary illusory formations did not have much effect on him. Chapter 50-32. Qiuqiu was more simple-minded. To put it bluntly, it was heartless. The illusory realm did not have much effect on it. Lu Ming himself was not confident that he could withstand the illusory realm's attack. If he couldn't, Qiuqiu could remind him or even attack him to get him out of the illusory realm. At this moment, Lu Ming couldn't help but miss Dandan. If Dandan was here, he wouldn't have to worry about this illusory realm. Sure enough, Dandan was reliable sometimes. Lu Ming muttered in his heart. Then Lu Ming no longer hesitated and stepped into the bamboo forest. Suddenly, the surrounding environment changed drastically. Lu Ming found himself on a mountain peak. In the distance, the sun was setting in the west, dyeing the sky red. "Brother Ming, come Yao, salutes you." Suddenly, a clear voice came from beside him. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. There were ripples in his heart. He was very familiar with this voice. Even if countless years had passed, he might not forget it. Lu Yao. This was actually Lu Yao's voice. "This is Emerald Cloud Peak outside Firestorm City." Lu Ming whispered with a complicated expression. Back then, it was here that Lu Yao began to fall out with him and dug out his bloodline. It was also from this day onwards that his fate had completely changed. The illusory realm had actually pulled him here. Illusory realms were usually based on the hidden things in the depths of the person's heart. Could it be that he still hadn't completely let go of that matter in Lu Yao? No, I've let go. Lu Yao has completely become the past. After so many years, Lu Yao should have died of old age and turned into bones. Lu Ming whispered in his heart. Then he turned his head and saw a delicate and beautiful face. If it wasn't Lu Yao, who else could it be? Lu Yao held a wine glass, her big eyes blinking. Her eyes were filled with adoration as she looked at Lu Ming. "There must be poison in the wine," Lu Ming said indifferently. Lu Yao's hand froze in midair. Her beautiful eyes were filled with bewilderment as she stared at Lu Ming. "Brother Ming, what did you say? Are you joking with Yao? Joking? The reason you treat me to a cup of blood snake orchid wine every day is nothing more than to nourish your bloodline. Your goal is to seize my bloodline. As long as I drink this cup of wine, I will be at your mercy, right?" Lu Ming said coldly. Brother Ming, Lu Yao's body began to tremble. Her large eyes were filled with tears as she stared at Lu Ming in a daze. Her eyes were filled with doubt, disappointment, pain, and disbelief. "Brother Ming, Yao has always been true to you. Yao really didn't expect Brother Ming to treat Yao like this. What did Yao do wrong? Why is Yao so unbearable in Brother Ming's heart?" Lu Yao finally couldn't hold back her tears any longer. But Lu Ming was unmoved. He sneered and said, "Still acting at this time? All right, since Brother Ming doesn't believe me, then I'll drink this cup of wine to prove my innocence." Lu Yao wiped her tears, picked up the cup and drank it in one gulp. Lu Ming was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Lu Yao to drink this cup of wine by herself. Then he carefully observed Lu Yao and realized that she was completely fine. She didn't seem to be poisoned. What's going on? Lu Ming grabbed the wine cup, dipped his hand into the remaining wine, and put it into his mouth to taste. It was indeed blood snake orchid wine, but it wasn't poisonous. How can this be? Why isn't it poisonous? Lu Ming was puzzled. Brother Ming, are you hiding something from Yao? Have you been bewitched by someone else? The person who bewitched you is really hateful. Lu Yao gritted her teeth with a hateful expression. There was no sign of her acting at all. Lu Ming didn't pay attention to Lu Yao. His brows were tightly knitted. What's going on? It doesn't match what happened back then. Did the illusory array deliberately change it? But illusory arrays are usually reflected in the depths of the person's heart. It's a weakness that they don't want to face. Most living beings had a weak side in the depths of their hearts. It was just that most of the time, it was deliberately hidden. And illusory arrays magnified this weakness to break the defense of the person's heart and make them fall deep into it, unable to extricate themselves. Therefore, Lu Ming couldn't figure it out. Why would the first illusion he saw after entering the illusory array be Emerald Cloud Peak and Lu Yao? Moreover, Lu Yao didn't poison him. Could it be that Lu Ming still missed the past deep in his heart? He missed the relationship between him and Lu Yao when he was young. He even missed Lu Yao and hoped that Lu Yao didn't want to harm him back then and didn't want to seize his bloodline? No, I've already let go of the past. It must be the doing of the illusory array. Lu Ming kept telling himself. Brother Ming. Lu Yao kept calling out to him. Lu Ming looked at Lu Yao. To be honest, this illusory array was very powerful. Everything didn't look like an illusion. It was completely real. Lu Yao's small hand grabbed his palm. It was warm, soft and real. Lu Ming's eyes showed a trace of trance, as if he had really returned to his youth. The scenes of the years he spent with Lu Yao also appeared in front of his eyes. I thought I had completely forgotten, but I didn't expect that I still remember it so clearly. Did I really not let it go? No, it's just a kind of nostalgia. Lu Yao has already turned into a skeleton, right? Lu Ming whispered in his heart. Back then, when the primordial realm of the heaven realm was facing a great calamity, he had transferred most of the living beings in the minor kiliacosm to the primitive universe. However, Lu Yao was not among them. Needless to say, with Lu Yao's cultivation base, she wouldn't have been able to live for so long. Everything is illusory. Dissipate. Lu Ming suddenly yelled. His voice was like thunder in spring, causing heaven and earth to rumble and tremble. Then cracks appeared on the ground and the void, constantly collapsing. Lu Yao's figure also kept becoming illusory. Brother Ming, what's going on? What's wrong with Yao? Brother Ming, I'm scared. Save Yao. Lu Yao looked at her body that was constantly fading and panicked. Her beautiful big eyes were filled with fear. She reached out to grab Lu Ming, but her body was illusory. She grabbed nothing and passed through Lu Ming's palm. Brother Ming, Yao is scared. Don't you want Yao anymore? Are you going to abandon Yao again? Lu Yao's hands kept grabbing Lu Ming. Her eyes were full of fear and longing, hoping that Lu Ming would save her. What's going on? Lu Ming found it difficult to calm down, and waves rose in his heart. This isn't right. This illusion had clearly been broken by Lu Ming. According to common sense, Lu Yao wouldn't do anything and would only dissipate with the illusion. But now something was wrong. Everything was too real. Lu Yao seemed to be a real existence. Lu Ming couldn't figure it out. This was beyond his understanding. Lu Ming didn't know that the pool of blood on the yellow mud road was constantly shining. Chapter 50-33. Brother Ming, Lu Ming, I hate you. In the end, Lu Yao let out a cry and her body completely dissipated. Before she dissipated, Lu Ming clearly saw that Lu Yao's eyes were filled with resentment. She seemed to be resentful that Lu Ming didn't save her. What's going on? What's going on? Is it because I still can't let go of Lu Yao in the depths of my heart, or is it because of this illusory formation? Lu Ming frowned and couldn't figure it out. At this moment, the previous scene had already disappeared and changed into another one. This scene was naturally reflected in Lu Ming's heart and also attacked Lu Ming's weakness. Originally, with Lu Ming's tenacious mind, he could completely guard against it and not fall into the illusory formation. However, the resentful gaze of Lu Yao when she was about to disappear would appear in his mind from time to time. That gaze was too real. Therefore, a flaw appeared in Lu Ming's mental defense line. After the flaw appeared in his mental defense line, he unknowingly fell into the illusory formation. Suddenly, a piercing pain came from Lu Ming's wrist. The bones in his wrist were about to break. The surrounding illusory formation collapsed all of a sudden and Lu Ming broke free from the illusory formation. It was Qiuqiu who saved me. That was close. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and secretly thanked his lucky stars. Fortunately, he brought Qiuqiu with him. Otherwise, it would be troublesome. I can't be careless from now on. Lu Ming shook his head and shook off the image of Lu Yao in his mind. His mind became clear again. Soon Lu Ming fell into a new illusory formation. However, this time, Lu Ming was prepared and didn't fall into the illusory formation. Soon he broke free from the illusory formation. Just like that, Lu Ming experienced 9 layers of illusory formations. When the 9th layer of illusory formation disappeared, the bamboo forest in front of Lu Ming reappeared. He passed. Lu Ming understood that he had passed through the illusory formation. Suddenly, Lu Ming's gaze shifted. Up ahead, Lu Ming saw a pitch-black vortex. Teleportation portal. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this was a portal. Could it be that Huang Ling has already passed through the illusory array and entered this portal? Lu Ming pondered. However, he wasn't sure. What if Huang Ling was still in the illusory array? What if she was still in the bamboo forest? Previously, he had been trapped in an illusion and did not have the chance to find the phoenix spirit. Lu Ming, do you want to enter this bamboo forest to search? I shouldn't have fallen into an illusion, Qiuqiu said to Lu Ming. All right, then be careful. Lu Ming nodded. This was the only way. What if Huang Ling was still in the bamboo forest? Qiuqiu didn't say anything else and flew straight into the bamboo forest. Lu Ming did not have to wait too long. Half a day later, Qiuqiu returned. Lu Ming was relieved. It was good that Qiuqiu was fine. Then he looked at Qiuqiu expectantly. Lu Ming, I've already looked around and didn't find any trace of Huang Ling. In fact, there's no living creature in this bamboo forest. Chiuchiu said. No, could it be that Huang Ling really passed through the illusory array and entered this portal? Lu Ming pondered. Since she wasn't in the bamboo forest and didn't leave, she could only enter this portal. However, where did this portal lead to? Could it be that there were still secrets in Wanyao Mountain? Lu Ming finally decided to enter the portal. Since he had already come this far, there was no reason to retreat. If he retreated now, wouldn't he be abandoning Huang Ling? Impossible. With a thought, the top source-grade armor appeared and covered Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming also grabbed the battle god spear in his hand. He circulated his forbidden power and prepared to deal with the danger. Then he took a step forward and entered the portal. The next moment, Lu Ming appeared in an unfamiliar place. Where is this? Lu Ming found that he was standing on a mountain peak. The mountain peak was extremely high. Looking into the distance, he could see very far. What entered his eyes were all lush mountain peaks. The plants were lush and full of vitality. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that the desolate chi was extremely rich. It was even richer than the current desolate universe. At the same time, Lu Ming found that there was a rock in the sky. Yes, the sky here was not the sky but a solid rock. On the rock, there were special stones inlaid, emitting a bright light like small suns. Is this place inside the Wanyao Mountain? Is the interior of the Wanyao Mountain a world of its own? Lu Ming made such a guess. Because from the rocks in the sky, this place was very similar to the interior of the Wanyao Mountain. Or, the structure of the Wanyao Mountain was special and could absorb the desolate chi outside the Wanyao Mountain and store it inside the Wanyao Mountain. This could explain why the surface of the Wanyao Mountain was still dead silent even though the universe had recovered. Roar. Suddenly, a few loud roars interrupted Lu Ming's thoughts. In the forest, a few giant beasts rushed to the sky and rushed towards Lu Ming. Monsters. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. There were a total of 3 giant beasts. 2 were like giant wolves and 1 was like a gorilla. The 2 giant wolves were 10 meters tall and 20 meters long. As for the gorilla, it was over 20 meters tall. The 3 giant beasts were extremely fast and their auras were shocking, causing a gust of wind. Swish. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed. A huge palm was formed and grabbed at the 3 behemoths, shrouding them within. Boom. The palm collided with the 3 giant beasts. Lu Ming felt his palm shake slightly. What a strong power. This is definitely the monsters of the desolate universe, much stronger than the monsters of the small thousand worlds. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. These giant beasts were all first-level divine masters, but their strength was shocking and their blood was boiling. Moreover, they could launch terrifying attacks which should be demonic arts. The desolate universe monsters were born with all kinds of powerful demonic arts that were passed down from generation to generation. The monsters of the small thousand worlds couldn't compare to them and were much stronger than the major races in the universe. Lu Ming was even more certain that this was the interior of the Wanyao Mountain. There were still desolate universe monsters inside the Wanyao Mountain. Lu Ming used a little force and pressed the 3 desolate universe monsters to the ground. Then Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed forward. At the same time, he spread out his spirit consciousness and began to search for the phoenix spirit. Roar, roar. Roars were heard along the way. They were all desolate universe monsters with different cultivation levels. The weak ones were below the immortal state level and the strong ones were divine masters. However, these monsters couldn't stop Lu Ming. None of them could keep up with Lu Ming's speed. Lu Ming didn't want to waste time with these monsters. He flew while looking for the phoenix spirit. There were many divine herbs in this land, so Lu Ming didn't want to bother with them. Now, Lu Ming wasn't interested in anything that wasn't source-level divine herbs. In less than an hour, Lu Ming had flown a long distance. Unfortunately, he didn't find any trace of Lu Ming. The interior of the Wanyao Mountain is huge. Searching like this is undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. Why don't I let these monsters help me find? Lu Ming thought. Chapter 5034. The demons inside the Wanyao Mountain were natives here. If they helped to find Huang Ling, the efficiency would definitely be higher than Lu Ming's alone. Of course, how could these demons help? So Lu Ming could only take action. Bang. Lu Ming slapped out and pressed a green eagle to the ground. Human, how did you break in? The green eagle roared, its voice full of confusion. You don't have to know how I got in. Now, I want you to help me find someone. Lu Ming said. You want me, a noble demon, to help you, a lowly human? No way. The large green condor shouted loudly. It raised its large head and was extremely arrogant. Lu Ming curled his lips. Indeed, it was said that during the primeval continent, the demons of the primeval continent looked down on the human race. Even though the human race later dominated the primeval continent and was stronger than the demons, many demons still looked down on the human race and thought that they were the noblest. They thought that the human race only developed by taking advantage of the war between the demons and the Wu people. The green eagle in front of him was obviously like that. Bang. Lu Ming was too lazy to talk nonsense with it. He stepped on the head of the green eagle and waved his hand. A forbidden force flew into the green eagle's forehead. "Despicable human, what did you do to me?" The green eagle roared. "I placed a strand of power in your sea of wisdom. With just a thought, I can sever your soul. You'd better behave yourself." Lu Ming said coldly. "You?" The green eagle's eyes changed, but it lowered its arrogant head in the end. It had no choice. Its life was more important. "If you want me to find someone, you should at least give me a portrait," the green eagle said. "Have you seen this woman before?" Lu Ming waved his hand and Huang Ling's portrait appeared. "No, but I can help you find her," the green eagle said. "If you had news earlier, I would have helped you extract that power earlier. If it was delayed too long, I'm afraid that I wouldn't be able to control that power," Lu Ming said meaningfully. The cyan eagle's face turned ugly. It wished it could beat up Lu Ming. But in the end it succumbed to Lu Ming's power. It obediently lowered its head, flapped its wings and disappeared into the sky. Then Lu Ming did the same and controlled the other primordial world demons to help him find the phoenix spirit. In 3 days, at least a few hundred primordial desolate Aeon demons were controlled by Lu Ming to spread out and help him search for the phoenix spirit. "Which human brat dares to control my Yao clansman? He's courting death." Suddenly, a loud roar came from the distant sky. It was like thunder, causing the sky to explode. Several berserk auras swept over. 5 or 6 demons flew towards Lu Ming. Of the 2 demons flying at the front, one was a flying snake with a pair of wings. It was extremely huge. The other demon looked like a fierce tiger, but its body was snow white like a white tiger. Perhaps it had the bloodline of the white tiger. The white tiger was also a powerful race among the primordial world demons. Peak Divine Master. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. These 2 monsters were both at the peak of the Divine Master realm. As for the 4 demons at the back, Lu Ming actually knew them. That was because these 4 demons were controlled by Lu Ming to search for the phoenix spirit. It seemed that these 4 demons were unwilling to be controlled and had found helpers. Not bad, not bad. Lu Ming was not angry. Instead he was happy. Controlling the stronger demons was more effective than controlling the weaker ones. The powerful demons could command the other demons. Wouldn't it be faster to search for the phoenix spirit? Lu Ming wanted to find powerful demons, but he didn't find any. Now the other party had come to him. The flying snake and white tiger demons were extremely fast. In an instant they were not far away from Lu Ming. Their berserk auras rushed towards Lu Ming like raging waves. However, to Lu Ming it was like a gentle breeze. It didn't affect him at all. "Human, how did you get in?" The white tiger stared at Lu Ming with wide eyes. "Help me find the person I'm looking for first and I'll tell you," Lu Ming said. "You don't have the right to negotiate with us. Boy, tell us obediently and extract the power in their sea of consciousness. Then we can let you go." The flying snake shouted coldly. Its voice was sharp and piercing. "Let me go? Ah, I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do that." Lu Ming sneered. "No need to talk nonsense with him. Just take him down and he'll obediently submit." That white tiger snorted coldly and pounced forward. Its huge body was like a bolt of lightning charging toward Lu Ming. Its huge sharp claws scratched toward Lu Ming, bringing about a violent force. First break. As soon as the white tiger attacked, Lu Ming could sense that its combat strength was at the first break, which was equivalent to the strength of the strongest Lord of Heaven. Of course, this was just a preliminary judgment. If the other party was still holding back, it would be difficult to judge. Combat strength could only be judged when it was completely displayed. On the surface, Lu Ming was no different from an ordinary peak divine master. Lu Ming punched out and collided with the white tiger's claws. Boom. Crack. After a violent explosion, there was the sound of bones breaking. One of the white tiger's claws was deformed and twisted. Its huge body was pushed back. "You." The white tiger looked at Lu Ming in shock. It had used almost 80% of its strength in that attack. Lu Ming was also a peak divine master, so it didn't dare to underestimate Lu Ming. But it didn't expect that he would be injured as soon as they exchanged blows. However, its claws wriggled quickly and were covered by a layer of white light, quickly recovering. What a strong recovery ability. The primordial chaos demon race's bloodline talent isn't just for show. Lu Ming was a little surprised. Among the three strongest races of the primordial chaos, the demon race and the Wu people were much stronger than the human race. The demon race had a bloodline inheritance. When a demon was born, their blood would inherit all kinds of techniques from their ancestors. When they grew up, they could almost learn them without a teacher. The Wu people were born with strong bodies and could destroy the world. The human race's innate talent was much weaker than the demon race and the Wu people. However, the human race could cultivate and improve their talent and potential, especially after the Holy Ground Sacred Scroll appeared. This person is very strong. Let's work together to deal with him. That flying snake snorted coldly. It flapped its wings and charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, the white tiger roared and dashed toward Lu Ming, unleashing all of its combat power. The two demons worked together and used their killing moves. Their coordination was flawless. Looks like they've used all their strength. It's still the extreme break, Lu Ming thought. Then he grabbed at the air and formed a long spear with his forbidden power. He swung it twice. The two spear auras pressed down on the two demons. Boom, boom. The spear auras shattered the attack.